Yo, what up, guys? We are live. We got Carissa Avalone joining us. She's Hunter Avalone's wife. All right, that's correct.
That's right,
You
yeah.
guys probably remember Hunter. He was on my channel about 6 months ago. It was a good discussion. We had some disagreements, but I think it was a very, very good discussion. But yeah, so there's two things I want to do with this. So the first thing is I think me and Carissa will just have a chat and see what our disagreements are. And I'm gonna try to focus it more on dating and manosphere type of stuff. Because I feel like whenever I go into politics, just a lot of you guys like zone out. And the second thing is though, which is something I'm even more excited about. I want to do like a blue pill, red pill versus black pill type of debate. So
Mhm.
I think Carissa would, I think you're probably much closer to blue pill, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
I'm sure I know there's a lot of black pillars in the chat, and I'm sure there's quite a few red pillars. So I want you guys, if you want to represent the black pill, put I don't know black pill in the chat, and if you want to represent the red pill, put red pill in the chat. And I'm going to be representing, I guess, the pickup community because I think that's the community I'm closest to. But yeah, I think that's going to be a really really interesting discussion. So yeah, I want you. Okay, we got Juan Carlos black pill, but this is what I ask: don't troll, don't like pretend to be on the side just to get on live. Only represent the community if you really, really believe in that stuff. Like, it's going to be really obvious if you're just playing devil's advocate, and it's just not going to be good. Like, you're just not going to be a good look to represent the community you don't represent. So, really pick the community that you truly believe in. You got to have at least largely alignment with them. All right, so we got Vamsi. You can't be. Oh, you said red pill and pickup. Okay. Uh, Pickup. PUA. I got covered. Music Monster Man Black. Red pill pickup. Okay. Yeah, we Okay, wait. Juan Carlos said he can't. Okay, so we have quite a few people who are willing to represent the community. All right, Angry, I'll get you on, and then for let's see, for Red Pill. Wow, we got a lot of takers. Um, let's start off. Okay, let's start with this. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place today. Let's start with a little introduction. Just tell the guys a little bit about you, who you are, and kind of what your beliefs are in general.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up in a very conservative Christian household, and like after college and stuff, I started to think through the other side a little bit more. I majored in mathematics, and so I'm a data analyst now. So I do programming mostly, which is a very male dominated space. Um, and then beyond that, I would say I am definitely left leaning, not to the point of calling myself a socialist. Um, I think that capitalism is definitely where we need to stay for right now. I just believe that we need to have more social safety nets, and there needs to be broader social safety nets to accommodate for automation. So those are kind of my political takes as far
I
as
wouldn't,
like
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with any of that. I do. I also think there should be more social safety nets. So yeah. So far, I kind of agree with you. Keep going.
for the manosphere stuff, I would say that I see a lot of like red pillars and incels who are saying that it's hard to find a woman, or that women are difficult, or I don't know, that they're conniving and stuff. I see that as being kind of like the Aesop's fable, the fox with the grapes, where they see something that they really want and they can't get it, and then they're like, oh well, I didn't want it in the first place, or kind of treating women as objects, when in reality I think if they treated them as 100% just human beings, it would be a very different story. So
Okay.
that's kind of where
We might have disagreements there. Would you agree though that there are women out there who are sneaky and conniving and who are all those things that the guys worry about?
Yeah, just in the same way I would say that there are guys who just care about sex, or just
Sure.
care about like, I think they're, unfortunately sometimes the loudest extremes can create a stereotype that is pretty untrue.
It's untrue for a broad population of women, but there are like, for example, female TikTok channels whose the whole goal of the TikTok is to help women extract as much money from men as possible. It is literally like men are assholes, so I'm going to teach you how to get as much money from men as possible, how to lie to them, gaslight them into getting money, and that is something that like isn't like publicly condemned. Like that gets like a lot of upvotes. That's allowed to stay on TikTok, right? Imagine if there was like the other equivalent of that, where it's like, I'm gonna teach you guys how to lie to as many women as possible, how to trick them into having sex with you. Like that would get taken down in 2 seconds. So that's kind of where that's coming from. Is that, and I acknowledge that's not, of course, every woman. That's not even the average woman. But
Mhm.
it's like it's kind of like a character, and then guys are like really worried that like they're gonna run into that, and like I do think that like it becomes like this thing that like you become too paranoid and then you just assume that's like, oh shit, every woman's in this category. So that's where I think the red pill community goes too far, is they kind of apply a broad brush to like something that's kind of specific. But those women definitely exist. I mean, I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say, kind of a similar thing would be kind of pickup artists who say that you kind of treat relationships like a game and be like, you need to make her feel like she's not wanted, and then, go in and, actually give her one little compliment, but it needs to be like backhanded. I feel like that's kind of the same type of thing as I never actually have seen women have that type of content, so that's very interesting. But I feel like that seems to be around the same level. But I would totally condemn that if I saw that.
Yeah, I'll send you some links.
Yeah.
There's different goals. So for women, obviously, women don't need like fun and games to get sex, right? So it's
Mhm.
about getting money. For men, it's typically about getting sex. And then sometimes with like the Tinder swindler, there's also men who are about getting money. So that does exist. But typically, the toxic pickup dudes will focus on one thing, and the toxic, I don't know, sugar babies will focus on another thing. Is it the same level of toxicity? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's lying and gaslighting is equally wrong, no matter who does it. I do think that the one point the red pill community might have is that when it's done on the feminist or sugar baby side, it's more socially accepted than when it's done on the male side, which is wrong because neither one of those should be socially accepted. Like on social media, like yeah, again, like if I did like I've had so many issues with my TikTok, like literally just trying to like basically give guys like practical dating advice, and people say, oh, that's misogynist, like blah blah blah, right? But like I don't do anything even a fraction of close to like what the women are doing on their side, and they're like kind of they get a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt with these
Mhm.
like big social media companies. And in terms of just
Mhm.
being socially accepted, that's kind of like an issue you see as well. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah. I would say that there is a level of a double standard. I can see that. I think people are more critical for when it comes to men's perception of women than vice versa. And I think a lot of that is largely because there's still a very active feminist movement. And I think while men's rights and gender equality is being pushed more, I don't think it's at the point where it's like leveled out.
Where who has more power, men or women? Would you say?
So that's where I would say, like, in generally speaking, in the world, I would say men have like they hold higher offices, they generally are more powerful, but I would say that women have more freedom to express themselves in ways that they want to. I think men are much more limited in not and conforming to their gender stereotypes than women are.
Yeah, I generally agree. Men are in more positions of power, although the feminist argument would be that more men are in positions of power because of discrimination, because of sexism, versus the manosphere argument would be no, men are in more positions of power because men tend to excel better at leadership, right? On average, right? We're talking about averages. There's some really good female leaders, some really bad male leaders, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about averages. Men are a little bit more wired to be in those positions due to higher testosterone and stuff like that, right? Which will increase your likelihood of being successful in a very highly competitive career. So that would be the counterpoint. But yeah, like I don't know how familiar with this, but basically the manosphere red pill community will say, well, women have all the power or 90% of the power. The feminists will say men have the vast majority of the power. My personal
Mhm.
belief is that it's kind of spread in the middle, but it's a different kind of power. Uh, Men definitely do dominate certain types of professions, like in the legal field, for example. Like if you want to be like work at a top law firm, that's like there's some women who are doing it, but it's a little bit harder from the friends I have who are in the legal field to get in like the upper echelon if you're a woman, right? So I have heard that from like friends I know who are conservatives and are in the legal field. Certain things like that. But on the flip side, I think when it comes to like the average man, the average woman, if there's like you and I work for a company and we have a dispute and we go to HR, vast majority of the time they're going to take your side unless I have some kind of like empirical proof. Like here's a text message Carissa sent me where she like basically confessed to like making this up.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think kind of to go back to your previous point, a big reason why a lot of men are in power now is because our industries have gone from a very physically strength requiring industries to more of like softer skilled. And I think when men were able to excel so much more in those like strength oriented industries, they were able to, they automatically would be in more positions of power, which makes sense, like from an evolutionary perspective. And then once industry started turning over, that never really changed, even though, in my opinion, there's not a huge reason for that. I have heard people say that women are not as good leaders. And I would say that that could potentially be true, but I don't think that has anything to do with like how they're born as much as socialization. Um, Teaching women to be not as assertive as men, and even maybe some epigenetics involved, where biology is actually changed through your environment.
I think your dog is like, is your dog okay?
Yeah, he's just wanting the rats.
Oh, okay,
We
okay,
have
okay. So
rats.
I heard her like crying or whatever. Yeah, so this is where we would disagree. So I'm sure there are some social factors that play a role, but they've done like a good amount of studies on this. They found they did scans of a man's brain and a woman's brain. They found that our brains, depending on gender, are going to be wired differently. Women have I don't remember off the top of my head like the exact technical terms, but the part of the brain that's responsible for social type of things and empathy, women are way more developed in that side. Like it's not even close. It's like they have 10 times the amount of gray matter that men do, right? So this is typically why women are way better at social things than men, why you see a lot of women working in positions like HR, right? Like they just tend to be a lot better at that. Versus when it comes to more like hard science, analytical type of things, on average, men has like more their part of their brain is more developed on average. And then also you get into the hormones, and like hormones can play a huge role. I mean, you can see like if you take a man who has low testosterone and you give him testosterone, right, you can see their behavior change. Like they go from being kind of like down and out to being really passive to being like actually a man. Like they can become more assertive. They have more of a purpose, right? So we know that hormones can change, radically change how you function and what you gravitate towards. Well, a man has like 100 times the amount of testosterone a woman does, right, or 1,000 times, whatever it is. So it's not too crazy to expect that. Yeah, that will change in like how we pursue our career. How aggressive we are, how assertive we are, and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I would point also to identical twins having the same DNA and genetic makeup, but having different like brain scans when they're older because of those epigenetic factors evolving their brain in different ways. So I think that you can still be born with like the similar abilities, but depending on your environment, those abilities can develop in different ways.
Yeah, I think it's called neuroplasticity is like a real field, and it's something. Yeah, it's the concept basically that your brain wiring can literally change as a result of your experiences and your environment, all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this has been studied pretty thoroughly, and that is true. Your brain can change, as a result of your life experiences. But the question to which degree, right? And
Yeah.
I think that you're going to see that there's a reason why I think that okay, now that woman and a man have like the same like woman and a man have the same chance of getting into college, right? There's no like thing that like women can't get into. If anything, for STEM fields, I used to date an engineer, and in STEM fields, the colleges actually want more women in those STEM fields. So some colleges, not all, but some might actually give a woman a little bit more of an advantage in getting in. So if like me and you both have 1,400 in SATs, we both apply for like Boston University engineering, they might pick you over me just because they want to see more diversity. So if there's an argument to be made, it's that women might have a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt when it comes to those type of fields. But then you see like at STEM school, it's like 80-90% men, like engineering school. But then you go to like less analytical fields like marketing, right? I was in a marketing major in college. Marketing is like 60-65% women. But in order to get into like the way my school was structured, it's a business school, and then you just have to get into the business school, and then it doesn't matter which major you pick. That's up to you. So there's got to be a reason why I don't know 80%, 70% of accounting was men, but then like 65, 70% of marketing was women, right? Since both genders have the same chance of getting into the business school, and you don't have to declare your major until the third year, right? So there's got to be something inherently that makes men gravitate more towards certain fields and women gravitate more towards other fields.
I would say a big component of that is social. So, like, I have a 3-year-old daughter, and even at this stage, she asked Hunter, can women be astronauts too? Right? She is looking to find female astronauts. And the answer is like, well, they can be, and there might have been like one, but they're not as observed. So it's likely that if there are strong role models in certain fields, or if your mom is a nurse, if your mom is into marketing, if your mom is into whatever, women or girls will pursue that type of field more than a more logical, STEM type of field. I feel like that could be a huge reason. And I feel like something like that would be tough to study. It's just crazy to me actually having a daughter who's like already gendering things so much and that's important to her when we do not push that whatsoever.
I guess there's really no way like we can get to the bottom of this. It's like
Mhm.
nature versus nurture. That's basically the larger
Yeah.
debate, and this is something that like the top scientists constantly debate about. So like, there's no empirical data that I have that I can show you that's mostly nature, and I don't believe there's any empirical data you have that you can show me that's mostly nurture, right? Because this is like something that's highly contested. That's really what we're arguing about: nature versus nurture. We both agree it's a
Mhm.
combination of both, but I think it's more like 70, 80% nature, versus you probably think it's more 70, 80% nurture.
I think one thing that may back my position up slightly would be the fact that more women continually go into STEM, which makes, even despite the fact that they have had, equal opportunity over the past 40 so years, if not more, you still see that trend of more and more women going into STEM. And just that sliding scale shows that like it's not like women are being genetically made up different. There has to be a substantial social, element involved to see that increase.
Yeah, so I think that there's confounding factors for that. The first confounding factor is generally nowadays more women are going to college than men, right? You see that trend increasing. So college is becoming made up more and more women, right? So 40 years ago, I believe college was either equal or mostly men. So that in of itself could account if there's like an extra 50% of women going into college in general, then it stands to reason that a certain percentage of those would go into STEM. And if there's less men going to college, then it would stand to reason that STEM would be less, predominantly made up of STEM. So yeah, I think that's like an extremely important confounding factor that would need to be.
But also, it does depend how you measure it, because you could measure it how the percentage of women who go into STEM versus the percentage of women who go into something like nursing. That is what's changed. So you
How much
still
has it changed by?
I'm not 100% sure. I can look it up though.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Okay, guys, I wanna. So okay, so I posted the link. So yeah, so when you jump on, guys, say if you wanna in your name say like black pill or red pill, so I know who you are. So here's the link. Let's get the best of the best, best black pillars, the best red pillars, and let's do this. I think it's gonna be a fun conversation. Uh, here's an interesting question from the comments. What about countries like Sweden, which are super liberal? Women are still going to be nurses majority.
Yeah, so that may be the case, and I think that that is likely fine, obviously. Um, I think that, if it comes down to it, women need to have the individual choice, right? Like for a while, I was a stay-at-home mom, and that was like for, a year and a half. And I honestly did not feel any pressure to, get into a job or work from like the left or any feminists. If anything, I saw more like that's great that you're able to do that if that's what you want to do, type of thing. So if that is the case, I think that does definitely say something. I mean, there's also data to suggest that women who are in nursing fields actually have higher emotional distress than men who are in nursing fields. And I would guess that that's probably because men have to be very sure about going into nursing. It's not like they just kind of slide into nursing. Since they are men, it's not as expected. So that makes more sense to me. But it is interesting that there is that kind of push for women to go into those fields, and it is not as satisfying as men who would want to.
Okay. All right, let's bring on some people. So, Uncomfortable Truth, yo.
Hey, how's it going?
So, which side are you representing?
Yeah, so this is interesting. I mean, I've thought about this many times over, and I used to be very strongly on your side, Alex, and I had many of the same reasons for believing, what you believe. And over time, I'm much more like 50-50. There is definitely a nurture component. And if you see, like these days, like software developers, for example, 95% plus of them used to be men, right? And the percentage of people who are going into coding right now, a ridiculous number of them are women. And I don't know.
Bro, I was talking about like red pill versus black pill. Like, which one of those are you?
I don't know what that. I don't know what any of that is. Like, I just joined this community, but I just wanted to chime into this topic.
Okay, so you're not either red pill or black pill.
I don't know what that shit is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Okay, I'll keep you on for a second until we get the panel fills up. Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Alex? I'm a red pillar, part of the pickup community.
Are you a hardcore red pillar?
No, I'm more of the pickup community, the optimistic pickup community.
Ah, damn. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm not a hardcore red pillar, man.
Okay, you're on the right team, bro. You're on the right team, but unfortunately, I do want to be like a hardcore red pillar, so I'll get you on like when we just have like an open panel or something like that. But
all right, man. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Cool.
All right, guys. I saw a lot of people in the chat that were saying they're red pillars and black pillars. So here's the link. Let's see from the either red pillars or black pillars. Okay. Ashley, you wouldn't either be red pill or black pill either.
I kind of am, though. I had a debate last night with somebody, actually Chris Wilson, about red and black pill and mocked him.
But you're not a red pillar.
No, I'm a morning after pillar.
Okay, I will keep you on until we fill up the panel. But yeah, I want to get like hardcore red pillars and hardcore black pillars.
All right, Chris. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I ask her a question though?
Yeah, go for it for now.
So, Carissa, you. I'm sorry, I didn't catch a little bit of it, but I caught this last few minutes. And you're saying that you think that maybe men literally make more conscious decisions in their career choices. So that maybe is why they go into nursing versus women going into nursing.
I would say for a more of the stereotypical women jobs, such as nursing or teaching, if a man decides to go into it, it's not because society pushed him in and he just kind of went with the flow. He would actually make more of a conscious decision to be like, hey, instead of doing something that's more expected of me to be a guy, I'll do something that is more female dominated.
So your stance is that society pushes women into fields such as nursing and teaching. You think that we're being
not pushed? In a bad way.
I didn't mean it in a bad way, but do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think another way of saying that or interpreting that is women are typically, I mean, this is my opinion, of course, but I'm sure there's some research that backs it up. Women are typically more impacted by social implications, right? And so, for example, a man would be more inclined to go into a lucrative field, regardless of whether it's dominated by women or men. I mean, they just don't care quite as much. And some men do, right? But they're chasing the money, regardless of the social implications.
Correct.
Although that is, a small percentage of it. Whereas women are like, I need a community behind me. I need to fit in. I want to be part of the pecking order. And,
I don't know about that. Maybe more so that we tend to go with where we're predispositioned or our genetics kind of lean us to go, I think, more so than society itself, which I know you can really go deep into that and say that it kind of feeds off of each other. But don't you think that women by nature are kind of more of the caregivers? We kind of want to help. We kind of want to, we're more into the emotional well-being of society. And don't you think that nursing and teaching would kind of fall into line with that?
Yes, I do agree that women are more of the caregiving, right? I mean, estrogen is associated with attributes like, caregiving, empathy, warmth, compassion, things like that. Absolutely. One of the things that's going on right now, and one of the trends, there are studies behind this, the average testosterone of men has decreased consistently 1% year over year. And as we know about male-female relationships, there's something called polarity, right? So as men's testosterone decreases consistently, women's testosterone presumably either goes up or their estrogen goes down, but there has to be some kind of balance, right? And so,
Not necessarily.
well, I mean, this is my hypothesis, but I've noticed a steep trend in women entering into STEM fields, becoming more ambitious, adopting more testosterone-heavy characteristics. Even their physical characteristics have changed with their ambition, right? Like you see a lot more women with these sharp jawlines and big masseter muscles.
So you're partially correct. Man's testosterone has consistently gone down, but women's testosterone has not gone up. Women's testosterone, as far as I've researched, has stayed exactly the same. It's always been. I think a lot of that, I don't think women are becoming more masculine in terms of their physical appearance. I think there are some women who are like becoming culturally less feminine. Like instead of wearing like a pretty pink dress, they're wearing like a fucking, I don't know, like a tracksuit or something like that. But in terms of like physical, like biologically, no, women are not becoming more masculine. I haven't seen any.
I do think they're pursuing strength training more because I think they're seeing the phase of like, oh, soft women who have pillowy everything is, that's kind of dying out. I feel like in more the newest generation, and more like strong is beautiful is kind of taking its place. But I don't think that's necessarily masculine. It's just good for you,
So like,
But
I kind of wonder,
but just to clarify, even though they're women are probably doing strength training more, doesn't mean that's like significantly increasing their testosterone or anything like that. It doesn't really
100%.
a woman's testosterone is going to be like really, really low, like ultra low. Like I don't care how much you lift, unless you inject steroids, which most women don't do, it's going to be really low.
what do we find that like boosts testosterone though? First of all, it's going to be physical activity, right? So like men that work out better, they're going to have higher testosterone levels. Men that have a healthier diet, they're going to, because naturally you're predispositioned to have higher testosterone levels. So what I'm getting at is that the ecosystem of our body, the homeostasis of our body is going to want to like kind of balance itself out as it should, right? But I think that I think modern technology and shit like that has kind of probably, and diet, if we get into the hormone that's put into our food, probably has more to do with decreased testosterone levels in the male population. We're not hunters and gatherers anymore. We're not out there fighting or flighting constantly for survival. So I mean that's just kind of, I think, scientific. I think that's just kind of evolution.
Yeah, the vast majority of the issue for why men have lower testosterone, it comes down to diet. It comes down to dietary choices, consuming a lot more grains and soy and all that kind of stuff that people 200 years ago really didn't eat in mass amounts. Lack of exercise is up there, although it's not even close to food, as important as food. But also, just to clarify, it's not like if a woman works out, like her testosterone starts increasing. That's also kind of a little bit of a misconception.
Right.
A woman's testosterone is going to be pegged at a very, very like low level. It's just what her body's going to be. It's also not like a man starts working out, his testosterone goes up. That's kind of like a caricature. There's a lot of guys who lift like every single day and they still have low testosterone. Working out in the correct way can help, but it plays a minimal role compared to diet and sleep.
That's actually not true. Well, on both points, right? So women can actually increase their testosterone, right? They won't produce testosterone from their gonads, right? So there's two places you produce testosterone: your balls and then your adrenals. The adrenals, both men and women have. Women can increase their testosterone marginally through their adrenals, so it's not going to be the same boost that men get. Also, exercise can significantly increase your testosterone levels. So
I thought it could too, but yeah, I don't.
No, it's not going to increase it significantly.
How
much do you think it can increase your testosterone?
I mean, I don't know like the exact numbers behind it, but I would
just a ballpark, 50%, 100%.
I would guess a good 10 to 20%, which I would say is significant. So, for example,
okay. If you're saying 10%, then yeah, you're right. I thought you meant more like 100%.
Like 100%. There's nothing in the world like what's going to increase your testosterone 100%. Like if you have 500 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone, right? Like even if you get the best sleep in the world, you can't double that. Like you can't double that by eating well. That's just not how it works.
Well, you actually, so you can go from like having 300 to 600 largely through diet and sleep. Yeah, sure. A lot of the reason that people have lower diet, lower testosterone, not to go off on too much of this, what's it called? Side tangent. Oh, Andrew's here. All right, let me drop him the link. Oh, sorry, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's because they eat soy and they eat like grains and stuff like that, and because they don't have enough healthy fats. Testosterone, all hormones come from fats, right? So vast majority of people are not getting enough healthy fats, right? And then your body's literally incapable of producing the amount of hormones that you need. So just by cutting out all the bad shit like soy, legumes, and all that, and processed sugar, grains, and eating ample amounts of fats and moderate amount of protein, that in of itself, and as well as getting good sleep, can take your testosterone from like 300 to 600. You can definitely double your testosterone if your testosterone is on the lower side due to your lifestyle choices through diet and sleep, and to some extent exercise.
I agree that diet is a big factor. I just think that there is a ton of other factors, right? Sleep, I would say, is equally as big a factor. The other factor is avoiding endocrine disruptors, right? So things like eating plastics, fast food, plastics, things like that. But
that's what I'm talking about, avoiding,
Yeah, diet. They say that diet is actually one of the most important things in our lives that most of us ignore or just aren't aware of. I guess ignorance, But honestly, what does everybody say? Like they say the heart is like you feel it in your heart, but no, the true heart of the body is the gut. It's our gut, and it's what we are putting into our body. We are what we eat. So I would agree that diet is the most important. Sorry to interrupt you, Carissa.
No, I was actually going to say the same thing, that a lot of nutrients that like the cellular mitochondria needs, they're found in like organ meat, which I found interesting and kind of
organ meat is really good for you. Yo, what's up, Andrew?
What's up, Alex? Yeah, sorry, I had another thing going on, but it fell through. So kind of this.
Yeah. You just want to hang out with the pick up degenerates. I know.
Yeah. Well, I do like to pick on degenerates. That's true. So what are we talking? What are we talking about tonight?
Andrew, what's up? I haven't talked to you.
So we're doing a little bit of a side tangent, but I want to get off that. So what I'm trying to do is set up a black pill versus red pill versus blue pill debate. You're going to be neither one of those. You're going to be religion pill.
You mean the non-degenerate in the room?
The non-degenerate in the room, exactly. But I think it'll still be an interesting perspective to have you on. But I do want to get a few black pillars and red pillars in here.
I just posted in one of the black pill that you were needing black and red pillars. So,
dude, black pillars, when it comes to like talking shit in the chat, they're like omnipresent. They're like God. They're all over the place. But then when it comes to like actually manning up and doing a debate, oh, there we go. We got one. We got Angry. Yo, what's up?
Hello.
Your microphone is really low.
Hold on. Is this better?
Take it up a notch.
Okay.
Andrew, how much did that logo cost you?
My soul. No, yeah, kidding. It's it costs a bit. I have a really, really good branding guy. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
But I put a lot of cash into the branding for the Crucible, that kind of thing. But in any case, just real quick, do you mind reiterating for me what each of the pills means within the degen community? So the red pill, I think, is like just reiterate it for me so that I know.
So let's start off with the black pill. The black pill believes that looks are the only things that matter. Your results with women, and to some extent in life, your career success, everything will be determined by your looks, and that's predominantly your face. You can't really increase your looks that much unless you do surgery, and that's really going to just be the determinator of like literally everything that happens to you. Women are all hypergamous. Women cannot be trusted. Women are going to fuck you over, blah, blah, that type of thing. Red pill believes that it comes down to largely to your status, your money, and to some extent your game. So red pill acknowledges that looks matter, but they say, hey, it's much more important. Don't focus on the looks. Just go to the gym, get your finances in order. Really, just do self-improvement, and that's gonna improve your success in life. And also, that's women are hypergamous, but there might be a few good women out there somewhere in Southeast Asia. The blue
Okay.
pill, the blue pill is more of like your typical like Disney fairy tale where it's like, hey, listen, like you're gonna find the person that's right for you out there. That person exists. Just be yourself, that type of thing. There's obviously a lot more nuance to that. I'll let the people explain it, but that's kind of it. I'm neither one of those things. I'm pickup pill. So I take the best parts of each one of those communities. I have my own philosophy, but there's some things I agree with black pill, red pill, and pickup and blue pill on. So I'm like somewhere right down the middle between all three of these.
That's good because that all sounds like bullshit to me. So, okay, fair enough.
We might actually wind up agreeing a little bit then. Angry is black pill. Let's get Nayar.
What's up, man?
Which community are you from?
Red pill.
Okay, red pill. All right, so we got Nayar for red pill, Angry from black pill. All right, uncomfortable with truth. I want to keep it at 6, so I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to take you off.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. All right, there we go. All right, so we got 6 now. Perfect. All right, so I want to generally focus this debate around manosphere topics, things that are like somewhat at least related to dating or men to women interactions. So let's start off with this question, and we'll just go in order. What do you think predominantly determines a man's ability to be successful with women? I'll just go last. So let's start off with you, Carissa, and we'll go in clockwise order, and now we'll kick off the discussion.
I would say being interesting in terms of like your hobbies, having self-confidence. Like if you are just sitting at home every night playing video games, it's probably more likely that you're not going to be as attractive as if you are like taking an active interest in your future and like, doing stuff like, I don't know, even like an active interest in your health. Like I like hiking, like, okay, that's really cool. That's really, it's a good hobby. I would say that that's like much more attractive than just kind of being a hermit. And I think the other big aspect is self-confidence and engaging intellectually, but that might just be more a personal preference.
Okay, Andrew?
Well, I think this largely comes down to women. So I don't believe that women generally are rational agents. They're rational. And so because they're irrational agents, generally, not always, but because, and Clarissa, before you get all fembotted on me, let me make my case. Let me make my case for this. Women are pumped full of estrogen and hormones. And the reason that their body pumps them full of it is because they need it. It's part of your actual sex. It's necessary. And this actually makes women far more irrational than men generally. Testosterone doesn't have the same effect that estrogen does. That's why you see so many transgender people who are fucking crazy. It's because they're men who are pumping their bodies full of estrogen. It's an actual crazy pill. So because that's true, just understand that I think that because they're not rational agents, that every single woman is going to respond differently. I do think that many of them do want nothing but status and money, depending on their situation. Some of them prefer good looks. Some of them prefer all sorts of different things. But men have been fighting over this question for 2,000 years. We still don't have the answer because we're trying to look at this. Look at what Alex is doing. He's looking at it from a rational angle. What would you say rationally a woman wants? Well, you can't really do that because you're not dealing with generally rational agents. There's times in the month where they're totally fucking irrational, in fact. So I think the question itself from my angle is incoherent. It's not even a coherent question. It's like, what do you think a crazy person would do under X circumstance? I don't fucking know. Who knows? Nobody knows.
Let's go to Angry.
Am I audible?
Barely, man. Let me see if I can manually turn it up.
Can I go?
Wait, let me just see if I can fuck with his mic settings.
Okay.
Unmute yourself, Angry.
Hello?
Okay, that's better. Say something again.
Can I be heard?
Yes. Now we can hear you, sir. All right. Go ahead.
So what's your question? Like, what's the most important factor as a
What
guy?
are the things? It doesn't have to be the most important. What are the things that determine a man's ability to succeed with women as a whole?
Can you like set some parameters like location, age, and short term versus long term? I don't know, just so I can give you the best possible.
I didn't give the other people parameters, so I don't want to give you the
answer.
parameters. Wait, but
All
actually,
right.
let's go in order.
I
I thought it
don't
was
know.
order, though.
I'll try to be as succinct as possible. So,
Okay.
I guess in the West, as a young guy, the most important factor is going to be probably looks, followed by maybe height and your physicality are equal, and then followed by a combination of high extroversion, low neuroticism. That'd be my answer.
Can you explain what that is?
Explain what? High extroversion, low neuroticism?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, it's the big 5 personality factor. So I don't know if you know.
Oh, you're talking about guys being extroverted, not being neurotic. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So when you talk about good game, a lot of these guys, like, you know, they're present and stuff. So a lot of these guys who aren't anxious are, like, again, highly extroverted because they go out a lot. And then low neuroticism kind of allows them to approach a lot of women and deal with rejection over and over again. So that's like my succinct answer. I don't want to take up too much time. So
okay, let's go to Nayar.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's more so a variety of factors, not just looks. I think definitely they're looking for a guy with more masculine energy, someone who can protect them, somebody with status, money, somebody who can definitely show them a good time, take care of them. They really want to look for kind of like somebody who kind of represents their father in a way to a certain extent, somebody with a lot of like masculine energy. And of course, obviously there is that looks factor too. So I really do think it's just like kind of like that umbrella of factors.
Okay. Morning after pill. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I honestly thought you were going like anyway. I would say look.
Apology not accepted. Go ahead.
I know, right? I would say looks, money, status. You do have to pass the looks threshold first, whether it's in person or online. You're not going to let somebody come up and approach you and talk to you and quote unquote game you if you don't find them to be somewhat sexually palatable. Let's be real. And then looks, money, status. So money and status, I think, kind of go hand in hand. Nayar, you actually like hit the nail on the head because I don't agree with Andrew Tate in so many fucking ways, but one thing
he's
he
extreme,
said,
but yeah.
One thing he said that I really do hardcore agree with is that women want to be entertained. Are you not entertained? We do. We want to be entertained. We want to be taken out. We want to be shown a good time.
Is that your Tate impression?
Yeah.
No, that's from Gladiator.
Yeah.
Oh.
And with the dating market being so skewed towards women, which it is, and anybody that says it isn't is coping. We want men that are going to. If you have 100 cookies in front of you, you're going to pick the best cookie with the most chocolate chips and that's warm out of the oven, right? You're not just going to go with like some mediocre cookie. No offense to anybody out there. I'm not saying these are my personal feelings. I'm just saying this is reality. And I think that realistically, if I met 5 guys and say, 3 of them were hot, 2 of them were, whatever. And then we start now 3 of them are hot. Now, which one's going to take me out and show me the best time more often? Because I want to be entertained.
The one who follows PWF.
Do what?
The one who follows PWF is the guy that's going to get the W.
There you go. Exactly. But I mean, we want a guy that's not only good looking, but also has the money and the status to entertain us and to make us feel special and wanted and to woo us. It's the same thing as in, the 1800s when men were courting women. We're just doing it completely differently and sometimes completely perverted now, but whatever, it's still happening. So I'm hardcore, I guess, reddish pill, but I'm also kind of still a feminist in a lot of ways, so it's weird. And
Okay,
that's my take.
Let me give my response, and we'll just do an open panel, open discussion. So, okay, I wrote down some points for each one of you. So, Carissa, start with you. You made some good points and some bad points. Confidence is good. You're right about that. But being intellectual doesn't really help. In fact, I would argue that in some ways, ultra-intellectual guys are a disadvantage. I've seen some of the best guys with women that I've seen, especially like, the popular jocks, they're typically not ultra smart. There are exceptions to this, but I don't think intelligence, while I think intelligence is great in a lot of other things in life, I don't think it's going to like really help you with women. Your hobbies honestly don't matter that much. I personally, my hobby is literally fucking arguing with people on the internet, having sex, and playing with my dog, right? Like my lifestyle isn't cool, right? But I'm able to be successful with women, right? So that begs the question, what actually determines your success with women. And I've come up with a formula that I think is the most accurate I've seen. It comes down to 3 factors: sexual market value, which is things like looks, money, status, your game, and the volume. So if you're a guy who, for example, is good looking, you have good game, but you're talking to like 1 girl a month, your results are going to be pretty poor, right? Or conversely, if you're a guy who's bad looking and you have bad game, but you're talking to a lot of women, your results are still going to be poor. So a guy can increase his overall success just by amplifying any part of that formula. Now, with sexual market value, you're somewhat limited unless you become famous. So you're not going to go from being a 4 to being a 10. However, you can increase it through going to the gym, through taking care of yourself, by a few points, right? Game, you can really just, the sky's the limit with that. And volume, the sky's the limit. You're just limited by the time you have. Now, in terms of what Andrew said, so you made the argument that attraction is emotional, it's not logical. I agree with you, but the one thing that you're wrong about is guys like me are not looking at it rationally. We're not sitting around thinking, I wonder what women like. Let's ask them. We're looking at the behaviors of women. We're looking, hey, this is what got this girl to sleep with me. This is what this girl's attracted to. This is what caused this relationship to work out. So we're looking, at least me personally, we're looking at behaviors.
Not
right?
my argument.
Okay. Well, I just want to clarify that. We're looking at behaviors. We're not looking at, I laid it from like a purely intellectual perspective. In fact, I've had a lot of disagreements with people who sit there and just try to like think their way into what women find attractive, because typically it doesn't work that way. Andrew, some of the guys I know who are best with women were introverts, Austin Summers being a prime example. Myself, to a small extent, too. I was always fairly introverted, still am. You can be successful with women and be introverted as long as you're able to develop your social skills. I acknowledge that extroverts definitely have an advantage, but that does not mean someone who's introverted, cannot be successful with women. I'm not going to talk about the other thing you mentioned, which is the neuroticism, because it's not something I personally have experience with, but I can speak on the introverted thing. Nayar, I largely agree with what you said. This morning after pill, I think that, yeah, I don't disagree. I think your explanation is a little bit oversimplistic, but I think you got more or less, correct in terms of the grand message. So yeah, now let's open it up.
Austin's really an introvert? I didn't know that.
He was a hardcore introvert, still is
Oh,
a lot of
shit.
ways. That's why he does things like constantly just do things. He meditates, he goes hiking, he does a lot of non-social things all the time.
I think when I mentioned the intellectualism, I think a better approach to that would be aligned vision. And I think in order to have a good vision, you have to intellectualize it to an extent. Like, what do you want out of your life? What is the value that you want in your life? What does your future look like? What are your goals? Those types of things. I think if I take issue with the concept that women need to be entertained as much as seeing how you work as a team and how your values and your goals and your future aspirations line up.
Oh, this is amazing. So already we have the 2 women here disagreeing, while Alex says that he has the secret formula for how to get into both of their pants. Right. So this is the whole problem. This is the whole problem with the entirety of the madness that is produced by the whole pickup artist degen community. They don't have any secret answers. They don't have the secret way into the woman's pants, and the women themselves can't even agree on what the hell they want. And why would they be able to? Most of the time, they're not not rational agents, and I can demonstrate this.
Andrew, how do you get girls?
I can demonstrate this.
Carissa and I
guys, we got to do one at a time.
Before the entirety of the panel begins to spurg out of control, let me demonstrate what I'm talking about, which is an estrogen problem. Estrogen problems with low progesterone especially lead to all sorts of mental illnesses for women, lead to serious psychological and neurological problems for women. Whereas the testosterone in a man, especially high testosterone, is like the fountain of youth. Keeps our brain sharp, keeps our muscles big, pretty much everything that you can imagine is the opposite of estrogen.
That's not true.
Wondrous
Andrew.
for us.
That
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is true.
scientifically and medically incorrect.
Okay,
You're
what's
ridiculous.
correct? What's correct then?
No, actually, so when a woman does
Stop, Andrew. Hang on.
Actually,
I stopped
and
her
her
from interrupting you.
estrogen levels drop, one way that we fix a lot of a woman's problems is by giving her more estrogen. Just like with giving men.
Yeah,
more
you're talking
testosterone.
about 2 very specifically different things.
And you're
Yeah, I'm talking
generalizing
about.
something.
I'm talking about.
You're generalizing something and lumping
I was very
everyone
specific.
into it. All right.
I'm talking about a low amount of progesterone with a high amount of estrogen, which is a problem that lots and lots of women deal with.
It's
Often,
actually not. It's not as
it
common.
is.
No, it
It
isn't. I
is,
worked
especially-
OBGYN for
especially-
10
Wait,
years.
Andrew, let her talk. Let her talk, dude. Let her talk. Go ahead.
So progesterone levels are not nearly as important as estrogen levels. One thing that they are important in is when you are pregnant. And when a woman has low progesterone levels, it can cause her to spontaneously abort, aka miscarriage. Okay, but they're not nearly as crucial to a woman's mental well-being as the estrogen levels are. Just like with testosterone, you cannot simplify something like this and generalize it to a broad demographic of people just because it suits your argument, Andrew.
This is
Well, that's
true.
nice because
A
it's
lot
not
of
what I'm
women
doing.
actually
So I'm
have high
talking. So I make
testosterone,
a delineation.
and there's an issue there.
Let me respond to the argument real quick. Let me respond to the argument real quick. So
Okay, and then let's
I'm
let
making
Carissa
two
talk.
different arguments at the same exact time. The one argument that I made was
Thanks
one
to you.
specific condition, which is low progesterone with high estrogen, which causes women to go batshit crazy. But estrogen in and of itself also can just cause women to go batshit crazy. The link is
And so can
astronomical. In fact.
testosterone. So can
Not
test.
not
Yes, it
nearly as
can.
much as
If a
estrogen. No,
man
if you put
has too
men
high or too low
on, if you
levels,
put men on
you're either
estrogen,
what?
they go fucking nuts. If you put women on testosterone, they
Wait, you froze there. They what?
Wait, what?
Well,
That's actually interesting. I don't
testosterone,
know.
It's
they
like
get a little hairier and their sex drive goes way up. So
And they can get aggressive too.
Wait, I think
Like
it's pretty
hormone.
clear that too much a hormone imbalance with any gender can fuck you up. A man
Thank
having
you,
too much
Adam.
testosterone
Yeah.
is bad. A woman having too much testosterone
it's
is
not
bad.
a
A man having
gender.
too much
It's
estrogen-
not a gender thing. It's not a
It's
gender
a
thing. It's a sex thing. So understand that there's a distinction between the two. When we're talking about sex, we're talking about the hormones that the specific sex produces. In this case, generally speaking, estrogen tends to make women less rational. They make them less rational agents. This is demonstrated over and over again. I don't know why
you
this
have
is even
no
argued.
credible studies.
What's the argument?
Absolutely.
Well, you
Pull
have
one up.
you
Pull
have
a
to
Yes, there
credible
are
study
credible studies for it. Yes.
Pull
pull
one
up
up,
yeah.
please.
pull up some
Is
of
it
the
the same
studies.
credible study that you cited to me in the last debate we had?
But
where
I
you
think we
said-
can agree that too much testosterone for men also fucks them up. I mean, I personally, like, I can speak anecdotally. I'm on TRT. When I was getting into it and I was adjusting my dose, when my dose was too high, it was making me like ultra emotional. I was having crazy mood swings. And as soon as I got my dose to the correct point, suddenly all of that went away. So too much testosterone in men is also not a good thing. Your hormones need to be in balance. That's why you see like bodybuilders who are too much shit, doing crazy shit and getting into stupid fights at the gym. They're literally not able to think rationally. I do want to go back to, I don't want to get into like a full-on hormone debate. I do want to get back to what Andrew said earlier, because you successfully strawman my whole opening argument. I did not say I have some secret formula to get every woman. I was prescribing a general formula that on average will determine a man's ability to get laid, right? And so I'd like you to specifically point out which part of this formula you disagree with. It's sexual market value, game plus volume. So which part of that do you feel is incorrect?
Well, because I'll try to say this one more time so that you understand. You're taking the woman element out of it and you're putting it in the man's arena. And what I'm saying, my counter argument to your entire system is that you're dealing with generally irrational agents. Since you're dealing with generally irrational agents, I don't believe that you can apply a mechanistic
Is that
system
because of
that has
their
any
estrogen levels?
Wait, stop. Ashley, let me finish.
So I don't think that you can create and construct a system which compensates for the irrationality. That's my point.
Well, let's go one by one. Okay, so the first point is sexual market value. So do you think on average being good looking, like being in really good shape, having status or being rich is going to help or hurt a guy?
I think that almost always money will help a man. Yeah, sure.
Okay. And what about looks? What about if you're 6'4" compared to 5'4"? Will looks help?
Yeah, I think it'll help to a degree.
Okay, so you agree with the SMV part. Okay, what about game?
Yeah, but these are all preference based around what you think a woman prefers. So if we're talking in generality, you say, do you think that women prefer taller men? Sure.
That's exactly so. Andrew, we are talking about generalities right now. We're not talking about each specific woman. We're talking about aggregate of all women. You agree with me on the SMB part, so I want to move on to the next part. So, game. Do you think that being confident, charismatic, having a good sense of humor, will that help or hurt your ability to, on average, seduce women?
If you're talking on maybe like on a low average, maybe. But I also think that especially in the year 2023, right, going into this entire next century, there's a lot of women who focus on the domination of men and want more submissive men because they've been trained this way psychologically. Has nothing to do with what their intuition says, but there's a psychological phenomenon which has happened.
I agree.
That,
I sort of disagree with that, but I don't want to go on a side tangent, so I'll just table that point for now. So let's say
these aren't side tangents. You can't say anytime I get to the heart of your ideology that I'm going on a side tangent. I'm trying to get right into what you believe.
No, because we can talk about whether more women prefer man to want to dominate man or not, but that's going to get off the initial point. So I want to focus it on
How is that
So,
off the initial
wait,
point?
stop. You're doing this thing where you try to detour the conversation. Let me just stick with this, and then we can get into any line of questioning you want. So yeah, so I'm going to give you there's two identical twins. All factors are the same level of looks, same level of money. One of them is really confident, really charismatic, really funny. One of them has really bad social skills. He's horrible talking to women. He has really bad anxiety. Which one would you put money on to be more successful with women overall?
Obviously, the person who's more competent,
Okay, right.
etc.
So confidence, charisma helps, i.e. game helps. So let's get to the last point, volume, right?
I just think it's beside the point.
Well, that's the formula you're disagreeing with. So far, you've agreed with 2 out of the 3 parts of the formula.
Yeah, but that's because you're just framing it. Like you can frame it however you want, and then we'll just never get to what I'm talking about.
So
I can endlessly agree, and it has nothing to do with my point.
But you're agreeing,
welcome
you're agreeing
to
with my
taking a dose
formula.
of your own medicine.
You're agreeing with my formula, but then you're saying it's wrong. You're saying, hey, A equals B, B equals
I'm
C.
not agreeing
However,
with your formula.
Well,
You're
yes,
wrong.
you agree.
I'm agreeing with certain aspects of things that you're saying. I'm saying that your formula is largely going to be ineffective.
Andrew, have you taken estrogen? Because you might want to look into that. Your estrogen.
Have you?
You're not making sense.
Do you think, Carissa? Do you think you can give some of your testosterone to your husband? I think he needs it.
Well, come on, guys. I don't want to deter to the personal attacks. It's not good. Not good discussion. Not good use of any of our time. So let's just limit the personal attacks. At least limit them to the
fragile masculinity, guys. Come on. So, I'm kidding.
Wait, Carissa, stop. So we talked about the sexual market value. Sexual market value is exactly what I explained to be in the first example I gave you, which is your looks, your height, your money. Game is exactly what I explained to you in the second example. So last component of this formula is volume. So I have an identical twin. We're same level of money, same level of looks, and same level of confidence. One of us goes out once a month. One of us goes out 4 times a week. Who do you think on average will be more successful with women? The guy who goes out once a month or the guy who goes out 4 times a week?
Are you still talking to me, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Repeat the question for me.
Okay, we have 2 identical twins. They have the same level of money, same level of confidence, same level of everything. One of them goes out like, I don't know, once every 2 months. One of them, the other one goes out 4 or 5 times a week to talk to women. Who do you think will, on average, be more likely to be successful?
Probably the one that goes out the most and gains the most chances from talking to the most amount of women. Let me ask you a counter question.
So you just agree with every part of my
but I
formula.
didn't agree. And let me show you how. Because
did.
you don't really understand what you're doing, but I'm going to try to help you out. Now, let's say that we do have the same set of identical twins. One of them slightly introverted, but has a lot of money. And the other one is very charismatic, but has absolutely no money whatsoever. But he goes out slightly more. Who has the best chances then, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really measure that.
Right. So that's my whole formula. Okay, Alex, answer my question.
Generality. There's no way you can answer that because there's no valuable attached to this. So I'd never make the argument that game
you're making
is
what you're doing. What you're doing is you're giving these situations of like, do you think that a person with 2 arms is going to do better tasks than somebody with 1 arm? It's like, well, sure, I can say that. But if we're looking at the reality of the situation, nothing's ever contrasted this way, not in real time. How it's actually contrasted is with minutia in details. And so I'm saying that there's plenty of introverts. There's plenty of introverts. I'm asking, hang on, let me finish.
Hang on, let me finish. I think that part of it is that you guys need to define the parameters.
Let's let Andrew finish.
Define the parameters of game.
Let's let Andrew finish. Try to find that mute button.
Well, I just think that you're disagreeing with components of what Alex is saying, but not like.
I think Andrew perfectly agrees with me, but he just wants to disagree.
No, I don't. I'm not saying I want to disagree. I'm explaining to you that when this is mapped on to reality, if you're going to take these kind of generalizations where you draw such a huge contrast, then it's easy to agree with what you're saying. It's like asking if a person is born completely ugly versus a person who's born beautiful, who's going to be more successful with the opposite sex? Well, probably the person who's born more beautiful. Sure, all of that's true. But in the minutia of the situation, what about a guy who's just moderately good looking, but has $10 million, and a guy who's really, really good looking, but he's kind of short and he doesn't have any money? Then what, Alex? How does your formula compensate for that?
I mean, it would say the
So
moderate.
my formula is not a hard science; it's more of an art. If you have a better formula that you can give me that you think maps on more correctly on who's successful with women, then I'd love to hear it.
This is my whole point. My whole point is I don't believe that you can construct such a formula, Alex, because of the minutia, how people operate in real time, how it's mapped on a reality. You're trying to take too much of the female component out. I don't think you can compensate for it.
But you agree that looks matter, that confidence matters.
You can coke laugh all you want, Clarissa, but you haven't made an argument. What were you saying?
You agree that every single one of the
things. Clarissa would probably like to, but you know.
I mean, maybe you guys will actually have something worth saying. We'll see.
I'll let someone else speak. I've been talking for a while. Go ahead.
No, Andrew, I was saying to answer your question, the moderately good-looking one, but you kind of like Alex asked you a bunch of questions. To be honest, it seems like he just kind of agreed with everything he was saying, and then you were just bringing up some like side tangents when he was literally asking like what you were disagreeing with him. But you literally agree.
What's your argument, Derper? What's your argument? Do you have one?
Andrew, why don't you shut the fuck up and let someone
talk? Dude, chill out, man. Jesus.
I want to know this guy's argument. He's just
he's getting to it. It's kind of hard for him to get to it when you're insulting him.
No, how long does it take? I'm just going back to what Alex said to you, and you literally agreed with everything he said. That's it.
So first of all, studies have shown that that rationality and emotion aren't it's not one or the other. You can both be emotional and rational at the same time. The issue is when you make decisions based on your emotion, which is not necessary. So it is true that on average, women are more emotional than men are, but that does not mean that their rationality is compromised. And that's been demonstrated in studies.
Agree with you 100%, Chris. I just made this point last night. Exactly.
Let's let Andrew respond to that because I think that's directed at him.
Was it directed at me?
I think
it was an argument.
Can you repeat it one more time?
Sure. So being an emotional person and being a rational person, it's not one or the other. Both of them can coexist. You can feel emotion, but not let those emotions affect your rational decision for something. And studies have shown that women are just as rational as men, even though they are more emotional.
Okay, which studies?
I can bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up. Now, while you're bringing that up,
he wants you to bring up studies, but he won't bring up studies when
I was trying to bring up the study that you requested. Alex began asking me other questions. Which things should I do? Which order would you like me to do things in, Ashley?
Let's start off with Clarissa and then let's go to Ashley.
What would be your preference? And by the way, let me ask Clarissa a quick question because I'd like to know the answer to this. You think that even if you have an overage of emotions running through, do you think that would give you the precursor for being less or more rational?
So I never said overage. I'm saying that women feel emotion to a greater degree. I don't see that as an overage.
Okay, so more emotion equals less or more rational, do you think?
Carissa, he's straw man.
It's not
the point you just made.
Oh, I know.
Literally.
I know.
There's
it's
no
not
straw man
correlated
because
to
I didn't.
It doesn't affect it to that extent.
So do you know what a straw man is? Because that's not what one is. That would be me trying to contend with an argument she didn't make.
Okay. So I don't think your emotion necessarily affects your rationality if you don't allow your emotions to do that. And I think that's what the study that I'm bringing up shows is that women, while they do feel more emotion, they don't allow that emotion to affect their rationality.
Can you share the study so I can
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to bring it up. I think Hunter has it, but
okay. If you need time, it's cool.
Yeah, dig into that deep rational brain to figure out which folder he has it under, Clarissa.
I'm just looking online. I'm not on his
The guy that questions everybody's like ethics during a debate, who literally completely always attacks everyone with ad hominem and literally straw man.
I don't want to take this into a weird personal direction. Both of you guys, let's keep it on topic to this discussion. Okay, so Angry, we haven't heard from you literally the whole stream, so I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I think like Andrew basically is trying to say that you can't, like, if you have different permutations of like SMV or status or whatever, you can't really compare them properly. So
Yes, I never said so. Notice how I did.
so if you compare like person one, right? So he has looks plus height, and then you have person two who has just height. Obviously, person one is going to win in that situation. But if you have like different weights attached to each thing, like it's impossible to compare, right?
Yeah, so that's so you are right about that. But notice I didn't when I gave my form, I didn't give a weight to it. I didn't say SMV is 50%, this is 20%. I don't think it's really possible to measure those things. I think in some ways it's kind of like asking what part of a car is more important, the engine, the transmission, or the wheels. They're all important for driving the car. To some extent, you need every single one of those things. You can have the best game and the best sexual market value. If you don't leave your house, you will not meet girls, right? You can,
but why would you not leave your house though? Like, if you have the best game and the best SMV.
Because some people are fucking introverts. Some people work a lot. Some people have health issues. There's many.
Yeah, but usually people are shaped by, like.
Okay, angry. You are an above average looking guy who never talks to women. You are an example of someone who has above average SMV and zero volume. So I think you can relate to the idea of someone not going out and talking.
I mean, yeah, but I'm like an extreme outlier. I'm like one in like, I don't know, 100,000 or something in terms of like introversion or whatever.
Well, first of all, you're
I don't know why we're getting personal, but
I'm not trying to personally attack you. I'm just trying to make a point. Is that there's, first of all, you're not one in 100,000. There's a lot of men out there who are not going out and talking to women, right? They're sitting all day. It's not as uncommon as you think. It's very, very common. I know this because I coach a lot of them, right? So it's much more common than you think. You're not an extreme outlier in that sense at all. And second of all, the larger point that I'm trying to make is that your volume, how often, how much effort you put in, will affect your overall success with women. If your goal is to get one second, Andrew. If your goal is to get a girlfriend, right? That's you don't care about one night stands. You just want to have a serious relationship. You're going to be more likely to succeed in that goal if you go out and you talk to a bunch of women versus if you go out once a month. That's a larger point. So I'm not assigning a specific weight. This is not a hard science. It's more of an art. However, I think we can all agree that each one of these things matters. Therefore, that your results with women will be somewhat determined by each one of these things. I haven't assigned a weight to it. You can make the argument that maybe one of these points deserves more value than the other, and that's a separate discussion. But I'm not assigning a weight to them. I'm not saying they're all 33%. I'm saying they're all important. So that's my initial point. Let's go with Carissa and then Andrew.
So I did find this study. So basically it's saying there was an international team of researchers, and it was a large-scale reanalysis of data from 6,100 participants, and they found they asked people 20 questions that posed various moral dilemmas, including decisions about murder, torture, lying, abortion, and animal research. The findings suggested that men and women engage in similar levels of rational thinking about the outcomes of harmful action. They did find that women had more of a emotional response, but they still gave the same answers.
Can you put that study down in the chat for me? I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
What year was that study from?
This was published in 2015.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't know why women would get less rational in the last 9 years.
Yeah, I don't think anything.
Estrogen levels, Carissa. Estrogen levels.
Well, it's hard to say because I've never looked at the study. I still don't see it in the private chat. But when I'm
on my phone.
When I do get a chance to look at it, though, we'll take a look at the methodology and see what we can see. The sample size. Lots of these things matter. Was this study peer reviewed? Was it part of a meta-analysis? Are any of these things?
It was a large-scale analysis, so yes.
So is it a meta-analysis?
Yes, it should be a meta-analysis since it's looking at prior data. Either that, it could be another type of.
Andrew, the study that you and your wife quoted to me a couple of weeks ago, was that?
Are we talking about a debate from a couple of weeks ago? I'm not concerned with that. I'm concerned with this study right now.
Debates. Part of a debate is actually
bringing up former debates that have nothing to do with the topic.
She's trying to make a larger point about her argument. Ashley, go ahead and make your point.
Discerning one's credibility, Andrew.
Let's
find
keep it away from the personal attacks. Go ahead.
no credibility as far as if he's going to sit there and pick apart someone's choice of a study.
Actually, just make your point about the study.
All right, my point is that you have brought up in the past studies that are not meeting the criteria that you're demanding a study meets tonight. Thank you, Alex. Yes.
Okay, there we go.
So,
This is an article
just
about
to make
this
sure I
study?
got this right. In a former debate, a study which was produced did not meet the specific criteria in which you're saying that I now demand. I guess you should have demanded that criteria, Ashley. It sounds like you're a bad debater. Can you go ahead and post that study in the private
So
chat?
a good
Okay.
debater just
It's there.
promotes false studies.
So this is
and
a-
then changes their opinions. I'm sorry, Carissa. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted. This is a article. I don't have like JSTOR open or anything, so I wasn't able to find.
Yeah,
the
this
actual
isn't the study. This doesn't. Yeah, this
It's
doesn't do
referencing
anything.
the study. Okay.
Yeah, it's referencing it, but it doesn't show me the study, so there's no way for me to check the
So,
methodology.
yeah,
There's no
so-
way for me to check anything.
It goes into detail about the methodology in the article, and if you wanted to look up the study, all of the information is there. You asked for it, minutes notice, and I gave you an article about the study. So
Where does the article go into the methodology?
Jesus Christ. Let's move on from
you
Yeah,
gotta
well,
scroll down.
Okay, well, listen.
Let him answer, let him
Hang
answer.
on. Hang on. That would be a fair enough. Let me just say this one thing, Alex. This is important. If you produce a study, and in this case, an article which supposedly has the information you're claiming is in this study, and you use it as the core crux of your argument, you can't get mad if I demand that I be able to pick apart. Otherwise, I have to take you at your word that it says what you mean, and it may not. You can't
I
use
actually
a
agree with
mundane
you.
of my
Actually,
study
just
to
be a better
crux your argument
charlatan.
and say, well, let's just
Be
move
a
past
better
it.
charlatan like Andrew.
Wait, stop.
Do you think?
All
Can I
right.
respond to that? please?
Let's let Andrew. He's in his right to ask about the methodology of his study. On this, one of the very few points I agree with him on. So let's.
Yeah.
I think only further he gets to
I
ask.
think it's fun.
Okay.
All my point is that I don't think it's reasonable for you to have a folder of every single study that you could potentially ever use, or are
Well,
familiar
usually
with.
when you do a debate, before you present studies and data, you send them to the other person first so that they can be vetted. That's proper debate etiquette.
Actually, this was a completely
studies did you
spontaneous
share
debate.
tonight,
Come on,
Andrew?
dude.
Did you
This was
share
a purely.
studies
I didn't even
tonight?
know you were coming on.
Yeah,
until,
so then
like,
maybe in a completely spontaneous debate, you don't spontaneously produce studies that another person can't vet. That seems very stupid to me.
No, you just
I-
lie
I-
about
okay,
You're
facts.
now I
you're
disagree with
coping
you.
for your
Dude,
inability.
There's
You
no
asked her-
cope. There hasn't been a study produced.
Wait, you asked her for a
There's no
study.
study. She hasn't shown a
produced the
study.
and
There
then
is
you're
no
saying,
study.
well, you should have sent me that study because I didn't get it beforehand. Like, come on.
No,
this
there
like-
was no study. She
that's
sent
bad
me no
faith right
study.
there.
There's
There's
a
no
study.
study sent.
There's
no study
okay,
sent. You didn't
there's
send
an
me a
article
study.
about the study.
You want me to
Andrew,
share my
maybe you
study?
can point out specifically what is your issue with the study.
I asked about the methodology. She said it was in the article. I asked if she could tell me where the methodology is in the article. Can you or not? Where's the
can
methodology
So
we-
in
it's
the
not
article?
in detail. It's on. Let me
Well,
count
where
the
is it
paragraphs
at
for
all?
you.
Well, okay,
Can
let's
we
let her
bring-
Count
respond.
paragraphs.
God.
1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. Paragraph 5 through like 6. And obviously, it's not going to go as in depth as the actual study would, but you can't say that there's no study when the article is referencing the study.
Carissa, while Andrew takes a look at that, maybe you could also find the original study. I'm sure that's
I'm
like-
trying that. I'm sorry. A lot of stuff like this is behind paywalls, so it's a little hard to find, but I'm working on it.
PWF will sponsor it, wherever it costs. On me.
Alex.
I want to go
Just gonna
back
be
to while Andrew.
I
has a
found
minute.
it.
Okay.
Give
do
me
you
a
wanna-
second. I'm going to copy it over.
Okay.
I just point out that I actually did a word search and couldn't find the word methodology anywhere in that article at all.
Okay. Well, she just posted the original study.
Okay.
Andrew, so take a look at that. While you, I'm sure you need a few minutes to go through that. So while you go through that, I want to make my point. So I think that human beings in general are emotional. We all operate on some part logic and some part emotion, but people are a lot less logical and rational than we think, including men. Most men still primarily operate through their emotion. They may be in denial about it, they might not want to admit it, but we're fueled by our emotions. This takes massive amounts of self-awareness and discipline to become more and more logical in the way you live your life, right? So most men are emotional, most women are emotional. Now we're talking about degrees, then yes, I would agree that on average, women are more emotional than men. But
wait a second. Hang on. Hang on.
Wait, can I make
Are
my
you
point?
sure that this is the correct study?
Yes.
Okay, because this is talking about the abstraction. The abstract itself is talking about the difference in deontological versus utilitarian ethics. And this is what the study was looking at when they were comparing genders.
Did you go to the entire study, or are you looking at the abstract?
Just right now in the abstract right away. So I'm trying to figure this out. What is it? What do you think this study is showing exactly?
Andrew, could you show your study
Wait, stop.
women?
Wait,
No,
Ashley, stop.
but
Well,
the
let him
estrogen levels in women. No, really, this is relevant, Alex. I swear to God, the estrogen levels in women and how.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing at a time,
Yeah.
Ashley. We'll get to that in a second.
No. I mean,
I'm trying to figure
you're,
this
you
out.
know, while you're back there
we
simmering,
got
could you
to do it
pull
one
that
at a time. Let's let Andrew was presented with a study that whatever disagrees with what he's saying. Let him explore that study, and afterwards he can.
And then everybody knows that I want to see the study on estrogen levels, and let's critique that.
We will do that right after we go through the study.
So this says the current research uses a process disassociation independently assess deontological and utilitarian inclinations in women and men. Like, what are you trying to present here?
So typically with these types of things, you come to conclusions that aren't directly related to the intention of the study in the first place. So it's true that they could be measuring the different types of rationality that women and men have, but in the same study find that they are as rational as each other.
Yeah,
they're just using different types of judgments.
So this is true that you can find side things within a study that you weren't necessarily looking for. But in this particular case, the entirety of the principle of the study is looking for a deontological versus utilitarian moral guide for actions when it comes to the gender department. It has nothing to do at all with rationale decision making.
Yes, 100%.
It can't because the methodology. Look, we'll go through the methodology. I'll pull it up here in a second, but it's not even actually possible. It would be flawed from the outset. So hang on, I'll pull it up. You guys can keep talking. I'll tear this thing apart.
My point being that you have, in order to apply a utilitarian and other worldviews, it has to be done rationally, and that is what they found using this study, is that while they might have different ways of going about stuff, they're
so
just as rational.
My point.
All that's available here is the abstract, because the rest of it.
I know. I'm looking for it.
My
the rest
point
of it's
is
behind
that,
paywall. So I still don't have a complete study, but even the abstract's not even looking for these things that you're talking about. It's a literal comparison between deontological, which are universal, versus utilitarian, which are consequential ethics, and how the different genders respond to them has nothing to do with what you're talking about at all when it comes to rational decision making, when it comes to hormones and everything else.
It does 100%.
Well, then you have to show it. Show me the study itself.
So I showed you the article that was based off of the full study.
The article doesn't show the study. This abstract doesn't show the study. None of this.
If you want to read the whole study, you can pay for it, but you can't attack me for misrepresenting it when I'm trusting a syndicated news article.
You haven't presented the study.
I did. I trusted this. Hold on. I presented a trusted syndicated news article that has reputability.
This abstract doesn't even say anything about what you're talking about. Nothing.
I am citing a reputable news article.
I do have a question, Alex. Whenever I may.
Yes. All right. Let's unless there's more, let's get off this like nitpicking study thing, because I feel like it's not really entertaining. Let's go to Ashley, and then we'll keep going. All right. So go ahead.
Well, my question did have to do with the study, so if you don't want to, then I'll move on.
If it's a different, make your point. That's fine.
My point is that I believe that so in the art of debate, we all want to try to find a credible source or a way to prove our point, right? and I agree with that absolutely. But why I was saying the things I was saying about Andrew earlier, which may have seemed, because they were, emotionally charged. I do have a vagina, estrogen maxing, but I do want to say that, like, Andrew has also brought up several studies that he has not sat there and critiqued and combed through and really raked anyone over the coals about, or himself, in order to, prove the validity of those.
Yeah,
And
so I don't
that's
ever bring up any studies in debates as a
no,
point of
you
fact
did. You
unless
did.
they're pre-done. No, my wife
No,
did.
you're interrupting
No,
me
my
now.
wife did.
Yep. No, you did
No,
actually
my
earlier.
wife did.
No, earlier tonight, Andrew. I'm not talking about the other
Well, earlier
debate.
tonight it was demanded that I do so because you said, "Do you have a study? Do you have a study for that?"
And I'm
So you
emotional.
demanded
That's
it.
what you asked me.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the thing is,
So you
is
should
I
be
didn't
consistent at
I didn't
least.
base my argument on a study.
Already, I've said
It was
enough.
requested. It was requested that a study be used as a basis for my argument. That's the difference. You base the entirety of your argument on a study. Therefore, it's fair for me to ask you about the source of it.
Wait,
It
Andrew,
is
but
fair.
when you were talking
Not
about
strong,
when you
Annie.
were talking about when you were talking about estrogen, you did say that studies confirm that. So I think
And
it's
I
fair.
asked you what
Because it
studies,
was asked if
and
studies
you.
confirmed it.
I
And I
asked
said
you what
yes.
studies.
Do you
And I
can you
asked
show that
quite
study?
a while ago to produce those, and you said you would, and still here we are. So
Okay, well, I've been debating these other things, not
yeah,
hunting
well,
down
now
these
you're
studies.
not.
Okay,
So how
well,
about
just
you
here,
spend
let's
some
give
time?
Andrew a
Should
few
have
minutes.
it prepared.
Wait, let's give
For
Andrew a
what?
few
You've
minutes.
been prepared,
How could I
Andrew. What
possibly
the
have
fuck
had
are
it
you doing?
prepared?
Good point, Chris.
Let's give Andrew a few minutes to find that study since it was requested.
Mhm.
So we will move on to something while he digs that
Yes.
up. Angry, do you mind if I remove you and bring someone else in?
No, go for it.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right, no one here has any beef with Ryan Radical Coder. Is there any? I can bring
Love
him on.
He's
Ryan.
chill. He's
Okay,
great.
no one has any issues. Okay, good. I feel like I have to ask nowadays. All right, what's up, Ryan? So Ryan is going to be representing the hardcore blue pill. So I guess now it's kind of like way towards the red pill, blue pill direction. Q2. I'll try to get you on later if I can. All right, Ryan. I'm sure you've been watching this, so if you want to make your initial point, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I was the whole debacle with the article and the study and stuff was
Back to the study.
what?
Let's just get. I don't want to get back to the study.
Oh, we don't have to. I just wanted to. We can put if I can just put a bookend to it from what I watched. I mean, like the article that Carissa linked, like it seems to be like from a pretty reputable source, and they directly quote, like the last paragraph of it directly quoted the study and saying that we found no evidence for gender differences in the rational evaluation of the outcomes of harmful actions. So like I think that's kind of like the point she was making. Unless they're lying about like what the study said, and again, like maybe Andrew thinks that this study like has some like terrible methodology. You could probably like you can probably get a decent, like you can put some degree of I mean you can't be 100% sure, but like I mean it does come from again like a pretty reputable journal, like the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin seems to be pretty dependable, like pretty respectable. So maybe it's bullshit, but I think there's like pretty good reason to take that article's word for like that statement at least. Like I don't know if Andrew wants to tear that apart.
It seems like
fine,
the key
but-
word is harmful action. So it is entirely possible that women could, on average, be more emotional. However, that emotion doesn't lead them to harm
Right.
themselves.
So, well, this is key because it's talking about the difference between utilitarian versus deontological ethics. So, if they're saying that women are more directly or less likely to engage in actions which the consequences are perceived as harmful, that wouldn't be deontology. And it could be that because I'm a deontologist, I would consider that to be irrational, Ryan. I have no idea because I
Yeah, I don't know
can't
if
see
that's
the
what it's
fucking
saying.
study.
Well, what it
I
is
can't see the
saying,
study.
well, to be clear, what it is saying, according to this quote at least, is that there was no evidence for gender differences when in rational evaluation of the outcomes of those harmful actions. So, like,
An
when considering
excerpt
those outcomes.
from the study
I'm just
that's
telling- I'm just
quoted
telling
by
you
an
what the article
article
said, yeah.
is not the study. There's no way for me to vet it, Ryan.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't.
Yes or
honestly,
no,
I wouldn't.
Ryan?
Honestly, like I
Yes
wouldn't.
or no,
I wouldn't
Ryan?
take your. I wouldn't I wouldn't trust you to vet it anyway because you're not trained to like look over this like a study from this journal like anyway. Like you don't have any of the skills that I would trust in someone to like.
I mean,
review
you
a
can
study like
anyone
this.
anyone can interpret a study. You don't have to be.
Well, they
What are
can
you
interpret
talking
it,
about,
but
Ryan?
I don't-
honestly, like
honestly.
you,
Who's
like
got
the
the,
like a
who's got the
layman probably
who's
should
got the PhD
should like
for
listen
the
to what the
studies
study
here?
the authors of the study say.
I'm a
honestly.
data analyst.
Who's got the PhD for the study analysis here? Come
Probably
on.
the people who
I
wrote
don't
it.
think
I
it
bet.
matters. Ryan, going back
Apparently
to
you did.
actually, I'm going to take an issue with something you said. We can agree that men and women are prone to different kinds of emotions. Men are much more prone to anger. Women are much more prone to, I don't know, not anger. They're more prone to like bitchy behavior and like whining, complaining, that type of shit, right? So we're men and women are prone to different kinds of emotions. So is it possible that men are more prone to, like, I don't know, like fucking like road rage, right? That's actually been scientifically proven. Men are more likely to be involved in road rage than women, but women are more prone to like self-medicating with like, dangerous pills and stuff like that. So that overall utilitarian effect could be the same, but we just express our emotions in different ways because our emotions manifest in different ways.
Yeah. There's not much.
How's for you, Ron?
really-
Oh, that's for me. Yeah, I mean, it sounded kind of reasonable. I think. I don't know, like if all of that data that you like stated actually says those things, then yeah, I mean that's one conclusion you could draw.
Because on average, I do
ways.
agree that I personally believe that women are on average more emotional than men. By the way, I don't see that as a bad thing either. But
I agree.
I don't think it's like a all or nothing thing where men are these like logical actors and women these purely emotional actors. Most men operate primarily through emotion as well.
Yeah, and I guess when we say, I think when we say that like just emotional, like that, I think I would also be interested like in like what metrics specifically we're talking about when we say like more or less emotional, because I think that like I don't know like exactly like what you're measuring when you say someone's like more emotional.
Let me redirect. A lot of people are saying redirect us back on track. So let's go back to what women want in
fingerless gloves.
Let's get back to that topic. Does anyone have a point they want to make?
We want more testosterone.
What?
She wants TRT.
Higher T levels in a man. That's what we want.
Yeah, I'll ship you some TRT. You're good. You can give it to the next.
And a man.
You can put it in his food and shit. But does anyone have like a serious point they want to make?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people out here are denying themselves and denying biology and denying the way the world works when they say that just be yourself, man, quote unquote. Not that being yourself is bad, but sometimes yourself does need self-improvement. I think we can all agree on that. And I think that one thing that Alex brings to the space, which, I know a lot of people have really bad takes on pickup artists, and I do too, honestly. I have issues with a lot of them. But anyway, I do find that Alex can be incredibly based. And I do think that he at least acknowledges that looks are what, Alex, at least 50% of it. I mean, you have to at least looks max. Like, you might not genetically be the perfect Chad, right? But if you're 70 pounds overweight, lose the weight. If you have acne, do something for your skin. If you have, like, what the fuck ever is going on? Dress nice, bathe, fucking put deodorant on. I don't fucking know. Brush your teeth, for the love of God. But yeah, we all have to looks max to a certain extent. And then on top of that, a lot of guys out here and women, I know women have it easier. We can literally sit around on our fucking ass and eat bonbons like Peggy Bundy all day long and still probably land a husband. To be honest, we can, though. We have that vagina privilege. We really do. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. But I'm saying that, like, to sit there and say that, like, there's nothing like, oh, well, they just want status and this and that. And I had a debate last night with someone about this. And he was like, well, I don't know. Like, what do you mean by that? I mean, like, these guys seem to be like, doing well for themselves. Well, what is doing well for yourself? That is status. That is saying that you have a direction and a purpose in life, aka our biological indicators, which say, ding, 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 this is a good provider.
I agree with all of that.
I disagree. This Alex guy sounds like a piece of shit. I did not endorse any of the videos he makes.
I agree, Alex.
I feel like I would agree with everything except with the framing that you should improve yourself in order to find someone. I feel like the most
but it's the part that's making
you don't
me
think somebody
depressed
should improve
is not
themselves
being with
on
someone, though. The part
One or the other half of the
I
sentence.
believe
the reason
that
for this
people,
space.
Wait,
is because
let's
men
let
are
Carissa
lonely.
respond.
I'm
Let's let
sorry.
Carissa
You're right.
respond.
I'm sorry.
I agreed with a lot of what you said. All I'm saying is that I think what's the most attractive is if you're not changing yourself for someone else and you're changing yourself for you to be a better person and to be healthier. And then usually it's true that people will find you more attractive. I think that increases your self-confidence level,
Yeah,
which makes
what's
you
Well, I
what's
got
the
wait.
drive
What?
behind that,
I agree.
Carissa? The drive behind that is
Yeah,
that inherently, as human beings, we don't want to be alone.
we need fuel.
I think
Sexual
there's other
selection.
drives though. I think there could be a drive for that, but I think there's also drives of I know a lot of people who are like, here I'm at my peak age, and it's not because they want to be more attractive, but they want to push the limits of what their body can do, right?
Honestly, for the vast majority of people, for majority of men at least, sex is one of the strongest drives, if not the strongest drive. It's hunt for status and sex. Like taking myself as an example, I got into lifting, going to the gym because I want to be more successful with women. I got into public speaking and self improvement because I want to be more successful with women. I started reading more and learning more because I want to be successful with women. I
Thank
started
you for
learning
being
confidence and
honest about
social
that.
skills because I want to be more successful with women. That is the drive. If I did not care about being successful with women, I would not have done all the things I have done. And that is like that for the vast majority of men. So in theory, it sounds really nice that like, yeah, just do it for yourself. But in reality, it just doesn't work that way. People are generally very apathetic and don't really do shit. Very few people are naturally motivated. They need that external
Unless we have
motivator.
an external motivator. Yes.
Yeah, and
So
being
I
successful
would
with women
argue
is
though,
that motivator.
I would argue that that would be only very temporary, because if you end up with someone, then, and if that's your motivation, it's very easy to slip into unhealthy habits again.
Ding, ding,
So I
ding.
feel
No,
like
that is that. I was
having that internal drive of, I want to do this for me is really the make or break for, and I think that makes sense because to see someone like that, you want to be with them. They're a motivating type person. Even from like an evolutionary standpoint, it would make sense to be more attractive to someone who wants to be their best self.
If I can maybe try to even bridge this, like
Wait, can I just respond
yeah,
and then
yeah, go
this
ahead.
all you're on? Yeah, but I think the key point that's being missed is that one can bleed over into another. So I personally got into lifting and going to the gym because I want to be more attractive to women. Then when I started doing consistently, I realized that I like it. Now I have a girlfriend. I don't need to be more attractive to women, but I enjoy it. Same thing with reading. Same thing with public speaking. Same thing with being social. All these things, typically, you need that like initial kick in the ass. And quite often that is women. But then once you've done it for 40, 50, 60 days, you've developed the habit. And now, even when you get a girlfriend, you're gonna be doing that. Now, there are some cases, of course, where guys just totally let themselves go and they get into a relationship, right? That can happen, right? I agree with you. But for a lot of guys, it's like literally getting laid or getting a girlfriend or getting married gives you that kick in the ass and propels you in that right direction until you develop the habit. And then you keep doing it because you discover that you like all that stuff anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
Alex, I partially agree with what you're saying, but I do think like in the case of lifting, right? If you're like fat and obese, you got to do it for yourself first. Look, I get what you mean by like doing it for women, but at the same time, if you're an unhealthy dude, like you got to get back into shape.
So
it doesn't matter why you do it. It just matters that you do it, the end result, right? It doesn't really matter if you're lifting for this reason or that reason. What matters is the fact that you're actually lifting, right? And I'm telling you, for the vast majority of men, just like this idea of like, yeah, I'm gonna do it for myself. Most people don't love themselves. Most people don't even really care. They're living a life of apathy and laziness. I think in this community,
Self-indulgence.
it's
But
not
that's
really like that. Most people are following self-improvement, but this external, like sex is one of the most powerful external motivators. They say sexual selection is more powerful than natural selection. It's an extremely strong driving tool. And if that can be used to your advantage to improve your overall life, that's a good thing. I don't think it really makes a difference why you're getting into it. I think it's extremely idealistic to hope that a lot of men will get into it just for themselves, because that's not how it's going to play out.
Carissa
can I
brought up an amazing
respond?
point, though, because Carissa said that, like, then what? She brought up the then what? Like,
And
and
that's
that's
where-
kind of the whole
yeah.
thing with the pickup artist community, which I love it. Obviously, I'm a part of it. I think it's incredibly important. But you do bring up a good point, Carissa. Then what? When we get what we want.
So I
Well,
kind of answered that.
Can I just
why are
respond
you-
to Alex
yeah,
really
why are
fast?
you-
let's
Really fast.
Wait, let's let Carissa respond, and then you can talk, Andrew. Go ahead.
I agree with you to the extent that if going after women and that being your motivator to work out and self-improve, if that makes you love yourself, quote unquote, more and actually do these things for yourself, I agree with you that that is worth it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think the goal there to be more attractive is to get to the place where you are doing these things for yourself. I think that's kind of what it comes down to for me.
I just wanted to add.
Wait, I think
to,
Ryan
to
had
that.
a point.
Yeah, I mean it's short. I think because I think it's kind of a middle ground here. Like I think that like someone said that like people don't want to be lonely, right? And like obviously I totally agree that sex is like a huge motivator. Like I definitely feel it myself, right? But like people also just don't want to be alone, and like having that confidence and doing things that like make you feel more fulfilled and make people want to be around you. So because you're more confident, like you're gonna both have an easier time finding sex and have an easier time like interacting with people in general and just like feeding off of their energy and like just becoming a better person of society and like interacting with more people. And I don't know. So I think it's kind of a combination of all these things.
All these things will not only help you with women, it will help you in every area that is social. It's going to help you maintain better friendships.
Like in your case for men, Ryan, it'll help you with that.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it has to go back though
joke,
to what Alex said, which was a very good point, that like who cares what the external motivator is as long as the end result is self-improvement. We beat ourselves up over this, guys.
I just think it's like ultra idealistic to think that like a significant percentage of men will just improve because they want to just like, because of their self-esteem. Like it's just like most people have low self-esteem. Most people have poor habits, right? You need that very strong kick. And then again, once you've developed the habit, right, then it's easier to keep doing it even once you get into a relationship, right? But it's just like, that kick in the ass. And even honestly, even for me, like I work out regularly, I do everything. But if I was single, I probably would go harder on like the self-improvement parts, if I'm just being honest, right?
For the purpose of what?
For the purpose, because then I would have the external motivator of, finding a girl.
Okay, so
pussy.
So the entirety of why you think that most men are going to try to move into some type of self-improvement model is for the purposes of fucking women.
Fucking women, getting into a relationship, getting married, anything involving women.
You think that that's the primary motivator?
Yeah, I think sexual selection is a huge motivator.
Yeah, that's why secular ethics suck, because that's not the case in religious
in the Bible.
Andrew, what do you think is the primary motivator then?
I think that the primary motivator within religious community is
we're not talking about religious people.
Okay, we're not talking about 270 million people in the United States. Okay.
Well, if I'm not religious,
we're talking about purely secularists. And
if I'm not religious, how is a religion going to motivate me to improve?
Well,
you become
instead,
religious.
tie in your belief.
So think about what you're saying. You say, I need an external factor in order to move myself towards self-improvement. Say, okay, here's an external factor called religion. Well, I'm not going to do that. The only external factor a secularist degenerate wants to
wait, what kind of self-improvement does religion push you towards?
It pushes you towards all types of self-improvement, including introspection,
the body is a temple,
understanding philosophy. It pushes you towards the great questions in life. In fact, once you start to wrestle with those great questions, that leads consequentially to it's a necessary entailment. Most theologians push towards self-improvement. Part of the modality of Christianity.
I think
most religious. I haven't seen any data. In fact, I think it's almost the opposite. Most religious people are not in better shape than the average person. They don't read more than the average person unless you count the Bible. They don't have better social skills than the average person.
The further up
the scale, no, stop, because you're misinterpreting what you're reading. The more religious you are, the less likely you are to commit crimes, Carissa. The less likely you are.
Okay,
the more religious you are, the more religious you are, the more likely it is to have great outcomes for your children. And the less likely they'll become criminals, the less likely they'll become drug addicts, the less likely they'll have bad consequences in life.
Not true.
That is directly apportioned to more religious.
Many, or if not more,
self-identify. Anybody can self-identify.
Carissa is correct.
No true Christians.
No, she's not correct. She's not correct.
Yes.
No, she's not. I'm going to prove it to you. I'll demonstrate it.
They're not Christians by
the more religious. Listen very carefully.
Only the good people are Christians.
Wait, one at a time.
You got to listen very closely,
Christian guys,
to what I'm saying. You can go and you can do multiple homicides, and you can say, "I self-identify as a Christian." Fair enough. People who self-identify as more religious, meaning I go to services, I practice this lifestyle. Those people who self-ID, when they're tracked as more religious, do commit less crimes and have better outcomes.
Okay, Andrew.
Do you have a study for that?
Yeah, of course. I'll give you the data right now. That one I happen to have in my files.
We're still waiting for the other
one.
Whoa.
Whoa, let me respond. Not committing a crime or not doing drugs is not self-improvement. There's plenty of people who don't commit crimes, who don't do drugs, who are literally fat slobs, right? So the things that you're talking about are not self-improvement. You're just talking about like, hey, you're less likely to be a criminal if you're religious. I agree with you on that point, but that's not self-improvement. Like avoiding becoming a criminal or drug addict is not self-improvement.
Self-improvement from a secularist standpoint should only mean good consequences. It can't mean anything else.
Andrew,
whatever you perceive as
to
being good consequences.
Secular and your Christian values together so that you can relate to more people.
Okay. Self-improvement is
Okay, listen very closely to what I'm saying. The only way that you can measure, the only metric you can possibly have as a secularist for what you consider self-improvement has to be whatever the hedonistic consequence of I like thing is. Do you understand?
You're setting the bar
it's a necessary entailment.
You're setting the bar so low. You're like, hey, listen, like my version of self-improvement is not being a drug addict and not committing crime. Okay, that's
if you're a drug addict, if you are a drug addict, would you consider not being a drug addict anymore to be self-improvement?
Okay, I'm not talking about extreme.
Well, answer my question, please.
Would that be a form of self-improvement? Sure.
Okay, great. So the only entailment that a secularist utilitarian can have, period, is a hedonistic outlook, meaning the necessary entailment if A is true is that B must also be true. So if A is I want thing and like thing, right? This in turn from the hedonist, they get thing. This has to be self-improvement from their standard. There can't be any other. They're all outcomes based. So
then you're
whatever the outcome is, I like it.
Theology, because the same thing can be said about the Bible.
This is not the.
Stop. I want to make this point real quick. I'll kick it off. So is religion only self-improvement for drug addicts and criminals?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is religion only self-improvement for drug addicts and criminals?
No, of course not.
So how would the average guy who's not a drug addict, not a criminal, be self-improved through religion?
Well, it depends. It depends on what your goals are. So the religious purview is going to be deontological and virtue ethics. The secularist worldview is going to be utilitarian in nature, meaning consequentialism. So what you're broadly, all of you are talking about is consequences. You're saying consequences bad or consequences good. That's what you care about. So from an individual's this is the only way this can operate, by the way. So from an individual's perspective, if they think consequence good from their perspective, then that consequentially has to be improvement. Has to be.
Okay, so once again, I'm not a drug addict. I'm not a criminal. I'm your average fat slob American. And I decide I'm interested in exploring this religion. You said it's self-improvement. Okay, in terms of consequences, if I'm the average person who's not a drug addict, not a criminal, how is that going to help me self-improve?
Well, if it's from your subjective perspective of, let's say you want to be the fattest guy around, that's the consequence that you want, and you achieve it, then you have done self-improvement by your metric, by your arbitrary consequentialist standard. There's any hedonic metric.
We're talking about society
utilitarian.
We're not talking about my personal.
Well, what's a societal standard? What do you mean? A societal standard for utilitarianism?
Things that generally make you level up as a man. Let's see, having a successful business, achieving
these
status,
they're all subjective, Alex, they're all subjective. From your perspective, they're all subjective.
Do you think
he's talking about modern day standard?
Do you think that achieving status is subjective? Like 50% of people are going to like it, 50% of people are going to hate it.
It's very subjective.
What do you think the vast majority of people will respect you more if you achieve some level of status?
Well, tell me what's the metric for when you become successful? What is that, Alex? Give it to me.
You're just nitpicking, dude. You're just being.
It's not. No. This is important.
You keep on. You're smart enough to know that
you're going to tell me
status.
What's the metric for what you consider high status?
This is the pinnacle of bad faith right now, because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You know, it's always funny when a person, when you get into their worldview and you explain to them what consequentialism is, when they're consequentialists, they always go, "It's bad faith." It's bad faith.
Still waiting for the.
You know that status generally makes you more attractive.
Then give me a non-subjective standard for status. Tell me when you consider a man to be high status. What is the standard?
What's the
what
number, Alex?
I personally consider, or are you talking about what society considers? They're two different questions.
What's the
Either one's
standard of
fine.
study?
They're both
Generally,
going to be your standard.
generally it comes down to influence, right? You have influence in your community. So the more influence you have, generally speaking, the more status you have.
How much influence? Do you have to be able to influence all of the community or some of the? You see what I mean? It's all arbitrary.
The more, the better, is what he's saying.
You can literally make the argument out of religion. Okay, who's more?
Can't, because we have deontological ethics, the
am
opposite of
I more
arbitrary.
religious than you? Can you measure what percentage religious you are? Are you 70% religious? Are you 80% living by God? There's some things that cannot be measured.
You can make an objective standard for deontological ethics because any deviation from the universal ethic is wrong. Consequentialism works in opposition to this.
Andrew, who's
I have a question for you. Hold on. Was Rahab in the Bible wrong for lying?
Is who wrong in the Bible?
Rahab.
Who's what are you talking about?
Shit.
Rahab.
You're okay.
Rob.
With the
do you think
Jericho,
do you think that because hang on. So if I name a ton of parables, for instance, and you don't know what I'm talking about, does hang on. If I do, does that mean that because there's a specific section of a ginormous study guide for clergy, which is the Bible, that I may not be familiar with, that this makes me a bad Christian? I just want to make sure
I'm
we
not
get it
saying
clear.
you're a bad Christian.
Great.
It seems like
So
you're
then,
being very condescending to
not
everyone else when you don't even realize where some things are in the Bible. Here, I was just.
I've never claimed that I have.
1 to 20.
I've never claimed that I have massive expertise on a clergy interpreted book, which is the Bible. That's what it's supposed to be. So let me explain this to you so that you understand, right? If I throw out a whole ton of parables, let's say, or if I pull out a whole ton of biblical passages that you don't know, would need to look up to refresh yourself on it.
How about you look up that study?
Yeah.
All right, now let's
I know them all.
But make your point.
All right,
I don't believe you.
Rahab. Okay, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. He was with God in the beginning.
Yeah, that's Genesis.
I could keep on going. No, it's not. It's John.
Okay, so back up. Let me ask you this question, Clarissa. This is very important from my perspective. I just want to know. Have you ever read the book of Revelation?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me, for instance, in the book of Revelation, what is wormwood?
Wormwood is. I'm not 100% sure.
I thought you memorized the entire Bible. Would you like to?
I said a lot of the Bible.
Yeah. What about the fourth? What's the fourth seal?
You are cherry picking.
What's the fourth seal? Well, so she's cherry picking.
I have
What's
a
the fourth
question
seal?
for you.
What's the fourth seal?
I have a question for you.
You don't know?
So Rahab in the Bible, lied to spies because she was hiding God's people on her roof. She lied, which is against the 8th commandment in the Bible. Was she wrong for doing that?
Okay.
Or did the consequence? This is in the
Canaanites. All right. So go ahead and ask the question.
And thank you.
Was
Google.
she wrong? Was Rahab wrong for lying about the God's people that she was hiding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So under the deontological system, you would have two wrongs. Both of them would be wrong things that you do, but you can still take a less correct action that would be facilitated and it would still come in compliance with deontology. So this would be the old, let's say, if you steal a penny to save the world, is it wrong? The answer is unequivocally yes. However, it's still a less wrong action to take, even from a deontological standpoint. This would be the same. This would be the same overlap. No, it would be a standard because we're saying it's always wrong. Always wrong to steal. So it's always wrong to steal. There's what's arbitrary.
So it's not always wrong to lie. Is it always wrong to?
I didn't say it wasn't always wrong to lie. Back to the theft. Understand what I'm saying to you. If I say it's always wrong to steal, regardless of the circumstance, what's arbitrary?
She sinned no matter what.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
That's
can
common.
we not get into like a theological religious debate? I feel like this is venturing into that.
That's how deontology works. That's how virtues work.
I'll let you make like your closing point on that, but I want to bring it back.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me finish this then. What is the arbitrary standard if you say theft is always wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Is
I
that
don't
true?
believe that.
Okay, but what's
I
the arbitrary
genuinely-
stand? How is it arbitrary? That's what you just said.
The
Declaration of
arbitrary
Ruins what,
standard
right?
is saying that one is worse than the other. That's a subjective, not necessarily
Yeah, but-
arbitrary, but it's subjective.
Okay, it's not subjective. If you can actually place, you can grade all of these things under
By
a
what metric?
deontological system.
By what metric?
It would be under a deontological system would be the
By
metric, just like the hedonic calculus would be the
Which is-
utilitarian
some
metric.
examples?
Subjective.
No, that would be
And
objective.
it's based on consequence.
Can you
No,
give
well,
some
that
examples
would be
of measuring that,
subjective
Andrew?
under the hedonic calculus. Yes, that would be subjective. That would be a subjective analysis because that's
So
hedonism.
okay, I'm sorry, Alex, go ahead. I don't want to get too
Well, I just
much
had
into
one
the-
question for Andrew. Can you give me an objective metric how we can measure who's more religious, you or Zen Shapiro?
An objective metric, yeah, you could come up with standards for objectivity with that. Yeah,
Well, tell me one. How can we measure that?
we could do. It depends on how we set up the metrics for measuring it. So for the first
That's all I'm
criteria
asking.
we'd have to establish is what do we consider very religious and what do we consider not very religious. But if we set all of the metrics up controlled form, you could come up with that outcome. Yeah.
You're just
But
kicking
you
the
haven't
subjective.
One last
Hang on, hang on.
I'm asking you for an objective measure how we can measure who is.
I just told you the process for doing that.
You
No,
gave
but
me
you
the
didn't,
process.
Andrew.
You didn't give me the formula.
Well, and
understand?
Andrew, the problem with what you're saying is
formula.
that you're just real quick. The problem with what you're saying is you're just kicking the can down the road. You're saying, well, first we have to do this subjective decision about
There
how
we
we're going to measure it, and then we can just measure it objectively. But
Yeah,
like,
you haven't-
you're
Yes, you
doing
could
it
just to
elsewhere.
measure it objectively. That's
Yeah,
the
after
base.
you've set up a subjective measure.
Okay, dude, I can give you
When
something like
literally
Well, we-
God
so-
praised Rahab for
so-
lying.
so
So,
wait,
he's praising her for his sin, which is
So Ryan,
ridiculous.
so
by
Ryan,
that.
so Ryan,
I could
that's
say the same thing. We could set up an objective formula for measuring who has more influence and status. That doesn't answer your question. So you're asking me to answer a question that you can't answer yourself.
okay.
And
so
the reason for that is because
you're asking
there is no
different-
objective
Hang
formula.
on, stop. You're asking two different questions and you just don't know it. The first
I-
question you're asking is, can you set up objective standards for measuring thing? Answer, yes. The second question is, you're asking, how do you derive morality? From a deontological basis, generally speaking, that's going to require something that's above you, generally.
I'm
God,
asking you.
or
I'm not-
sometimes a Kantian ethical system might be an imperative, right? But these things are no longer subjective, especially like a Kantian imperative, for instance. That would be objective. It's literally telling you this is what's always going to be wrong, no matter what is doing this action. Utilitarian can't make that claim. The utilitarian claim is going to be, as long as this action creates what we perceive as a good consequence, we'll always consider it correct.
Okay,
Okay,
you did not answer my
question.
question. Wait, let me just respond and then it's all you, Chris.
I'm sorry.
You did not answer my question at all. I'm
think I
asking
did.
you to give me an objective formula how we can measure who's a better Christian, you or Zen Shapiro.
I can't give you that unless I have the criteria.
He's
Oh.
Mr. Slave Maxi
But
now.
I'm supposed to give you the answer without having the criteria. But
No,
you're
the
not-
only thing I was trying to draw out of you is that what you're trying to produce is a subjective standard. That's it.
Okay, so both of our things are somewhat arbitrary. Okay, got it. We proved that point.
Well, depending on the criteria, they can be, yeah. But if you're saying that you have a system in place that is going to answer A, B, C, and D, it's
we're
appropriate for
talking
me to
about
ask you
system
questions to measure that system.
I do have a
We're
question.
talking about status. We're talking about status. And you were saying, well, like, I mean, come on, dude. Like, we don't know if status is going to.
No. My whole point is just to
man.
say status is an arbitrary metric. So when you say high status man, I want to know what you mean by that.
Okay, and then by that same token, who is a better Christian is also an arbitrary metric.
Well, I can tell you what I mean by Christian.
Okay, and I can tell you what I mean by high status.
And that's what I'm asking you. What do you mean by high status? I've asked you that 5 times. What do you mean by
Like I
that?
said, influence, my man.
Yeah, but what do you mean by that? I just
I have
want
a
the
question.
criteria for what you mean by that.
What do I mean? How many people look up to you? How many people are you leader to? How many people are influenced by what you say and do?
Can you have status outside of that?
Can you have status outside of having influence?
Yeah.
I don't think you can have status without influence.
Okay, so if you're just really, really rich, but you're introverted, do you think that that would give you some type of realm of status?
Well, you still have some
Or
level of
introvert?
if you're really rich, you have some level of influence because you run your
No,
business.
Maybe not.
Hello,
no.
Red Pill.
Well, because okay, if you are really rich, then you have a lot of friends who look up to you, who want your help with how to make money. You have a lot of people. By society, you're treated as someone who is important, who's influential, because they assume you're really successful, and generally you are. So there's a lot of people who are going to look up to you and want to be influenced by you. There's a whole bunch of people that are going to ask you to be their mentor. So by default, having money,
Literally, none of those things are a necessary entailment of being a rich introvert. None of them.
Right, but you can't have a shitload of money without having some influence.
That's not true. Why couldn't you?
Because if you have a lot of money, chances are you run your own business, you have multiple people to look up to. Even if you don't run your own business, you work for someone, because you're really, really rich, you're in a position of power, right, at that
But
company.
it's not a necessary.
You're not middle management.
But it's not a necessary entailment, is what I'm saying. So this is what I'm asking is like, when
There's
we're talking
no
about
case-
status, I think I understand what you're saying when you're saying status. You don't just mean influence, right? You must mean more than just influence.
No, generally
You're talking about a person who is, you're talking about external perception of a person.
Status.
That's what
Well,
status
there's,
is, right?
Andrew, this is where it gets complex. There's different types of status, and we can have a very logical debate about which status is more important. Is it better to be a social media influencer or ultra rich, right? That is a valid discussion. But at the end of the day, if I have to define it, right, it does come down to influence, having influence, right? You cannot be ultra rich. Bill Gates, I don't care how much of an introvert he is, he still has influence. There's people who are looking up to him. Again, the ultra rich people are people who have their own businesses. People who have their own businesses, all of their employees are looking up to them to make the decision. They have influence on the company culture. Or if they work for someone else, their CFO, CEO, right? They still have influence on the whole company, right? So you don't get to a point where you have a lot of money without having
Even people that have inherited large amounts of wealth have influence, because wealth equals influence. You control people with money.
Yes, exactly.
What if you don't control people?
Money's for
money.
Just by the virtue of you having money, you have influence.
What if people don't know you have the money and you don't control them with it?
So you're an ultra rich person, but no one knows that you have money?
Yeah.
So how's that possible? How did you make your money?
Maybe you just inherited it.
Okay, so but then people
maybe you won the lottery and you kept it under wraps. I mean, who knows?
It doesn't matter. There's still going to be a certain
you're
circle.
automatically published. There's no way to hide the fact that you won the lottery.
There's still going to be a
you
certain
can hide
circle
the
of
fact that you
people.
won the lottery. What are you talking about?
Andrew, there's still going to be a certain circle of people that know that you have an extra enormous amount of wealth. Period.
Doesn't sound like that's
the
it.
people that you're
Doesn't sound like
There's going to be a certain
your power
circle.
over them. Right?
So I will grant you
what
that
we're actually talking is you're talking about not your direct influence over people, but people's perception of you is what you actually mean by status.
Influence is largely perception, yes.
Okay. Yeah, status, bro.
So
Andrew, I will grant you that there could be a hypothetical exception to this rule where maybe someone, I don't know, inherited money. No one knew who his dad was. No one knew who his grandpa was. He has a lot of money. He lives in a shitty house. He doesn't do anything with that money. He doesn't, just keeps to himself. There's a theoretical exception that could be made to what I'm saying, although I would say that's extremely rare. But you could have a extreme case hypothetical exception to anything. You could say someone who, for example, goes to church 5 times a day, prays and blah, 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 but then maybe they beat their wife or they did this or this or that, right? Those are the exceptions. They don't make the rule.
Yeah, I get all of that. I'm not even disputing it. I just specifically want to know what you mean by status when we go forward the conversation. The reason that that's important is because I want to know how your system is entailed into status. Because I think that what's going on is you're saying, from your perspective, you're trying to move men for self-improvement for high status so that they can have sex with women. That's basically what you're after, right?
No, he's a pickup artist.
Andrew, you keep strawmanning.
That's why it's red pill, black.
I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or this is just a misunderstanding, but no, I firmly believe that people should, it doesn't matter if you want to have sex with a woman, you want to be in a relationship, you want to get married. People should pursue whatever lifestyle that they want, right? I have no problem with people achieving status so they can get a wife. However, I also never ever push status, right? Status isn't really practical for the vast majority of men. I more push on leveling up your looks, like going to the gym, style, etc., and your game. So I never really push status on this channel. Never done it once.
But you think that you need an externality for wanting to pursue these things is what you're saying.
I think you don't necessarily need it, but the vast majority of men, yes, they need some kind of external pressure to move in that right direction.
Because earlier when I was taking notes here as we were going, you said that men need an external reason to do these things.
And
A lot of
also
men
women,
do. And Andrew, it's
human
exactly
beings,
like
human
that in
beings.
Christianity. The external reason you guys have is not going to hell. That's the external reason why you're going to go to church and you're going to try to be good for the vast
Protestant.
majority.
On top of that,
Yeah,
There are
that's
some Christians. Andrew,
That's
there
a
are some
Protestant
Christians.
belief. What do you mean?
You don't believe in hell, Andrew?
No, we don't.
Before we go into whether or not hell
exists,
exists,
no.
Before we do
Really?
that, I think that what Alex is talking about also is he's making more of a pragmatic statement about like what currently men are looking for and what's like driving them and what they can do right now. Like if you tell a bunch of men to do to do what Ashley or I'm sorry, what Carissa was saying earlier that Alex was kind of pushing back at, to like self-improve for different reasons. Well, like I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't. If you tell a bunch of guys to like become a Christian to self-improve, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Alex is kind of saying like right now, like most guys like want to fuck. And like that's going to be like a major driving force in their life, and it's gonna steer them towards either productive things.
Then
or
I
like
guess I wasn't straw manning him,
things.
because I
So,
think
like,
that
ideally,
what he's saying.
he
I
steers
think
them
that what
towards
he's
productive
saying
things.
is that he generally is moving men towards these things as an external factor with the promissory of getting them some pussy. That's what I think he's
Well,
really.
I mean,
his ultimate
biblically,
goal
hold
is.
on.
You keep acting
Hold
like
on,
a
hold on,
Christian guy.
really quick.
Well,
I
first,
really want to say something. Biblically, it says it is better for a man to marry than to burn with lust. So even the Bible is saying that that if you are desiring sex, it is good that is a motivating factor to actually get into a relationship.
Yeah, if you must take a wife, I agree.
Yes.
What's your point?
So that's kind of exactly what he's saying.
Yeah,
is
but
that
what I'm questioning is
a-
the motivation, because I don't think that his system is actually trying to move men towards marriage and settling down, but rather it's the giving the promissory note of self-improvement for the purpose of fucking chicks. I think
What
that's
is
the
the
general
would you
first?
rather
What is the
would
first
you rather
step
the
of that?
motivating factor of marriage be that? Would you rather the motivating factor of marriage be fucking? Because
No,
that's
I
what the
just got done
Bible
saying
okays.
no.
That's
No,
what the
that's not
Bible
what the Bible
okays.
says.
Yes, it does. It says
No, it doesn't.
is better for a man to marry than to burn
Well,
with
let's not get into a
desire. That's what it
theological
says.
debate because I won't be able to even understand what's going on. My system does not discriminate based on what you want. I have plenty of clients who want to get married. I have plenty of clients who want a relationship. I have plenty of clients who want casual sex. My system can be applied for every single one of those. In order to get married, in order to get into a serious relationship, you have to be able to seduce a woman. It is what it is. So the early stages are largely the same. If your goal is to, I want to get married and have a bunch of kids, okay, great. If you're repulsive to women, it's not going to happen.
Or it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I don't disagree with what you're
But
saying.
we're not
there.
disagreeing. Though,
My
man.
disagreement with your core is why you think that a person needs to have an external factor. Generally speaking, a woman. It seems again. So this always seems like
No,
you're putting the
because we
pussy
all
on a
have
pedestal.
to
On a
have an
pedestal, right?
external factor,
No.
Andrew. We already fucking established
We
that.
haven't established
Even
that
you.
you need to have
Yes, we
an
have.
external. No,
All
you
right.
can.
Let-
Why
let-
can't
let-
you
let me-
have
let
an
me-
internal reason for wanting to
Let
move
me
towards these
phrase it like this, Andrew. Do you think most people are lazy?
I think that there's a good amount of people who are lazy. I don't know if I'd say most.
The
A good
Bible
amount.
says that is our inherent nature.
So anyway, I wouldn't say most, Alex.
Okay, a good amount of people are lazy.
Mhm.
Hey, Alex, Grace wants
Okay.
me to drop
Well, I
for
mean,
Dad to come on.
Yeah, no, I can't bring him on because unless Andrew's cool with it, but I think they have an issue.
Andrew,
Yes,
do you have
anyway,
an issue
back
with
to what
Grace's dad or
we were
something?
asking here.
Yeah, I don't think they get along. Anyway, so okay, so got completely off track. So a lot of people, or not most, but okay, a good amount of people are lazy. That is why we can see that a lot of people, I mean, the obesity statistics are pretty bad, man. I mean, I think it's something like 50% of Americans or 40% of Americans are fat, if not obese, right? So
Doesn't
it's
mean
clear-
that they're lazy.
You think you could be obese and not be lazy?
Yeah.
How?
There's plenty of fat
Medical
people who are highly
issues.
productive, man.
Aside from medical issues, which is a very, very small percentage.
There's
of fat
plenty
people.
of just fat
That's not
people who
true.
have no medical issues, who just slovenly eat tons of food and are fat, who are very productive people.
They're lazy when it comes to their health.
Active,
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
not-
I mean, maybe they're not even lazy
Ah,
when they
maybe
come to their
being
health.
fat.
Maybe they're just
fucking
hedonists and
lazy
don't
when it
care.
comes to their health.
Being fat by every single doctor is considered to
Obese.
significantly
Horrible.
decrease the quality and quantity of your life. It is not good for you. It is not good for your family. It's not good in any way. Obesity is not a good
What
thing.
does that have to do with being
Statistically
lazy?
speaking,
Because-
being
It has everything
obese
to do
means
with
you are
being
lazy.
lazy.
That is
Because
an internal
someone who is
signal.
obese doesn't have the self-discipline to moderate their diet, and they're not going to the gym.
That doesn't mean they're lazy.
That does mean they're lazy. They're not fucking going to the gym or
100%.
working out.
Every
How's that
facet
not
it
being
does.
lazy?
But there,
What if
there are
they
a lot
go
of,
to
like,
work? What if they go to work and they work 14 hours a day nonstop and then just pig out at the end of the day? You're like, it's lazy because I went to the gym for 2 hours today. It's just
Yeah,
absurd.
you work a desk job. And
Here's
they
the
work
problem.
like,
Here's the problem.
like they
There's
work
different
for
kinds
the
of
same hours.
laziness.
You know why Clarissa?
No, it's just being an excuse. You can't go to
but
the
you know why
freaking gym.
Clarissa is actually nodding with this point? Is because she's like, God, these people are fucking stupid. It literally doesn't mean anything when you say to me, fat people, a necessary entailment of being fat is that you're lazy. It's just stupid.
Andrew,
It's
you're
an
not
actual
fat.
stupid thing to
You're
say.
not
You
fat.
need to
I
work
really agree,
out
Andrew.
to lose the fat, and that's not being lazy. Like,
Oh my
I don't
God.
understand this.
Boy,
It's like
dude, you-
it's statistically saying that people that have, people that don't floss and have gingivitis tend to also be obese. Okay, there are statistics. Look it up, Andrew. Pull the study. Let's go over it. Let's comb through it. It's
This
a
is
thing,
your
okay?
this is your
No,
claim,
no,
Ash.
this
That
is
also
a
wouldn't
fucking
prove that they're
real
lazy,
thing.
right?
Yes,
This is a real
true.
thing.
Dude,
We
you
can
think that if we
say-
take 100 obese people or 100 people who are in good shape, they will have the same level of motivation, self-discipline, and drive? Really?
They might have
That's what-
motivation for different things. Like I'm not saying that
Some
like
Some
we're
of the
not,
smartest people I know, they worked incredibly, incredibly hard, and they just did not pay attention to personal hygiene and personal health. But
There-
they were the hardest workers I think I've ever seen.
yeah,
there's-
not all
And
work
it
is like
also
there's
has to
different
do with
kinds of-
what
All
type
right,
of
Clarissa,
what type
there-
of worker. What type of worker are you? You know what I mean?
There's different kinds of discipline. There's different
Mhm.
kinds of motivation. I will acknowledge that. But if we're looking overall, like big picture type of stuff, I would
Mhm.
wager that if we take a bunch of people that are in really good shape and a bunch of people who are obese, on average, the people who are in really good shape have higher motivation and higher self-discipline.
I think that
And
there's likely some truth to that.
Okay.
But
there we go.
making a
Potentially.
claim that fat, the entailment there is that you're equals lazy is just stupid. That's lazy
yeah,
thinking.
it's a different claim than what you just said, for
Dude,
sure.
speaking in generalities, you have to. I'm being hyperbolic, but okay.
So do lazy guys?
If you want to
do
like
lazy
really
guys
nitpick
get girls?
this
Do
tiny
lazy
thing, but you
guys
agree
get
with
girls?
me that on average, people in good shape have more motivation, more discipline than fat people. Okay. Anyway, back to the initial point.
I
'cause
think
we're-
I think it's probable.
but you're
yeah.
not sure, really?
I'm not sure. I don't think most people necessarily are lazy, and I damn sure don't think that most people work out and lift weights and do that kind of thing. So it's hard to say, actually.
Okay, so we fundamentally
Oh
disagree because I personally believe that.
So I
vast
do think
majority of people
you
are
have a
lazy as
point.
fuck.
So I think you have a point when you say that a person who's working out, goes to the gym, eats right, paying attention to their diet, things like this, maybe that would correlate with higher levels of productivity. I could see that, but
Well, there's
that's
studies
far
on
different than saying that fat people are lazy. It's lazy thinking, Alex.
No,
There's different
no,
kinds
it's
of
You're
actually-
mentally fat,
There's
Alex.
different kinds of laziness, but unless you have a severe health issue, when it comes to your lifestyle, your health, your fitness, your hygiene, if you are fat, you are lazy in that department. You could still be.
I'm not
very-
even sure. So look, I'm not even sure that that's true. I think Carissa actually said something which is true. She said, look, there's people who are really high IQ people who completely and totally fucking
doesn't
ignore things like that because they
equal
don't care about it.
laziness.
You can be high IQ and still be lazy.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that the factor may not be laziness for why it is that they're not paying attention to those
All right.
things.
Anyway,
They
so how about
might
getting
just
girls?
not care. They might just not care
It's-
about
It
it.
might
Can
be
the
a
fat
difference of
lazy people get
priority.
girls? Can the fat
It
lazy
could-
people get girls? I want to know.
It could
And
just be a difference in priority. So by
Yeah, there's
choosing
plenty of fat,
cognitively,
lazy people who have girls. What are you talking about? There's plenty of them.
No, there's
Are
not.
there?
How about
Do you
Yeah.
that?
think that most
They have fat,
incels-
lazy women.
Wait, well, hold
Because
on.
fat,
Do you
lazy
think
men
that-
get fat,
do
lazy
you-
women. Yeah, all the time.
Andrew, do you think that most of the fat, lazy people in their grandma's basement with acne all over their face, streaming 24/7 and playing video games, eating pizza, do you think, even if they have a high IQ and they do some IT job and make
Do I think
decent
that they'll
money-
find an ugly
do
chick to fuck?
no,
them? Yeah.
that you're not even
Yeah, I
letting me.
do.
No, I don't. I don't think they
Well,
do.
I'm sorry,
don't at
but
all.
when I walk
know
down
why?
the street,
You know
when I
why?
walk
There's
down the
so
street
many
in a major
factors.
metropolitan area, I see plenty
Andrew,
of fat,
there are
ugly
so
people
many
together.
factors. Really? Do you have that perspective? Do you have that point of view? Do you have the statistics on that?
I actually
No,
have.
shut the fuck
So
up.
one more time, Ashley. Here's my exact words to you. When I'm in a major metropolitan area and I'm walking down the street, I see with my own eyes fat, heinous, ugly people who are male and female, and they're together with each other. And a lot of them often have fat, ugly, heinous children to go right along with their big, fat, ugly selves.
I love that.
Yeah,
And
so
it's hilarious.
this sounds very,
But
this
to
sounds
be
very
honest,
tempting
most
to me
incels
from a
and most of the
self-improvement
guys
perspective.
It's not inceldom. I'm happily married. I
No,
have
I
many
didn't
children.
say
Like,
that
what are
it
you talking
was.
about?
Nobody called you an incel.
Well, then
I
what are
said
you
that-
talking about?
Well, I'm trying to if you'd let me actually fucking
Okay.
talk, Andrew.
Talk.
Jesus fucking Christ, bro. I think that most of the incels out there are out here in this community, and they're coping by saying, like, it's okay that I'm 500 pounds and I'm sitting down here doing nothing to self-improve and I'm not getting laid, but I'm just going to make excuses for why that is so. And there we circle back to red, blue, and black pill. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how are these guys going to get laid? Are you going to improve your chances of getting laid by going to the gym and losing that weight? By maybe trying to looks max a little bit?
Now, I think,
by improving your
I
social
think that you'll
skills?
improve your chances of maybe getting laid with a really good-looking woman or a woman that you would prefer to have sex with.
Any woman.
I also think that there's plenty of gross, nasty-ass bitches who hump a lot of gross, nasty dudes. Right? They just do. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad
Andrew,
news.
that
I'm
sounds
sorry to be the
very
one to
enticing.
tell you that this is true, but lots of
Man,
ugly fucks
you know
end up
what?
with ugly fucks.
Andrew,
Andrew,
you
you're making a
share
very
this
strong case for
information?
being fat. You can get yourself a fat, nasty woman, have fat, nasty children.
No, wait.
So,
We
I'm not
need
making
we
a
need
case
to
for it. I'm just telling you it's reality.
Andrew, hold on. I have a point. Andrew, you need to share this information with the incel community then, because apparently they don't know this. Like,
Well,
you're the
no.
only guy out there that
Well, it
knows
depends.
this?
There's two.
They
different-
don't know much.
There's two different types of incel communities. There's the LARPer incels who use it as a way to say "fuck you" to women because they hate women. That's the first type of incel.
But why do they hate
Hang
women?
on,
They're
let me
not
finish.
getting pussy.
That type can get pussy. It's the second type that can't, which is an actual involuntary celibate, meaning people who want to get the pussy, but they can't get the pussy. So there's a difference
That's
between
not
the
an
two.
incel.
The second, that's literally the definition of an involuntary celibate. They're involuntarily not able to be
You
to
just
have
said it was
sex.
because he chose not to. If you
No, that's the
choose,
first criteria for incel.
then that's
There's two
MGTOW.
criteria.
He's not saying that they're literally like making the choice. He's saying that the things that they're doing, they could very easily do different things that would improve their lives and their chances
But that
to like
then
actually
that
meet women.
correlates to every fucking subgroup of incel. Give me a fucking break.
Wait,
Well, I feel like
worse
you
situations.
didn't
but yeah.
actually
I
hear
mean-
a word that I said. So just listen to what I'm saying, and then I'll give you the floor. And you can say
Oh,
whatever you
will
want.
you? Will you? Thank
Yes,
you.
I am very generous this way. So there's two different types of incel. The first type is a LARPer, live action role play. They claim that they're involuntary celibates when they're not. They're not actually involuntary when it comes to having sex with women. They can do it. They just really fucking hate women. So they call themselves incels as a portion of irony. Groypers do this often, for instance. The second criteria for an incel is an actual person who wants to go have sex with women but can't. That criteria usually falls under having significant mental illnesses, not just physical disparities. So there's a lot of criteria that goes into this. Is not such an easy term to break down.
Well, no, it's not. Then you could go into why do the physical and mental disparities go hand in hand? If it's not so easy to break down, you're right.
Well, I think the mental disparities often will stem from having a single mother at home. That's a big indicator for it, just like it's a big indicator for being homeless, is if you're raised by a single mom. This has to do with a combination of resources.
And it all goes back to women. It's all women.
If you're raised in religious fundamentalism.
Yeah. Religious people that are raised super. Yeah. Those women don't go into marriages scared to have sex and thinking that it's dirty and wrong. And then in the end, like the whole marriage ends up.
You're right. They don't generally.
Yes,
they do. It's statistically.
No, they don't.
They do. That was sarcasm.
well,
101.
anytime you keep on saying
Look
these
up some
things, this is
statistics, bro.
Show me the
Study
statistics.
Have you heard of vaginitis?
We're still waiting
Yes.
for your fucking statistics.
It's
listen,
much more probable that religious people.
When I
have
make an
vaginitis.
argument, I don't make it from authority. I don't need to. I'm using logic. You're making every argument from the term of authority, saying that you have evidence to back it up. That's the crux of your argument. So if
Your
it's true,
evidence
the
is,
burden falls
trust
on
me,
you.
bro. Trust me, bro. That's Andrew's evidence, everybody.
No, that's
Trust me,
not
bro.
logic. Do
Yeah,
you know
no,
that
we're
you
still
can
waiting.
demonstrate? Do you
I'm
know
still
you can
waiting for the study
demonstrate?
I asked
Do you know that you
for
can
an hour
demonstrate
ago.
things logically, Ashley? Are you aware of that? You
Do
can
you
make
know that
logical
even though you
demonstrations.
talk over me and you deflect every time I ask you to analyze your own study you produced earlier, that
Ashley,
it still doesn't make you right?
if I sat here and pulled up a study for every portion of the conversation we had, we wouldn't be able to have a conversation.
Oh, okay. Conveniently, when it's your study.
If you want to
Correct.
have a debate and use studies, you send
No, I
the
would-
study
I
to
would
the other
like you-
person. And we can do this, Ashley. You can send me your studies and I'll send you mine. And then we can actually have
Do
the
you guys
debate
hear
based
this?
around
Do you
that.
hear the coping, the level of copism?
There's no cope. This is how it's
going on.
done.
Copiism 101, guys.
Okay,
Andrew
well just
from
say
the
it's
Crucible.
coping. That's fine.
No, it's
All right,
true.
anyway, I
You're
want
fucking
to
coping.
Did you ask your ex-husband for a study on why he left?
Stop. I want to redirect this because I've already had this pulled up for like 10 minutes. We're going to use a different metric. Maybe this will click differently. In July, 52% of young adults resided with one or both of their parents. So half of the people 18 to 29 live with their parents. So would you say that if you are living with your parents, living in your mom's basement, that you're probably lazy? Go ahead, Andrew.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question real quick?
Dude, you got to pay attention.
Fucking
All right,
Christ.
so this is an article that says that 52% of men and women between the ages of 18 and 29 live with their parents, right? 52%, half of Americans. So would you say that if you're living in your mom's basement that you're probably lazy?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, you're just arguing for the sake of arguing.
I'm not arguing for the
Really?
sake of argument. I'm telling you it's not an entailment.
Really?
Especially in today's
Mr.
in today's economy, it's more and more common as two
He's the
incomes
super
can't support.
Christian version
Stop.
of Mr.
As it's true that right now in this economy, it's more and more difficult for people to get out of the fucking house. It is actually difficult to do due to financial status. People do live at home for longer and longer periods of time. That's just true. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily that they're lazy.
Okay, so you don't think there's any correlation?
Here's the thing, too, by the way. It's not bad faith for me to tell you no. No, I don't think you're right. That's not bad faith. And then I follow it with an argument. Again, bad faith.
It's bad faith when I think that you don't actually believe in that. We take 100 people who live with their parents and 100 people who have their own place. You don't think there's going to be any type of thing that you're going to notice differences?
That's a different question, Alex.
That's motivation. Well,
That's a different question, Alex. The first question is, do you think that these people are lazy? The answer is no.
We're talking about generalities.
Okay, and if you're talking about generally speaking, do you think that people who have all their shit together and own a home are less lazy than people who still live at home with their parents on average? I can concede to that, but one has nothing to do with the other.
That was the initial question. I'm talking this whole time. I've been talking about generalities. Of course, there are some people who live with their parents who are starting a successful business or have health issues. Yes, I will acknowledge there's of course exceptions. We're talking about generalities right now. So again, unless I specify, I'm talking generalities. So you acknowledge that on average, in terms of generalities, that yes, people who live with their parents are more lazy than people who don't live with their parents. Okay, so getting back to the initial point that we're talking about half an hour ago, we've established that a good percentage of people are fairly lazy, right? I don't know.
No, we haven't established that. So that's the problem, Alex. Like that's the part that doesn't follow. So I can agree with you that on average, maybe that makes sense to me from a logical standpoint. If you say, do you think that people who are homeowners and things like this versus people who live at home with their parents are probably more productive and less lazy than people who live at home with their parents? My answer to that would be yes. But if you move it to, so we've established that they're far more lazy. That's where we deviate. That's not the same thing. You're asking something that's different.
Yeah, if I'm talking about on averages, they're more lazy.
Yeah, but on average, even if we have an average, doesn't mean it's a high average or way above average. Like I don't know those details. I can just concede that logically it makes sense. That sure, I can say on average. Probably.
I just didn't know it was a controversial point to say that people who are fat or people who live with their parents are more lazy than people who don't.
Well, it's not true.
Okay.
When you say unequivocally no, that's the difference. Again, you say, well, I'm just using generalities, right? But that was a declarative statement of truth. So you're making a truth claim and saying people who live at home with dad and mom are more lazy than people who don't. That's not true.
Andrew, you cope
We've been
so
talking about
hard in
averages
debate.
this
Like
whole time.
literally, you haven't provided a single shred of evidence that I've asked for this entire time. When you use those same tactics to tear down other people on the panel.
Well, then,
I'm sorry.
Ashley, here's my suggestion.
No,
Instead of it being
my
1v6,
suggestion is
where I can't tear these studies
until
down,
you can
send the
actually
studies. Send the
until
studies
you
forward,
can back
Ashley.
up your own fucking shit talking. Shut the fuck up.
I can back it up with a logical demonstration. That's going to be
You can
hard for
back
you
it up
because you're
with
an emotionally
providing the
charged
study.
woman. Do I need to
I'm a
get
woman
wait?
and I have
Hang on,
estrogen?
Ashley. Do I need to
Hang
give you
on, hang on.
Ashley?
Then I'll give you the mic.
Do I need to give you a study to demonstrate logically
No, the study I
that
asked
fat
for
people
earlier.
aren't necessarily lazier than gym people?
You're deflecting again. You are.
I didn't know that was a
avoiding.
controversial point. I thought pretty much every
But
single
this is his
Literally, I
question.
asked you for this
I would agree
study.
with
Like
this.
chat can like fucking agree with me here. Like
Mhm.
an hour ago, I asked you.
When
and
in the point of this panel,
supposedly
Ashley,
we
should I
gave
have?
you.
Okay, here's the study.
Andrew
Here's hang
interrupts
on.
again. This is his coping mechanism.
Good.
ladies
This is
and
great.
gentlemen.
I actually did.
Let me
pull
just
this stu-
interrupt you and talk
I did
over
pull
you
this
and
study up.
sound smart.
I'm posting the study for you right now, Ashley. Here you
Okay,
go.
and then let's go over it and make sure
Let's
that
go over the study, Ashley. You
all
ready?
of the criteria that you
Mhm.
picked Carissa's study apart for. Please, I
Yeah,
would
let's-
love to do this.
I just posted it.
Well, let's do it. Come on, go over it.
Well, do you have to have a contention?
Oh, do I have to have anything? I don't have to have shit, you asshole. I'm
So now I posted the
literally
study and
telling
it's not
you-
good enough for you?
I'm literally telling you, Andrew, to use your same criteria for other panelists.
I just
on
did.
yourself.
I just did.
You posted a fucking link. No, pull it up on your.
That's all that you guys did.
Sit there, no. You
Yes.
sat there. Oh my god, the copiism here.
By the way,
It's
did you even?
ridiculous.
I know you didn't even look at the study because I just posted you the same one that Chris.
No,
gave
I
me.
haven't looked
So
at it.
I just posted
already
the same
know
exact one.
that you
she
are
gave me.
a
Didn't even look at it.
ridiculous human being. You are a ridiculous specimen that
You're
gets
so
on.
mad. You're so mad. Spurg
Oh,
more,
yeah.
Spurg
Oh,
more.
All right,
listen to
let's get this
All
let's
right.
get this back on track. Okay, I'm not going to keep pressing that point. I didn't think it was a controversial point that fat people on average are lazier than people who are not fat, but I guess
It's a
I
common
Yeah,
sense
I
point,
do
but-
just want to
That's very
What's the
common
concept?
perspective.
I do just want to point out that Andrew never did actually comb through his own study, and I was right. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let's get off this study obsession. I feel like that was like an hour ago. Let's get back to the initial discussion we're having about what makes a man more attractive to women. So I guess I will ask this, Andrew. In your initial opening statement, you said that women are irrational creatures. Blah blah. Okay, what would be your prescription? Is there any prescription you can give to a guy who's struggling with women?
Oh, I think that there are some things that you can say that might be helpful to him. The thing is, though, is that I think most of the advice in this field is bad advice. I don't think anybody has the secret answers for this, and people have been struggling with it for since time immemorial, trying to figure out what the fuck women want, and nobody knows it. Nobody has any idea what that is. And I don't think that the pickup artist community, of which there's tons of conflict in, over trying to figure out that very exact same question is why we're here having this argument to begin with.
There's massive amounts of conflict in religion. Are you going to say that?
Well, that's true. I agree. Those are very critical issues that there's
So
lots
are
of
you
controversy
saying that
over.
your church has no idea what's right and wrong?
No, I didn't say that. What are you talking about?
Well, your whole point was because there's a lot of conflict in your community, therefore no one has the answers. I'm saying, well, there's a lot of conflict in your community.
I said that there's some things that you can probably do that are helpful. I just don't think that you're going to have a prescription by and large that's going to work out well.
Okay, so what are those things? That's what I'm asking
The
you.
pivot was incredible. I love it.
Well, there was no pivot, just
Yes,
consistency.
there was.
Just
So Andrew,
consistency.
what are these things? Tell me these things.
Okay, so let's start with what I was talking about earlier, which is this idea that that we got into immediately about using an external factor as the motivator for self-improvement, right? I'm still not entirely convinced that that's necessary to have something that's external for a want to improve yourself. And this seems to be a core of what you're saying is part of your package and the way that you teach people. And I'm still confused as to why that's a necessity.
Andrew, do you think
Instead
that
of
it's like
answering my
overall
question,
though?
Okay, so instead of answering my question,
I
you
just answered your question directly.
No, I'm asking you for specific prescriptions that you would give. I'm not talking about things I said earlier. I'm asking you, what advice would you give a man who's trying to get better with women? You must be able to name me at least a few things.
Okay, so if you're asking me something like this, I might tell him something like treat them like shit. They seem to enjoy that. That might be a prescription that I would give men. Don't be particularly.
I recommend
nice to
not
women.
treating women like shit. That's just first of all.
This is your advice. Treat them like shit. Really?
Yeah.
Treat
I think
women
it's
like
good
shit.
advice.
That's how you get better with women, guys.
This is
Is
top
this from
notch.
personal experience?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
You treat your wife like this shit?
I mean, I'm never too nice to any woman. I don't think it's a good idea.
Dude, I have seen Rachel. She definitely wears the pants
Andrew,
and
this
bobs
is
that relationship.
This is the best
you've seen his
advice
wife?
that you can come up with is treat them like shit. Like really, that's the pinnacle of the
No,
relationship.
that's not the best advice. Okay, so Alex, stop shifting the goalpost. You said,
Give me the best
is there anything specific you can come up with? I said, sure. Here's a specific thing I could come up with that I think is a good idea. Don't be too nice to women. It's not a good idea.
Give me your best advice. The best piece of advice.
I mean, I would say try to go make $1 million, I guess, if your only criteria is you want pussy. That would be the best thing, is to have tons of money.
Improve your status. Okay, got it.
Well, I don't know if that's improving your status or not. It depends on your metric. You're saying the only way for this external thing I want, right?
Carissa.
Sorry.
I know, I'm with you, sister.
This is so okay, Alex, let me ask you a question. Just kind of turn this around the other way so that you understand what you're asking me.
Go ahead.
You say, Andrew, based on external thing that you want, how would you get external thing? It's a loaded question. So you're asking me, did I say it's the only way to get a woman? No, I'm just saying that if that's your only motivation for why you want to self-improve, that's how you would go about doing it. However, I'm not sure that you need an external motivation, which is the woman to begin with, to improve yourself, which is my point.
All right, one of two things is going on right now. One, we're having a massive communication bridge, and my points are legitimately not resonating with you. I don't think it's that you're a small guy. Number two, you're purposely being obtuse for some weird debate.
I'm not being obtuse. I'm trying to explain this to you the best way that I can.
Okay,
Let me equilateral.
If you ask me, there's this material thing that I want, which is this is thing I want. How do I get this material thing I want?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Andrew Hour.
We may not disagree on what that prescription might be to get whatever that material thing is. My argument to you is that I'm not sure that you need to have a material reason for self-improvement. That seems to be the crux of your argument. Again, for the 300th time I've said this.
Okay, I think his point is that you don't need it, but it's frequently what gets people to start actually doing what they need to do.
Yes. Andrew, let me talk to you like you're 12 years old. Okay. So I'm going to speak very simply and plainly. Okay. So I am a teenager, right? I come to you because you're in my church. I'm like, hey, Andrew, you have a successful marriage. I'm struggling to even get a date with a girl. Can you tell me? I'm just assuming you have a successful marriage, but anyway, I come to you. I'm like, can you tell me what things I can do to stop being repulsive to women? Every girls are saying no to a date with me. I want to ultimately get married. I want to get a girlfriend at least, right? I want to lose my virginity. How can I do that, right?
So here's the advice that I would probably give him. Stop acting like a little queer. And on top of that, I would not
Christian.
I would not be too nice to any particular woman. That is the two probably key pieces of advice that I would give them.
Does that mean that you're gay? Because you'll be really nice to dudes.
What?
He's not nice to me.
Do you know how to make things follow? You know.
Andrew, do you know how to respond to a woman without just making a disabled person's
What
face?
did I tell you? I already have told you. My advice is never to be too nice to women. Didn't I already tell you that that's my advice?
I can't even prove my own studies, bro.
Stop. Let's not get into personal attacks. I want to redirect. I want to keep this on point. And then I promise I will take a piss and I'll hand off the panel to whoever else wants to talk. I just want to make one or two more points. Okay. So the two things you've mentioned, three pieces of advice. One, don't be a little queer. So I'm assuming that means don't be feminine, correct?
Yeah, don't act like a bitch.
Okay. That's Pretty decent advice. I agree with you on that. The second one you said is make more money.
I think that could be something that that you could do, I guess. I mean, it depends. If you're wanting a woman for wife material, maybe. But if you're just wanting to have like random sexual encounters, then yeah, I'm sure money would probably be the best. You just go buy a whore, right?
Well, we're not talking about paying for sex. We're talking about
Or
tracking.
if you want to have a
Let's
fucking
just
family,
okay, Andrew.
bro.
Let me specify. We're talking about getting into a serious relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So in that case, I would say 1, talk to women, and 2, don't be particularly nice to them. Those would be the 2 main criteria that I would focus around. Yes.
When you say don't be particularly nice, do you mean just like don't be like a pushover and have some boundaries, or do you mean like actually be an asshole to women?
I mean, don't take any of their shit.
Okay,
ever.
so that's like basically
by any under any for any reason at any time, make no concessions to a woman about anything ever.
So you're talking about having boundaries, having strong boundaries. That's what you're saying.
Well, I mean, I think it transcends that a little bit more, but I guess.
Okay, so all the things you mentioned, like each one of those 3 things are things that I teach on my channel. But you said earlier that the pickup community is way off. But so far, you've agreed with every single one of the things that I teach on this channel. So I'm not sure how you're saying the pickup community is way off when literally each one of the 3 prescriptions you gave.
So let me try to frame it the best way that I can. Like I say on my channel often, I don't think that pickup artists, like I was talking with David Patrick Harry the other day about this, I don't think that descriptively they're incorrect about a lot of problems. It's the prescription to those problems that we have the problem with.
But the 3 prescriptions you gave are the prescriptions I give too.
For trying to look for a wife, there would be far different criteria, and that's the only thing that I think you should be doing. Well, than if I were to try to give advice to a person for how to just go fuck a chick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
but
the first criteria. Yeah. So the first criteria.
I already specified that this is for a relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So for a relationship, I think aloofness, but also looking for a moral woman is very important.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I talk about that in a different way. I talk about
but you don't know what a moral woman is because you're a secularist, right? You don't have any prism for morality.
Moral equals to
I can respond to that and say that anyway. I'm not going to get into the personal attacks.
Well, I'm not trying to personally attack you.
I'm
just saying that's,
no, you did. You literally just did.
That's not a personal attack. I don't believe secularists have any foundation for justification for morality. None.
Okay. So yeah, secularists are all pieces of shit. I get it.
No,
every single one of
the
prescriptions you gave, once again, every single one of the prescriptions you're giving are prescriptions I give on my channel.
No, I think every one of the prescriptions you're giving are prescriptions Christians give, and you pervert them. How about that, Alex? Is that better for you? I think that you just make them perverse. There actually are prescriptions, and you just make them perverse because you don't include this is only to find a wife, not to go give into your hedonistic values.
You make
fuck a bunch of dumb
perverse,
right?
Because
I think you make them perverse.
Because I don't push my values and morality on other people. That means
pot calling the kettle black.
This is a top-notch argument. All right, I'll hand it off to anyone else who wants to talk while I take a piss.
I'm actually gonna head out. It's past my bedtime. My husband told me to leave, so I have to do it.
Carissa, way to be a based-ass trad wife.
You know, he can't take any of my bullshit, right?
Well, I've always given Avalone credit for the fact that unlike most of the incel rapers that he combats, that he actually does have a family and he actually does have children. And I've always respected that about him. I thought he shot off a pretty funny tweet when he said to Fuentes that he was living the trad life. I thought that was fucking hilarious because there was a lot of truth in it.
Yeah. Well,
Andrew, have you ever met Mr. Slave?
But he's still a dumb queer. I mean, that's right. He still is, but
the homophobia. I'm streaming on Twitch. Come on.
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Okay, fair enough. Sorry about that. I'm not trying to break TOS.
Andrew,
I really sorry, Mr. Slade, but I really do have an issue with you bringing up the whole thing with Carissa and tearing down her arguments and her studies and making her, or at least attempting to, which you successfully did, make her seem not credible and her study not credible by picking apart and nitpicking the entire
I
study.
don't know.
But yet, when I asked you over an hour ago to provide yours and to do the same criteria for your study, you still have yet to fucking.
So let me respond to both of those points. First and foremost, I asked her for the study. She never gave me a study. Second, I gave you a study.
She did
and you
link
didn't
the study.
even. And the reason that I linked the same study,
I'm sorry,
she gave,
Brian.
the reason I linked the same exact study that she gave me to you is because I knew you wouldn't read it.
No, Carissa.
So
did
what
link
was the
study.
point?
Both of us did.
Everything.
We both linked that study.
What? So you're being very presumptuous here. I actually read every.
That's funny because I asked you if you read it and you said no.
I'm on stream with you right now.
Okay.
But your
listen.
standard for me is the same.
You
So
are
All
a
right, Ashley.
twat. You're being
Ashley,
a
give me a
twat.
chance. Ashley, I just got here. Let me have a
Oh,
few
give me
words.
Ashley.
Mr. Slave is going to
stop.
do his typical where he takes a complete
Exactly.
contrarian position
Mr. Slave
that
is
somehow
going
winds
to
up agreeing with
Andrew.
Andrew about
Yeah.
everything. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
No, I came here to defend Andrew about everything he said, but as I joined,
Called it.
That's exactly what we fucking said, Mr. Slave. We knew you would.
but then he said that secularists cannot be moral or ethical. Well, I'm a secularist. Tell me, I think I am 100%. I am completely amoral, as my subtitle says. But what's wrong with that?
Then what? I mean, what more is there to say? If you're completely
Well-
amoral, then you're without morals, correct?
No, I'm completely amoral. I'm a complete egoist. Tell me what's wrong with that.
Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
so if you want
Andrew,
me to-
I'm convinced you paid Mr. Slave money to come in and
I
Listen,
agree, Alex.
I didn't ask the question. It was asked of me. If you don't want me to get
good.
into it, because this is
no,
a long
this is
conversation.
too good of a setup. Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Are you sure you want me to do
Yeah,
this?
I'm just fucking around. Go ahead, man.
Okay, so Mr. Slave, is there any such thing as a truth statement? Can anything be
No.
objectively true?
Absolutely, no, I cannot. I'm agnostic to truth.
Okay, is that true?
No, I'm
Is that
agnostic to
true?
that. No, I'm agnostic to that.
Is that
too.
true?
No, I'm agnostic.
Okay, so then if there's no such thing as truth, and every subsequent statement is an infinite regress if you have no basis for knowledge, why do I care about anything that you say?
It's up to you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think a rational agent would say that if you have no basis for knowledge and you don't believe that anything's objectively true, and every subsequent question I ask you, if it's true, you say you can't know. Why should I care about anything you say?
Oh, I believe that is as close to truth. My stance that we have no access to absolute truth. I think
Is that true? Is that true?
I'm about to say that is the closest thing I can arrive at. That is truth.
Yeah.
That's
Is
the
that
closest.
statement that you're making that it's the
No,
closest
I
way to
already
arrive
said
at true?
no,
True.
I'm
Well,
infinitely
then why should I care? Why should I care about any true statement you make then?
Because if you're a truth seeker, I am a truth seeker.
You can't be a truth seeker. Every
I'm a
time I
seeker.
ask you if something's true, you say you can't know the truth. So how could you seek it?
But there's no contradiction. You can seek something that you believe is not absolutely attainable.
How do I
but
know that that's what you're telling me right now is true?
You don't know. We don't know
Right.
anything.
So then the thing is that since I don't know what you're saying is true, you have no foundation for knowledge and for making truth claims. Why is it that I should listen to a word you say about anything? You have no basis for knowledge. Nothing is true.
No, it's not true that I have no basis for knowledge.
Is that true?
It is not absolutely true.
You're right. It's not true. So then the thing again, every truth claim that you make is not true. This is why. So sorry, I can't take anything you say
Look,
seriously.
I can
true.
look. I can help you optimize your life. I can help people optimize their lives.
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
But
well, then what are you talking about?
Like, why, Andrew? Why do you talk to anyone if you're just going to say that, like, oh, you don't believe in my specific worldview of religion? Then I literally everything you say is dismissible. Like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, this is a horrible way to start a conversation.
I'm not the first skeptic in the universe. I'm just skeptic of absolute truth. I'm skeptic of anything absolute. I'm not the first one. I mean, this is pretty standard to be skeptic. I mean, this is the foundation of the scientific method.
Is that true?
No, it's not absolute.
Is the scientific method true?
No, it's not. No.
I don't know what else to say.
What does that mean for the scientific method to be true? Can you walk me through that?
I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's not my claim. It's not my claim. I don't have to walk you through anything.
Okay.
If everything that you claim, you're just going to subsequently say it's not true, I don't care about anything you have to say.
No, I'm not. Look, it's not. There's no. I honestly don't have access to absolute truths. What do you want from me?
Is that
Mr.
true?
Slave, let me make
Yeah.
this more interesting. Maybe you can point out some of the specific things you agree with Andrew on during this discussion.
I mean, I thought you, Alex, were literally ad hominem attacking him with your bad faith. Sorry, bad faith, not an argument, like you do to me many times. And I think you should stop doing it. That is literal ad hominem. I mean,
Well, I think I will just keep doing whatever the fuck I want on my channel.
fine, then
Mr.
that's a
Slave.
logical fallacy. I mean,
Okay. If we go off
and
by,
don't-
if we try to count personal attacks, I think Andrew has me significantly beat in that department during the debate tonight. Okay.
two Wongs don't make a white.
Okay. So why don't you give Andrew a lecture about
Wait,
ad hominems?
Did you just say two wogs don't make a white? Are you
Yeah,
making
it's
an Asian joke?
It's
that what's
from
going on
Family.
here?
It's from Family Guy.
It's
You
kinda-
didn't hear it?
Yeah, it's
Mr.
kinda
Slave,
funny.
so
It's kinda funny.
can you give Andrew your lecture?
My lecture?
Yeah, you said no ad hominem attacks. So can you point out, because he did it way more than me? So why are you not?
I
directing
actually
that?
did not hear him. I thought today Andrew was very well behaved, and everyone else was less well
This,
behaved.
this is like the weirdest case of fanboying ever. This is
It's
like
true. I mean, it's
the most
objectively true.
insane, like
The idol attacks the fanboy. It's kind of funny.
this is like the most. Two people I never thought would be in the same camp, or somehow I don't know.
We're not in
maybe
the
this-
same camp. He's in my camp, and I'm in my own camp.
Andrew, maybe you could describe what you think about Mr. Slave in a few short sentences.
I think he's a complete cuck, degenerate scumbag.
Okay,
by
why am
every
I a
single
degenerate?
conceivable metric.
Explain why am I a degenerate?
You're a degenerate because
Alex,
you're.
Smart.
What? Sorry, what, Ashley?
I just said, Alex, you're so smart.
All right,
I know.
Andrew. So why am I a
Okay,
degenerate? Make your case.
You're a sexual degenerate.
Why do you say that?
You have a dominatrix who carries you around on a leash.
She actually
And-
doesn't carry me around on a
Okay,
leash.
sorry. That was imprecise language.
That was on the streams.
It was
That's
in,
what.
But hang on. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Slave.
Sure.
Is there anything, since there's no such thing as absolute truth, can anything be absolutely false?
No, there's.
So then, can you tell me for sure that she
Wait.
doesn't carry you around?
No, stop it! Come on, I'm telling you, I'm just.
Well,
a
can you tell me
skeptic.
for sure she doesn't carry you around, Mr.
Here,
Slave?
I'll give you. I'll tell you. Right, we could be in a matrix. Right, we could be, and we could actually be dolphins in an aquarium.
And in
Jesus
one of
fucking
those,
Christ.
hang on, in one of those matrices, could you be a sexual degenerate?
Well, okay, so what do you mean by I don't know? But what
What do you mean you don't know? Could you be or couldn't you be in one of those matrices?
I mean, why
that we
would you
might
say,
live in?
wait? Explain what? Make your case. Make your case.
I'm making the case using the
No, you're
Socratic
not.
method, right?
No.
Literally, these are the two equivalents of each other. That's what I'm fucking saying.
All right. Andrew, make your case. Why do you think I'm a degenerate? I'm listening.
I think you're a sexual degenerate because you move outside of sexual and promiscuous relationships of marriage. The entire justification that I have for my worldview.
Wait, slow down.
Well,
slow
let
down,
him finish. You asked him a question.
No. He's going to go into his speech. No, I want to break it down
hang
right
on.
away.
Dude, stop. Let him answer the question, then you can respond.
It's going to be too long. I'm not going to
Go
be
ahead.
able to react.
Go ahead, Mr. Slade.
I think I ruined the fanboy relationship. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, Andrew, hold on. So let's just say something really short so I can reply. Let's play ping pong. So why am I a degenerate?
You're a degenerate because you engage in sexually deviant activity, which goes against the religion of Jesus Christ.
How? Okay. Hold on.
Just
How
trying to
do
tell
I
you
go against the religion of Jesus Christ? Explain.
Because you operate within sexual degeneracy.
Explain. Well, how?
I
What do
already did. So
No, come on, make your case. I'm
okay.
listening.
Are you having sex outside of marriage?
That's the reason.
Are you or aren't you?
I mean, but sure.
Yes, that's degeneracy. Correct.
No, Come on, this is standard behavior in 21st century. What are you talking about?
Just because it's standard behavior doesn't make it less degenerate behavior. If everybody was a murderer in the 21st century, that would make murdering okay, right?
Actually, if everyone
you
would do
wouldn't
it-
care because I just made a true statement and nothing could be true.
Okay,
But
listen.
since you can't say,
okay.
since you can't say anything that I'm saying is
Andrew-
absolutely false, you just
Andrew,
gotta kinda
stop.
take it.
Andrew, I think we can conclude that you failed in making the case that I'm a degenerate. Let's move to the next topic. What else do you want to discuss?
How did I fail?
Yeah,
you
what?
said that I'm the same as everyone else in the universe, basically, in the known universe.
No, you're not the same.
Andrew doesn't believe in having sex before marriage. Like that's.
But he said I'm a degenerate, so he says the whole
So
universe
here's
is
what-
a
listen,
degenerate.
listen,
a lot of
Mr.
people are
Slave.
degenerates, my man.
Let me try to make this. I'll
No,
try
but
to
that's
make
not
it
me.
very,
He did,
very,
so he
very
failed.
concise.
No, Andrew. Okay, so Alex agrees. You failed to make the
Okay,
case
well,
that
no,
I
I'm.
did not agree to that. Hang on.
Yes, you
make
did. You
the
said
best-
I'm the same
No.
as everyone.
Here, I'll make the best
No.
case that I possibly can.
I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to explain to you.
Here's what degenerate
Wait, let
means.
Andrew
Here's what
say something
degenerate
short,
means.
please.
Degenerate means without morals.
I am amoral. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then you're a degenerate.
What does that? What does that mean?
That you're amoral. You have no morals. That's all degeneracy means. You can look it up definitionally. That's what it means. Someone without
Wait, a
morals.
degenerate is someone who is amoral.
Yeah, someone has no morals. That's correct.
Oh, okay, what is the definition of the word degenerate?
Oh,
Degenerate.
this is getting really retarded. Andrew thinks you're a degenerate. I'm
What
sorry.
does that mean?
I'm
What does that
sorry
mean?
I ruined your promising, burgeoning fanboy relationship. You'll have to find someone else to fanboy over. I
Okay,
mean, we got
so
Ryan, the radical coder.
Here's the definition. Having lost the physical, mental, or moral qualities considered normal and desirable. Lacking morality. An immoral or corrupt person. The decline and deteriorate of morality. You're amoral. You're degenerate definitionally.
I mean, I am amoral, but what's wrong with being amoral?
Okay, but so can we concede first that you're a degenerate?
I mean,
by the definition that I gave.
No, because I mean, it was a long list of words. I mean, the word degenerate means, right? The word degenerate, it has a connotation like going back to something, like degenerating, like reverting into some.
Yeah, your morals are degenerating till you have none.
No,
that's
no.
what the degen is.
My amorality took me many years to construct. This is very.
Yeah, so you're degenerating.
No, I evolved. Where I am now, you might be 100 years from now if you're lucky.
You're such an evolved specimen that you don't even know if you saying that you're an evolved specimen is true.
That's the evolution.
That's how
deep I am. I'm so deep that I know that I don't know. That's as deep as it
I
goes.
hope I never go that deep.
Mr. Slave, I've never been so deep into you as right now.
I have never been so repulsed by you as I am now.
Wait, Alex, why are you repulsed by me?
You forced me to 100% agree with Andrew.
Wait a minute. Why are you repulsed by me? What's going on?
Because honestly, every single word that has come out of your mouth in the last 15 minutes has been ultra retarded.
Like what? Which word?
Like every single fucking.
Which one? Name one.
It's not a specific word. It's a
Which
sentence.
one? Come on, at least one. You said every. Don't give me every. Just give me one.
If you shut up, I will explain to you. So one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard is you just admitted that you have no morals. You're amoral, and that, by Andrew's definition, is what makes you degenerate. And then you're still arguing with him. You literally made his point for him. You literally made his argument for him. Like, he couldn't have done it better himself. At that point, you have to bite the bullet. You can't actually disagree with something.
Yes, I agree with Andrew that he won a semantic discussion. But
semantics.
It's completely semantic because the word
semantics
degenerate
are important when you make arguments.
No.
According to Andrew's worldview, okay.
No.
Anyone who
I am not different than anyone else in the universe except for being amoral. I am a very advanced form of philosopher. I'm amoral.
Very advanced. You're the ultimate.
It took me many years to accomplish this level.
You're the pinnacle of human evolution. Yes,
I don't care. It took me many years. I used to be an idiot like you. Today I'm not.
Well,
my man,
I mean,
you literally
wait.
Dude,
That's
you
not even
obsessively
true.
watch
That's
my channel.
definitionally not true by your own philosophy. What you're saying to him is not true.
So what?
Yeah. So I mean, so that you can't hurt his feelings. You're not even making a true statement.
Look. It's not. Listen, Andrew. It's not absolutely true, but it tends towards truth.
Is that true?
It tends towards truth.
Is that true?
It tends towards truth.
How do you
Why
know that's true?
Why wasting time? You know the answer.
Well, okay, so if it tends towards truth, but you say that's not true, or you can't know that it tends towards truth, why make the statement
what
it
do you
tends
want
towards
from
truth?
me, Andrew? I don't want to lie and tell you something I don't know. I don't know if 1 + 1 is
Well,
2.
you don't know anything because you can't make a
Right.
true statement. You don't know anything.
But what do
that's
you want?
true.
What do you want from? I'm being honest. You want me
And
to
I'm
lie?
honestly telling you, there's no reason to listen to someone who tells you they're not telling you the
That's
truth.
not true. I can improve your life.
How?
Yeah, is that true?
I can teach you the ways of amorality. I can make you a better person.
Oh, yay.
Wait,
So
why
you
would
could be
I
the,
want
you
to
could be the devil on my shoulder?
Yeah, wait, why would I want to be immoral? How's that self-improvement to become amoral?
Because I am amoral and I am an egoist. So I
How are those
optimize.
things? You're talking about
No,
I can
you
make you
cannot be
fat,
both.
I can make you lazy. Like you're talking about bad things.
No. Being an egoist means I optimize my life, just like you want to optimize your life. So I make self-optimization into my way of life. Now, since my only target is to optimize my life, I cannot have another target like morality. So I don't have morality.
Not
All
true.
I
You can
have is
multiple focuses in your life.
you
But how
can't
do
really, not really,
Yes,
because
you can.
they
I'm
would
focused on my
conflict.
business. I'm focused on fitness. I'm focused on
Not really.
having the best relationship with my girlfriend. You can focus on
That's
more than one.
these are all self-optimizations. I agree with
How is
you,
being
but that's not moral. You're not
how is
more.
how is being amoral a good thing?
Everything you just said is amoral. I agreed with everything you said, but these are amoral things. You're just self-optimizing. You're just an egoist
Yes.
like me. But I admit it. I admire anyone who admits it. I think
Okay.
that's the proper way to live.
You're not answering my question. How's
What's the
being
question?
amoral a good thing?
You just said that you're amoral. You gave a list of
You
things
say
of.
wait, Alex, are you saying immoral and he's saying amoral? Because they're different things, right?
Nah, it doesn't matter.
I'm saying no, it doesn't matter. I'm saying amoral. Like you're not moral. You don't care
Exactly.
about morality. No,
Exactly.
that's not a good thing. We don't want people in this world who are amoral. We want people who are
Give me an
moral.
example. Why not? Why don't you want people who are amoral? Everything you just said about yourself, that how you optimize your life, that's amoral. These are amoral statements. You're just being an egoist, which I
That's actually
admire.
true. They all
Me
are
working on my
amoral
relationship is
He's
not
right about that.
amoral.
The difference
That's
is
amoral.
that
That's self-optimization.
No, it's not, because it's making my woman happier.
Slave,
But why
Mr.
do you want to
Slave
make?
makes no claims about what's moral. He just says immediately he's amoral. Nothing's moral. All morality is subjective. All truth is subjective. He's a complete subjectivist. There's nothing he can say that he can state with any type of
Objectivity. I
yeah,
have no access to objective
nothing.
truth.
There's no way for him to tell you anything that's a true statement. So you just can dismiss everything he says.
Right,
If
but
you
he's
want
saying that
to.
also amorality is a good thing, which is what I
Yes,
fundamentally disagree with.
It's the
Yeah,
best
but he's
thing
also
for
lying to you because he
No,
can't
no,
tell
no.
you that that's true.
No.
Well, what's
I
a
try
lie?
not
What,
to
hang on, what's a
lie.
lie?
Look.
What's a
There's
lie,
absolute.
Mr. Slave? What's a lie?
Look, there's
Well, hang on, no,
absolute
answer my question. What's a lie?
saying a false statement with intent.
So, and a false statement would be something that's not true, right?
If I would tell you that I believe 1 + 1 is 2, absolutely, I would be lying. That's a lie.
That 1 + 1 is 2?
Absolutely, that's a lie. In my opinion, that's not my belief. If I would tell you I believe 1 + 1 is 2 is absolutely true, I would be lying. That's a lie.
Wait,
I'm
seriously?
starting
You don't think 1 + 1
to
is 2?
understand
Wait, if I can-
why Andrew
That's
keeps
a
calling
fact.
us degenerates.
So
Go
to clarify, I think to clarify what Mr. Slave's saying a little bit when he's talking about the lie, like I think instead of like saying like what he wouldn't say that it's necessarily something that's just not true that he's saying, but something he doesn't believe to be true that he's saying. So he's not
Yeah,
going
I
to tell
agree.
you something.
Yeah, so lie
Yeah.
requires intent. I understand.
Yeah.
Look,
okay.
there's a
So
spectrum
you
of
can say
truth.
that you're intentionally telling a falsehood, right?
I always intend to be as truthful, as transparent, as good of a person to everyone else as I can, because it is self-benefiting me.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I understand. But would you agree with me that what a lie is somebody who's intentionally saying something that they don't believe is true
Yes,
or
with
have
intent.
knowledge is true? Right. It's
Yes,
intent.
with intent.
It's intent-based,
I
right?
usually avoid lying. It's a
Right.
bad strategy for life.
I totally get it. I understand. However, the falsehood that you're talking about there would require a belief in truth, which you don't have. Therefore,
I
everything
have a
you're saying is
belief.
lies.
No. I have a belief. I have access to a knowledge of the spectrum of truth.
Do you know that? Do you know that?
I have a skeptical axis. I have an agnostic
Yeah,
axis.
so you don't know that then.
I don't know anything. I
Right.
could
So
be,
then why do I care about anything you're saying? That's the whole point.
because
why do
I can.
care?
You can try out my philosophy, see if it helps your life, and decide if you like it or don't like it. But you
Andrew,
can at
you
least
want to
try
try
it.
out his philosophy? How tempting is it?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rather grab a club and bash
Look,
myself
Andrew,
about the head.
I used to be.
Amazon ship you a ball and gag if you want. It can
Look,
get
Andrew, I used to be a religious. I used to belong to a cult. So I used to be like you.
That
So I
doesn't
understand.
surprise me a bit.
So I understand how you feel, but I have progressed. You know, I'm much older than all of you combined. So I have progressed since those days, and I've stopped being stupid. And today I'm a little less stupid. So I can, if you listen to me
No,
and
you're
you
not any
try,
less stupid. You're more stupid than wherever it was you
in
came
my
from.
personal opinion, I hope I'm
Got
a
him,
little
dude.
bit less stupid.
You're not less stupid.
Well, I don't know how you would know that. In any case, you can try to listen and understand what I'm saying and absorb and
So here's
turn it
why.
into
Here's why I think this. The reason I think that you're objectively stupid is because I believe you can make objective truth claims, and that the truth that I'm saying
Name a truth
objectively
claim.
is true, that
Name
you're
a truth
stupid.
claim. Name a
However,
truth-
there's
name a
nothing
truth-
you hang on.
name a
I just
truth
named
claim.
one. Here's my truth claim. You're objectively stupid. You can't say back to me,
How do you
no,
know?
I'm not, because you don't know if it's true.
How do you know that? How do you,
You
know
don't
that?
know if it's true.
How do you know that?
Because I have an epistemological and ontological justification for all of my beliefs. That's why.
What's your source of knowledge?
My source of knowledge
anything?
comes
guy
from God.
upstairs.
That's my justification.
So
Mr.
God-
Slave.
Wait a
Mr.
minute,
Slave.
Ashley.
His
Wait a minute,
subjective
Ashley.
You're
Ashley, I'm
perspective of
sorry.
the guy upstairs.
Ashley, I'm so sorry.
No,
we can
but
later.
you're talking
Ashley,
about-
no. This is a chess match with a grandmaster.
Mr.
Let me pin him to the wall.
Oh my
and punch him.
God! Shut the fuck up!
Andrew,
I'm a
Mr. Slave wants to
grandmaster.
pin you to the wall. How do
You are
feel about
talking
that?
about compatibilism.
Let them
I
fight.
don't know what that means. Anyway,
That's what
Andrew,
you're talking about. That's a theory that you're claiming.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Ashley. I
fucking-
don't know. I don't know these words. I'm sorry. Anyway, Andrew. So
Yeah, I agree. You're not very smart.
no, I don't. I didn't say I am.
Look
I
at
just
that.
said
Me and
a little
Ashley
bit
can
less
agree on
stupid
something
than
for
I used to
once.
be. Anyway, Andrew. So you speak to God. God told you that I am stupid. Is this what you claim? This is your source of knowledge for the claim that I'm stupid?
Let's say it was. What would be the problem with that?
How do you know God has access to truth?
All I have to do is believe that that's
So you-
a justification.
So
base
that's
the
meaningless.
justification on it, and then
What do you mean
claim
believe?
Claim
What
it
do you
as
mean-
truth.
What do you mean believe?
Well,
What,
so
you
if
just
it's-
believe?
so
What does
hang
that
on.
mean?
I'm trying to explain. So if you believe at least that you're making a truth claim, right? You have a belief that you can base something on. There's some type of justification for this. Then you can assert a truth. In your worldview, there is no such thing as truth because you don't believe that there's any justification for it. So therefore, you're never going to be able to make a truth claim. All I have to do is assert that I know the truth.
Okay.
All I have to do is just assert that I know the truth, and it's still superior to you.
Okay, Andrew, come on. I'm trying to help you. Okay, listen. So this God of yours, all that you have is you believe, which I don't even know what that means. What
That's
do you
not
mean
what I
you
said. I
believe?
said even if I said this, it would still be superior to your claim.
Okay.
But I'm not going to get
You said
into
you
the
have
presupposition.
access.
So here, let me explain it to you. The justification for knowledge comes from the fact that we have the laws of logic. Laws of logic exist as immaterial metaphysical laws. Therefore, the justification that God must be true is real.
These are just assertions.
This is called no. This is
These
based
are just
along-
assertions.
Then account for the laws of logic, Mr. Slade.
I don't believe in logic.
You can't, but I can
Oh my
because it's a
God.
transcendental categorization I can account for.
You
and
have no
can't.
sort. These are just assertions.
No,
Logic
that's not
and
an
math.
assertion. That's a transcendental categorization which exists in
These are
immaterial
just
reality I can
assertions.
account for.
Using long words doesn't make it better. You're just asserting. You're just assuming.
There's
you're just
no
assuming
assertion.
the laws of logic.
What? How am I assuming them? Are there laws of logic?
What's your fun? As far as I'm concerned, no.
So how are we having this conversation right now? Are we
We-
using logic?
I mean, these are not laws. I mean,
they're not laws. Oh, so can a contradiction?
Let me explain. Let me explain. It's like this conversation could take place without words if I would be shaking your hands and we would be dancing together.
What?
Yes.
Well, that's sure.
Just-
But that's
I mean-
a logic. That's a logical claim. You use the laws of logic to deduce the truth of that. anything outside of these laws of logic makes anything that you're saying incoherent, right? So
Okay,
it would be incoherent if you had a contradiction, for instance. If you told me that square thing is actually a triangle, let's say, or something that's incoherent, a direct contradiction. The way that you know it's a contradiction and it's not true is by using the immaterial transcendental laws of logic.
No, here. Give me an example of a logical statement.
This guy I'm texting right now just asked me if I liked being cream pied, and I said yes.
All right, Andrew, Ashley, come on. Andrew, tell me.
Honestly, I'm
and
interested
give me an
in Ashley's
example.
conversation.
That was a perfectly acceptable example. What Ashley just said.
No. Andrew,
Nothing
It's
incoherent
very
about it.
logical. It's very logical.
No, Andrew, give me an example of a logical statement.
That's a logical statement.
What? Okay, repeat the logical statement.
That Ashley likes to get cream
Okay,
pie.
how do you? What is the definition of Ashley?
Oh my god, this is getting like ultra.
No,
Well,
no.
I warned you.
I'm
I
saying
warned
is,
you this,
what I'm
Alex.
saying is no. What I'm saying is logic is based on language, and language is just a way of communicating,
No.
just like dancing and shaking
Ashley's
hands
not a
and hugging.
No, Ashley has no definition because it's an empty descriptor. A definition is a descriptor. You understand that? Ashley's an empty label. There's an empty label that's assigned with the descriptor of this person.
How do I know?
Hey, I'm a semi-full label.
Andrew,
okay?
how do I know that when you say Ashley is what I mean when I say Ashley? How can I know this?
Because I can simply ask you.
We can have a conversation from now until forever, and we will never be 100% sure.
Well, then how do I know I'm me? How do I know I'm me and you're you?
Right, we don't know. We don't
No,
know.
we do know. You don't know that you're you?
No, I don't.
Then who are you?
Look,
are you somebody that's not you?
I told you I'm skeptical.
All right, I'm going to redirect because it's getting ultra dumb. I think the big takeaway here is that Ashley likes to get cream pied. I think that's the thing we should all focus on.
Very important.
Also, Slave, I don't actually believe you when you say that you're purely motivated for self-benefit. That is false. You told me that you helped your mistress get into a relationship. That does not benefit you in any way at all. You just did that out of the
Are you out of your mind? Do you know how much benefit that endowed onto me? Are you out of your mind?
What are the benefits, my man?
She handed me over to my new owner. Are you out of your mind?
So you helped your current mistress get into a relationship. So
no, my ex-mistress, and then she handed me over to my new owner. And my new owner, are you out of your mind? You don't even, but you're out of your mind. That's your proof? You're out of your mind.
You are right. I'm not familiar with like what it's like to have an owner and whatnot. But okay, so you're telling me that you helping your ex-mistress get into a relationship was a master plan so you could be handed off to this new lady.
No, I would never do that. Of course not. I thought she found an amazing guy and I helped her, because I'm a guy and I know pickup. So
why did you help her?
Because at the end of the day, we help each other. That's how we are helped. So it's for me.
We help each other get cream pied.
Why did you help her? What's the benefit for you?
She's at the end of the day, we help each other. Every time I help, how much did I help her? I just, she just asked me questions. I gave her answers. It's not like I went way out of my way and I'm suffering because I helped her. It barely cost me anything. It actually cost me basically nothing. I just gave her plenty of advice. We just analyzed, and I told her what to do in this case, in that case. Just like you give advice, so I gave her advice, and it worked out. And she's.
Well, I don't LARP around and say that everything I do is for self-benefit. So, are you saying, or do you believe your time is valuable?
Of course.
So why did you take your time to help this person? What's the self-benefit for you? I'm still waiting for an answer to that question. Because it sounds like you just helped her just out of the kindness of your heart, which is okay. That's a good thing. But unless you can give me a direct benefit that's in it for you.
No, first of all, it's just fun to communicate with people, hear their problems, try and give them answers. It's just fun. And you learn a lot from this experience, and you apply your knowledge, and they think you're smart, and they tell you, oh, thank you, and then they come back with questions, and it's status. At the end of the day, it's status. So helping people is status.
You helped your ex get a new guy because it was going to increase your status. Is that the
Cope?
It's many things. I made her happy. Making her happy
But
makes
why
me
do you care
happy.
about-
It's like
that's the key thing you has. Making her happy makes you happy.
Yes.
Why does making her happy make you happy?
I don't know. I can make a puppy happy. I can read a story about a fictional character. It would make me
But
happy.
why
And
do you care? Why do you care at all? One bit about
that's
making
just the
her
way
happy?
I am. Why do I enjoy
So are
banging
you saying
chicks?
you're like an empathetic human being?
Who gives a shit? Like, let's get to something that matters.
No, it's just funny because it's like
Dude,
this
this
is
combo
like
is lowering
so
our
way
IQ.
off about that claim. But anyway, I'll let Looks4L step in.
Listen,
No,
brother, enough of this
Looks4L
combo.
is
It's lowering our
phenomenal.
fucking IQ.
Looks4L is even on the panel, then you know it's you know that everybody's watching because it's luring. It's a black-pilled panel now.
Yes, the halo effects has already commenced.
Yes.
Now, listen, if we continue this convo any further, my IQ will drop to room temperature. So we should probably discuss something like more interesting.
Well, it's better than your gonial angle dropping to room temperature. So
Disagree. But yeah,
Yes, Looks4L, I'm listening to your input to any conversation.
we can change gears. Yeah, since you're stepping in, you can start kick it off. Looks4L.
yeah. Well, from the name, as you can guess, Andrew, I think looks are like the primary indicator of sexual interest. Looks meaning like looks, height, and frame. So I'm sure you would agree, like better looking people are more admired, taller people are more well respected, they're paid more, they don't get bullied as often, etc. Meaning like you cannot force attraction, like you cannot force a woman to be attracted to you by spitting some quote unquote game or any sort of wit bullshit like that these dating coaches try to do because they need to sell product. But yeah, that's basically it.
So I think that
Was that a loose shot at me?
well, I think
Not loose.
I would have to intuitively agree with a lot of that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But they tend to disagree because, you know, they have things to push, courses to sell. You know, it is what it is.
Right. So
I gotta do what I did with Mr. Slave, which is turn Looks4L against Andrew. It's not gonna be that hard. But yeah,
No.
I resent that implication. You're
It's
saying that I have an
that hard.
ulterior motive because I have a product.
Right.
That is your claim.
You're
Is that-
feeding people false hope. That's
so
the
are you
issue.
saying that any business owner is basically selling false hope? Any type of business.
This
Having a
one
business is
specifically.
unethical.
that's a literal reductio. It doesn't even follow. What are you talking
It
about?
follows perfectly. You're trying to make the argument that because I have a business, I must have an ulterior motive. So would you say that any business owner, is it broader? Does any business
That's
owner
not what he's saying.
have an ulterior motive? Okay,
No,
let me
that's not
answer.
what he said.
Andrew, he's a big boy. Let me answer. the
Strowman.
question.
I'm
So
saying you're
where
feeding
does it
people
end?
false hope. You're telling them if you have a certain amount of wit, she can look over you being vertically challenged or subhuman in the face. Meanwhile, women cannot be forced to be attracted to you. If she doesn't desire you, no amount of wit will change that. That's why I always contest that with you, because you're selling these men false hope. That's why.
Wait, Looks,
So
what's your source of
what if-
information?
What if I didn't have a product? What if for a while I didn't have a product I was offering? I was just talking about this. So then would it be okay then if I didn't have any kind of business interest?
That's just like so hard to imagine that you would do it without a vested
I
interest.
give the same advice as Alex gives, and no one
spent-
pays me for
oh,
that.
My man, I spend hours and hours every day helping people for free. Hours. I have forums
Helps
where
your views, homie. Helps your channel grow. What do you mean?
No, but dude, I have a forums where I answer people's questions for free 3-4 times a week.
honestly, Looks4L,
I
that's
constantly spend
such
time,
shitty
take
fucking-
hours and hours of my day helping people without anything in return.
But, you know, this will translate to having more views, more people like you. They'll refer your content to others. Of course, it's like a ploy to get more people to like subscribe to your channel and like your content. Of course.
Alex,
I mean,
he's
that-
telling you you are an
that
egoist,
doesn't follow either.
amoralist.
No,
Like,
no,
that
it's
doesn't
not.
follow either. So here's my question for
To
you.
some extent it is, but I also enjoy helping people. 2
Sure.
days ago, I did a free call with someone. Wasn't even going to talk about it until this came up. This guy was struggling. He was really depressed. I spoke to him on the phone for 20, 30 minutes, gave him free advice, didn't ask for 1 penny. Why did I do that? What's in it for me?
Maybe you're just a good human. Who knows?
Yes. You
Or
are right. I like helping people. This is something I struggle with. I enjoy helping people. Yes, I have a business and I do have a profit, but I help people for free all the fucking time.
And also
Constant.
looks like you don't have a platform and you don't stream constantly and like you don't understand even when you do hit the point of being subsidized, right? Like even when you hit that point, you're rubbing nickels to bro.
How would you
Most
know,
of the
Ashley?
YouTube,
Are you at that point?
no, but I'm friends with Alex.
I'm not
That's
shocked.
I've given Ashley free dating advice. I didn't ask for anything in exchange. 'Cause
Yeah,
I just
true. But
I
I've
enjoy it.
also talked to Eurodite and I've talked to a lot of other creators that are very, very big as far as being subsidized. And the truth of it is that you make your money not from your like what Alex is doing. He's not sitting there and like no offense to Eurodite, I actually really, really, really like her now. Like I'm a fan, but blah blah blah. No offense to her, but I'm saying like she literally runs like ad streams in the background and she does all these algorithms and all these things that are going to get her paid more. And I get that. There's nothing wrong with it. She also streams on 2 to 3 platforms, right? Alex is literally streaming on YouTube and like not doing any of that. Not doing any of that. He is legit. If you don't have YouTube Premium, Alex is making like fucking 30 cents a stream.
Maybe he's inept.
No, I know.
Maybe
I know
he's
how-
inept. Okay, whatever. But
Dumbest thing ever. I know how I can
that
double.
that's not a good. But even if he is inept, the point is that his heart is good, and the point of these streams is not to make money off of you fuckers. And the fact that you guys argue this pisses me off.
But he
Which
just
is
said,
also really ironic, Looks4L, because you came to me for advice with your photos. I helped you for free without anything in exchange. So why did I do that?
What are you talking about? I never asked you for
Yeah,
advice.
you did.
with
You asked me which one of these photos should I use or something like that.
No, that's
Yeah.
incorrect.
All right. I'm gonna pull up right now, dude. You're saying you never came to me for advice about anything, really?
Also,
wait, you didn't want. Wait, hold up. You didn't want to do that call with me about you were having that issue with chicks after the date, really? That
wait,
never
what are you
happened.
talking about?
Okay, let me just pull this up. Okay, not a problem.
Looks.
Wait, looks. What's going to change your mind, dude?
Let's see.
No, I think he's
answer.
referring to something like in specific. Which
Alex
is like,
over there, like let's.
He's
I
like
had
receipt
a question
chasing.
for you, Looks for Life.
What's up?
So
Looks for life.
yeah,
That is
Looks
my
for
name.
Life. So here's my question. So I understand the looks and the height and all of these different things, but wouldn't there still be other factors as well besides just that could
Right, so-
potentially attract women?
So like having a basic degree of social skills, meaning like not being autistic when you're conversing with them. Sure, I think that's like the bare minimum.
Yeah,
However,
but money. I mean, money's a huge factor.
down the line, like once you reach a certain age, but there's plenty of men who like don't have much money but are good looking that can keep a woman around because she desires him physically. That's the
Yeah,
point.
but if you're an ugly dude and you have a lot of money, you would agree that your chances of getting with some chick is going to increase, right?
But you're leading with your wallet, meaning she only is with you due to your money. She's not actually attracted to you. Meaning if you lose your money, she will leave as well. Most
So this
likely.
would depend on your objective. So if your objective is to just hump them, though, that's probably okay. But if your objective is a long-term relationship,
I mean,
you're
people
saying,
can pay for it, right? I mean,
Mhm.
if you have money,
I'm gonna mute myself while I go through this.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So then let me ask you this other thing, which is, do you think that really ugly men should just stay in their league?
I think they should do what they can to looks max, meaning like going to the gym, thickening their neck, fixing their skin, hair, etc. But they should be reasonable with their expectations in terms of their looks match.
I literally don't have a single disagreement with anything
Exactly.
you said.
Because these guys think that with quote
Like
unquote
this all
game,
seems very intuitive to me.
it is
It's-
very intuitive. But
It seems very
No,
intuitive.
there's no
and that also, I
disagreement.
just think that you're missing. You got to be a little bit meaner to them too.
Exactly.
That's all.
There's nothing missing, and he is intuitive. And in fact, looks. I don't know if you watched or if you were out gambling, but I actually did make a lot of black pill points earlier. But the whole thing is that like this entire subject is so much more nuanced than what you're saying. And for you to sit there, like I just hate anybody coping and saying like, oh yeah, it's because of this or this, but then you can't back it up with like some fucking evidence.
What evidence would
Yo.
you want him to use?
The same evidence I wanted you to use, Andrew.
So you
And
want him to use data?
any data, anything that you are
And why?
sitting there-
And Ashley, why should we use empirical data in order to demonstrate what we can
reason
logically
that we
demonstrate?
should use it is because if we ourselves, you, quote unquote, the understood pronoun you, anybody uses empirical data or something as a way to mog others or to put them down, then you, quote unquote, right, should be able to provide the same proof of that data yourself.
Yeah. So, but this is a different claim. So the claim you're making now is we should use empirical
falls-
data to judge these things. Why should we?
Because it falls under the same moral standpoint that most of us use to judge each other.
Most of us don't use empirical data to judge each other. What in the hell
we
are you
do.
talking
Yeah,
about?
actually, we do.
Okay.
Do you want to actually delve
explain it
into
to me. Explain what
psychology?
empirical data you use to judge another person.
Well, empirical data to judge other people. So any kind of data mogging or whatever. Like if you use actual evidence, something that someone says, anything that someone says, that's information. Information is data. Data we compile and we use to prove to ourselves or to others whether or not this is true, right?
When you say information is data, how do you mean?
Data is
information. You mean data in which sense? The way that your brain is processing it?
I mean, Ashley, let me help you a little bit. So,
well, no, this is an important distinction. I want to know
why
it is.
I agree with Ashley. But I agree with Ashley.
Data is information. Information is data.
Yeah. So Looks for Life is asking specifically why it is that he can just intuitively understand these things, and probably most people can intuitively understand these things.
Right.
I just have to ask you. You say that needs to be backed up with empirical data. Why do you think we ought to use empirical data at all?
Well, using the term ought, like clever, thank you. But no, I'm not saying that specifically. I never used the word ought. You did. I'm saying that if you're
then who cares? Like if there's no ought claim, then who cares? There's nothing wrong with him just making that intuitive statement.
Oh, did I just down your horn?
Also, this is anything except a cope. People will swallow all these weird copes thinking it's their game or personality holding them back, when in reality they're just vertically challenged and not desirable to women. That's the exact opposite of a cope. It's called being real with yourself. Women want good genes. If you don't have good genes, then you're kind of fucked, you know? But you have to be real with yourself. Don't cope and think it's your personality.
Well, being real with
being able to make money and being. Wait, Ashley, let me say. Ashley, let me say something.
No, slave. No, it has more to do with being 6'3" and with a nice jawline. Having good genes, like the way I chose my partner, who I reproduced with, it had more to do with, okay, is this man smart? Is he capable? Does he? No, really, seriously, because I want my children to be smart.
Exactly.
I want them to know how to survive. I want them to know how
to
also be able to be successful in life.
Exactly.
And all of these things you judge based off a partner. And all of these things, when we look at a partner, whether a man or a woman, but I guess especially women, because we're more selective.
Does your partner also happen to be very good looking?
I don't want to answer that because I don't want to slight him, but I have proven with receipts that he is not a Chad, quote unquote.
Was he when you met him?
My partner is 5'8", very weak jawline, small shoulders, like not your usual what this manosphere would consider to be a Chad. No.
Yeah, but you wouldn't consider yourself to be some great catch either. So maybe he's not batting out of his league, which is Looks for Life.
I did consider myself to be a fucking great catch.
Of course you did.
I mean, that's like every girl.
No, but I did.
Yeah, it's every girl.
That's why it's funny. You know?
I knew that was going to be y'all's argument. I knew it was.
No, but every girl thinks she's a 10.
No, shut up. I've seen pictures of you. Looks.
Oh, here we
don't go there.
Okay, don't go into ad hominem, Ashley.
A bolt? No,
Ashley,
Mr. Slave. No.
No, but Ashley,
Mr. Slave.
They're derailing you. Don't let them derail you.
Okay, well,
You-
they're derailing me though with logical arguments, and the argument is that you are not the fucking genetic fucking specimen that you think you are. You are literally 140 pounds of a beanpole with a giant head and a
Oh my god, this regressed to this one I was
Yeah,
going.
No,
we
I'm
basically
serious.
said she thinks she's a 10 and she got a little triggered.
No, I did
All right,
not.
looks
No.
asked me not to share private messages, and I will respect that. But I think, looks, if you want to be fair,
I did not
you
share
did
anything
call.
private.
No.
But it
we're not
wasn't. I
talking
don't
about
think it
you.
was game related. It was.
We're
It was a
talking
very
about you
niche
asked me.
thing.
No, you. I remember
We're
now.
talking about
You're
black
saying
pill.
you were talking about you
I'm
get a
staying
date
on
with a
topic.
girl and you want to get her for a second date, right? What is better? What's a better strategy?
Alex, you are literally
you asked me.
derailing the entire
You
argument.
asked me. Well, no, hang on. It's a very important point.
And it
because
was critical, and it
I
was.
will
wait.
absolutely allow you to get back into it, but you were asking me about what is a better way of getting a second date. It was a strategy type of conversation that we had, and I did it for you for free. I didn't
No,
ask
but
you.
we
For
went back and forth. We never agreed. It was a discussion. Plus,
You
I
literally
already
asked me,
passed
"Yo,
the
can we
looks.
talk? Can we chat on the phone for 20 minutes?"
Yeah,
I
it's a
gave you my advice.
discussion. It's a
So
discussion.
you called me at 2 a.m. just to have a discussion?
I mean, I'm awake like late night. The time
He's
doesn't
called me
matter.
at 3 and 2 to try to see if he could game me.
Dude, we debate all the time on here. What
So
makes
are
you
you
think
gonna?
I'm not?
Yeah, but you also privately hit me up and you wanted advice.
Not advice. We were discussing something. I was
Looks,
curious
don't
on your
cope.
input.
You're
So
being
then, can I play the voice memos on the text?
Well, didn't I already mention like I'm kind of a private person? I'd rather not.
So-
Like, I don't even show my face. You know?
You're
Like,
disagreeing
typically.
with what I'm saying, but I can't show the
But
receipt.
this is a discussion. We had a phone call where we disagreed. I don't
Yeah,
even
but
remember
you're
exactly what it was.
literally sitting here telling everybody else on the panel that they're wrong and that you know why they're
Well, just
wrong,
you.
but we know
You're
you're
saying you're
coping.
wrong.
Wait,
But
Alex,
Man,
Alex,
you
Yeah,
literally hit
we
me
had
up.
that.
You wanted
We know-
advice about
Alright.
like how to get a second date.
No.
I give you advice, and then you said, "Oh, that makes sense, man. Yeah." And
But
then,
look, I got your fucking black pill. That shouldn't matter. Oh,
and
look,
then you're
listen, man,
saying,
that
and
takes
then
care
you're
of
saying,
everything.
"Oh,
Like,
you've never done
you're
anything for
so
anyone,
dumb.
but you can't show these receipts because I'm a private person." Okay, fair enough.
No, that's false. We had a discussion over it. I didn't agree with you, but I saw your point. Also, you have to understand I already passed the looks threshold, right? So that's not the concern.
Then
The
why are
whole
you
reason-
texting him for
why did you
advice on how to
text
get
me?
a
Not
second
advice.
Why
date?
did you text
Dude,
me
he's-
at
he's
2 a.m.
lying.
asking if I could chat and give you advice about something?
Exactly.
that's a lie.
How is that passing the looks
Also,
threshold?
so then can I
If
can I
game
show, can I
doesn't
show a link to
exist,
that?
If game and confidence
Give me
don't
a
fucking
break.
exist, you wouldn't be
No, I
asking
never
me
said
for
they don't
advice
exist.
on how
They
to
just
get a
don't
second
really
date,
matter.
man. This
They
is
don't
why
they
exist.
black
don't
dudes are
matter,
so
but I'm going to
stupid.
text you at 2 a.m., bro.
No, you guys
Wait,
are.
so if I'm lying, can I show the interaction?
Dude, I thought I already mentioned like these are private
This is
texts.
for
Oh,
private
there we
purposes.
go. Yeah, it's private
Now.
because I'm
Black pill
talking out
making
of my ass.
excuses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
This is
Yeah,
actually
you-
crazy.
You've heard
crazy.
everything
It's
you need to know.
crazy
Hey,
because
Alex,
you
you're
cope.
lying, but you can't show the receipts because I'm a private person. But you're lying.
Yeah,
So
I don't
this
show
can't
my
work.
face like ever. And
I'm
like,
not asking to show your face. I'm asking to show the screenshot that directly proves my point, or play the voice memo.
I think you should do it, and we should
Well,
see if
again-
Alex is right or
No,
not.
I'm gonna
No.
respect. I'm gonna
Yeah.
respect. No,
Respect.
I am gonna respect his privacy. If
no,
he,
we had a discussion on a back and forth over something, and it wasn't like game related though. Like, it's not like,
Yeah,
what
but
do I
then
say
you
to this
come on
girl?
his
it
panel,
had to do.
But then
it
you
had to do
come
with
on
a
his
second-
panel and question everything that he fucking stands for, and you act like, oh, bro.
No, it's about
just-
getting through the front door. I already got through the front
You're
door. I've
making
already
a
like
complete
slept with this
separate
chick.
point. That's fine, but you want advice about something about second date and what to do. Oh, I remember now what it is. And what to do if the girl asks you about, are you sleeping around? What is your body count? You
Oh
wanted-
yeah, that's
you
not
want-
game related.
Is that not strategy? You wanted my
Bruh.
advice on the strategy. that how
Define
you-
game.
Jesus
Look,
How you
Christ.
should answer. Game is strategy. You
Define
wanted,
I'm
my
gonna call
advice,
everything like.
you wanted my advice on how you should answer that question. If I'm
And we
full of
went back
shit,
and forth.
then why did you want that advice? Really? Because I wasn't trying to argue with you. You hit me up and you're like, bro, I really want to talk
Yep.
about this.
No, yeah, I wanted to discuss it with you. I was curious on your thoughts.
Why? If I'm an idiot who's a scammer.
Well, that's not related here. I just was curious. Dude, I mean, here's the thing. I already passed the looks level. That's the whole
Yeah, but,
point.
Oh,
but
no,
hang
no.
on, Alex he's not scamming. He's upfront with what he's doing. I disagree
Right.
with
I don't
one
think he's
aspect.
scamming. He's
I
selling
disagree
false
with one aspect of it, which is that I think that he leads more people to degeneracy than he takes them out of degeneracy. But I don't disagree with a lot of his descriptive
He is a
statements of
degenerate.
different of different problems. I don't disagree
am a
with
degenerate.
descriptive statements that Alex makes about all kinds of things, just the prescriptive portion. So the thing is like, if you're not going to show these receipts, you're not going to do any of this, then you just got to take the L and we got to move on.
Who, me or him?
Look.
Oh
No,
yeah.
again, we had a discussion.
Just to quickly recap, and then we can move on. Looks4L came in saying that claim that I basically, you know, I'm just money hungry. I'm just money hungry person who's just basically, you know, trying to like get money for everything and squeeze money out. And then when I was pointed out to the fact that, hey man, I actually gave you advice for free, he said, no, you never actually gave me advice. And I'm like, okay, well, can I show the proof? And he's like, no, I'm a private person. I think that tells you guys.
That's what happened.
I think that tells you guys
Alex, though,
all
like,
you
on
need
top of
to
that,
know.
like,
No,
he's literally being flown out to Miami, and like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this is delusional. We had a discussion back and forth. I thought your opinion was interesting, but again, like I didn't take it. So I was just curious on your input.
Why?
You were saying
Why
it's
would
better
you
to
be
be
curious
honest.
if I'm full of shit?
Dude, I can't like we've talked about other things. It's not just that, you know.
No, you
That's
dude,
like the
my
only
man, you hit
time.
me up at like 2 a.m. and you were like, yo, man, can you really give me advice
Dude,
about
I go to
this?
bed
I'm
at 5. I'm always up late. That's not like a
okay,
valid.
fine. You hit me up at let's just forget it was 2 a.m. You hit
Whatever
me up.
time,
Yo,
it
dude,
doesn't matter.
I really want advice. Can we talk on the phone?
That's not what I said. You're totally strawmanning here.
But so I can't. But can I show
Well,
the?
Alex is asked to show the receipts, and
Dude,
you're
but I
saying
told you
no.
already, these are private combos. What are you guys?
Oh,
not
there we go.
understanding?
It's a private conversation because it's gonna make looks for.
No,
It's a
I don't want you
private
to share any
convo.
private
No, look,
information.
it's a private convo, but at the same time, you're sitting here saying that Alex is basically lying about it. I mean, I know you're not saying the word lying, but that's what you're saying.
Dude, I already explained what happened. I was curious.
No.
on
Like,
this
I don't know
input.
if he's
No,
lying.
like you are literally coping.
I don't know if
This is
Looks
not a
for
code.
Life is lying necessarily. Like maybe he believes some of these things, but can we all at least take a moment to agree
I do
that
apologize
none
for
of
the
this
lying comment.
that none of this is as bad as John Tranthony? That none of it is even close to as bad as John Tranthony. Can we at least agree with that?
Andrew, we can't talk about it on the channel because we have a
Legal disclaimer.
I could get sued for $10,000.
GG.
Wait, Alex, I want to
just
say
use the word
something.
that John
Wait, I
said.
want to say something to Looks4L. Listen, no one hates Alex more than
Well, I didn't sign
do.
anything. I'm talking about it on my channel because I.
All
enjoy
right.
I know,
it.
but you're on my channel, Andrew.
Okay, fair
please-
enough.
Please,
Okay, so,
Mr. Slave, you're saying you hate Alex. You
I mean, no one
literally
hates-
said last night that you loved him.
I love.
yeah, your
Alex.
exact words were, "I love you."
I love you, Alex, but I also hate you. There's no
Okay.
contradiction. So no one hates
No
Alex more than I do.
Which is
and
funny because you like fan watch all my videos.
I fan watch. Right. So if what Alex has to say his fruitless doesn't give any fruits, then why would I be doing it? Why would I be wasting my time? I mean, my time is very valuable. I mean, obviously, I learned a lot from him to find all my, all the women that I need to abuse me in my life. So,
oh my god.
his
Jesus.
technique, just like he said, his technique can work to find a wife, to find a girlfriend, to find a one night stand, and to find an abusive, dominant woman. So for me, it works.
For a
For,
DJ like
think
you.
that-
for the
I
record,
think that
PWF
saying-
does not endorse that, but go ahead.
I think that saying that game doesn't exist is a cope.
No,
Also,
I don't say it doesn't exist.
I think it's
I
a
just-
cope. No, I think
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
cope, and I think it's a way for people who were born good looking, quote unquote, right? I know looks are subjective, but we can all agree that there's a certain threshold.
I don't know if they're that
yes.
They're
subjective.
not. That's what I go
Exactly,
back and forth on
like-
a lot.
Exactly. Like
I don't know if
we
they're
all
that
agree that there's a
subjective.
blah blah blah. But anyways, say that you're as fucking you're a Chad, just like Looks4L is, right?
Chad Light.
All right, you're a Chad Light, just like
Don't be
Looks4L
so
is,
hard on
because
yourself,
you
man.
need to gain another 100 pounds of muscle because you're a little skinny. Let's say that that's you, all right. And either way, I'm just saying that, like, if there's person A and person B, and you're both exactly the same looks threshold wise, right? But one of you is fucking awkward and weird as fuck, and the other one knows how to talk and open up a conversation and actually be personable, chances are person B is going to get the poon.
I also just want to point out the level of ungratefulness we have on this panel. We have one guy who says that he hates me, even though he watches all my videos and 24 hours ago said he loved me, and then we have another dude who's saying that I'm some money hungry dude who's literally getting a free plane ticket to Miami. So let's just
For
point out
content,
that irony.
homie. For content.
Point out that irony right there.
Okay, well, you
Bro,
haven't
but
done it
Alex,
yet.
you
Thanks
call
for having me,
Alex. Alex, you accuse me of being a pedophile.
By the way-
you want me to love you for that?
My man, I never accuse you of being pedophile.
He said
I've
he
explicitly-
wouldn't trust his kids with you.
I
That's what he
said-
said.
Wait, hang
bad
on,
enough.
Mr. Slave. Are you a pedophile?
What?
Oh my god.
What?
Are you?
That I mean, you can ask Alex. Alex, do
Dude,
you think
this
I'm a
No,
silence
pedophile?
is
Mr. Slave, are
concerning.
you a pedophile?
Holy.
Damn, Andrew bringing out the big guns.
Are you?
Alex, what's your opinion?
No,
That
I'm
has nothing
asking
to do
you,
with
Mr.
you,
Slave.
yeah.
Are you?
I'll answer the question after you, but
Are you a pedophile or not?
Yes.
What?
I guess what's your definition of a pedophile?
oh my God.
Somebody who actively thinks about doing things to underage or prepubescent kids.
Someone who actively thinks?
Mm-hmm.
You mean think?
Think, yeah.
So you're asking me if I think? Okay, say this.
Do you think about having sex with kids?
Do I think about having right now?
Ever?
Oh my god, I think
Oh
the
my
answer might
God.
The
be
answer
more
should be
obvious.
clearly fuck no. Why is this a hard
Okay,
question?
wait. When you say kids,
just
what do you
kick 'em
mean by that?
off.
Prepubescent, haven't hit puberty yet.
Under 18, my man.
Not under 18,
Wait, you
that's
said
a different thing.
wait. You said
Prepubescent.
wait. So wait. So, okay. Ask your question again.
It's such a straightforward question.
Are
It's
you a
man.
pedophile?
Wait.
Do you want to fuck
Have you ever
the
seen
children?
anyone
Do
deflect
you want to
this
have
far?
I
sex
don't-
with kids?
Wait. Hold on. So pedophile.
God.
Wait. What's the definition of pedophile?
It's somebody who
You just
actively
explained it like
thinks
5 times.
on
Wait, read-
purpose. Somebody who
No.
actively thinks on purpose
No.
about having sexual intercourse with prepubescent
No.
I'm
children.
pretty sure Andrew knows about definitions,
Oh,
actually.
is that
Hold on.
is that what you are?
No. Hold on. So the word pedophile. Break it down. Can you break down the word
I
pedophile?
just did.
No.
One
this
who
is-
actively thinks about having sex with
Oh
prepubescent
my
children.
god.
Wait a
Mr.
minute.
Slave,
This is the
why
easiest
you've been-
question ever.
Oh my god.
This is a layup.
Is this why
Wait
you've
a
been so
minute.
pissed?
Wait a
Because
minute.
you like to fuck kids? Stop.
Okay, I don't want to be on a panel where this is discussed.
Bye, Looks.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
You
Like,
just say you just say
I
yes
think
or
the
you just say
truth is,
yes or
Looks, that you
no.
got mocked.
To what?
But okay.
Say yes or no,
No.
to what?
Are
I
you
don't
a
understand the
pedophile?
question.
Are you a pedophile?
What's
No,
the
you're not a
definition?
fraud. You just tell people
Wait.
false hope who are
Wait,
beyond
Looks,
that.
you said
That's
you don't
fine.
want to be here, so bye-bye.
Yeah.
No,
So,
Looks
wait,
doesn't
Andrew-
want. Looks doesn't want to be here because he totally got called out, and
No,
this is his
we can
excuse
discuss
for leaving.
concepts,
But I get it. I
and
get
I
it.
can still think looks are the most important thing by far. Like, I'm not saying
Let's-
game is
I'll see you in Miami when I pay for your plane ticket. But just
When?
remember, I'm a cheap
When?
fuck. So you're not getting lunch, my man.
With your content, with
Bro,
your content,
it's not even like a
breaking-
shot just at you. It's just like people who sell shit like this. There's
No,
certain men who
it
cannot
was
be helped.
a pretty strong shot. You basically
Bro,
called me out.
like it's not just you though. You know, sometimes it hits you, but that's just
Yes,
how it is.
there's other frauds, but you're one of them. But anyway, I want to get back to the Mr. Slave thing because that's
Oh my
way more
God.
interesting. I don't know why this is a tough question. I feel like anyone who's not a pedophile, the answer would be fuck no, my man.
What's
Like,
the
this is-
definition?
He
I
just
already gave you
explained
the
it like
definition.
5 times.
No,
I can
break
define
down the
each
word
of those
no,
individual descriptors as well.
no,
Okay,
wait
let
a
me
minute. Break down the word pedophile. Right? It has pedo and file, right?
Yeah.
These are two words in Latin. So what's
Yeah,
pedo?
but
What's
the
file?
root of the word doesn't matter to its common meaning.
Oh, common?
Yeah.
So I don't know what you mean. So
Well, I gave you the common
so-
meaning.
oh,
It's
so
when he
you
thinks
def-
about
you-
having
Well, he
sex with
wants to
kids.
know if you're a common pedophile or an uncommon one.
Hold on, let me magnify
Okay,
my
here's the
screen.
definition. Are you this thing?
Persistent sexual interest in prepubescent children as evidenced by an adult sexual fantasies, urges, and goal-directed sexual behavior.
Yes or no?
Oh, there's an end. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
bring it back. There's an end.
Jesus fucking Christ. This is the most pedo answer ever, dude. What the fuck?
Wait, bring back the definition. There's an end. It
What part
nullifies
of
the whole
that is
thing.
confusing?
Wait,
I'm
there's an
literally
end.
dying right now.
Wait, can you bring? Why
yeah.
are you refusing to bring back the definition?
I'm gonna pull it up. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you, my man. But like, what the actual fuck? Okay, here's the definition again. Do you want to stare at it?
And goal-directed sexual behavior. What is that sounds like
You're
actionable.
directing. It means that the directed sexual behaviors towards prepubescent children. That's what
Wait, so that means actionable, right? There's an action demanded
no,
by this definition.
No, there's an and with it. So if the goal is just thinking about it, then that is by itself.
Alex, could you bring back the definition when we're discussing it?
You've gone like a definition from me, definition from Andrew. You've gone so many definitions. Are you this thing? It's such an easy question.
You guys know he's fucking with you, right? Like he's
okay. No, he's not.
Well,
yeah, he's not gonna answer
that
actually.
Well, who do you think looks worse than this troll? I wonder.
Oh, he does, but
well, then I don't care if he's fucking with us.
I'm just letting you know,
myself.
Okay, let's do a little role play. Andrew, ask me if I'm a pedophile.
No.
Okay.
I already know the answer to it.
Can someone ask me if I'm a pedophile? Vic,
Alex, are you a pedophile?
Fuck no.
What's the definition of
pedophile?
pedophile?
How do you know? How do you know though? Define pedophile.
It's an easy fucking question, man. This is
What's the definition?
Okay.
You
Mr. Slave, I find it deeply, deeply concerning that you cannot answer such a simple question.
Well, what's the definition?
We've given you so many definitions.
Bring it. We're discussing the definition.
How long do you need to stare at it for,
Mr. Slave?
We're discussing it.
Can we boot the derailing pedo so we can get back to the convo?
Hold on, I have a question, Mr. Slave. Do you enjoy having sex with, or the thought or fantasization of having sex with prepubescent children?
Okay, that's not pedophilia,
That's
right?
very specific. Do you?
But that's not the definition we just put.
I don't care. I asked you a question. Can you answer it or no?
Repeat the question.
Wait, so let me get this straight. You hate me. You hate me for calling
the thought of or the act of having sex with prepubescent children or human beings.
So what you're saying is,
I'm asking you a question, yes or no.
Wait,
prepubescent. Hold on. This isn't theoretical. This isn't philosophical. This is a direct yes or no. This is a cut and dry, point blank question. Do you enjoy the thought of or the act of having sex or sexual activity with prepubescent human beings?
Let me ask you this.
Let me just not answer the question at all.
Just fuck off. I
just find it really ironic that Mr. Slave hates me for calling him a pedophile, even though I never did that. I called him out for endorsing pedophilia. And
what does that mean? How can you say that when I don't know the definition?
Alex, you didn't even say
cannot answer the question.
Alex, you literally said I wouldn't trust my children with you.
Yeah, but that was a joke.
And then 2 minutes, I said that.
It wasn't
and 2
clear that
minutes
it's
later,
a joke. But later when I listened,
after
2 minutes later, I
conversation,
said the
there's
same
element of
thing. I
truth to
said, to be fair, Mr. Slave, with your pro-pedophilia comments, I also wouldn't trust my children.
Wait, my pro-pedophilia comments?
My man, you cannot
in
answer
the stream, I said it to your face.
Wait, what were my pro-pedophilia comments?
Can I interject real quick?
Yes, please.
And if you want to boot me after this, Alex, it's fine. Like if you got other people.
I like literally,
Mr. Slave. This is like Mr. Slave.
I'm gonna end the stream soon.
This whole act is getting so old. Like you do the same shit on every freaking stream, and you only draw shit out because you like the attention on you. It's the only reason you play this stupid. Well, define this. Well, blah blah blah. Well, like nobody gives a fuck. Either answer the question or go home, bro. Like nobody cares to sit here and go over and over and over and dive deeper. Well, let's break down the Latin root of this word. Like, no. Are you a pedo or not? Do you enjoy looking at children in that sexual manner or not? And like, we're not going to sit here and 1 + 1 is not 2 kind of bullshit. It's either yes or no. And this is kind of what Andrew was throwing at you earlier. Like, it's a logical question that it brings a logical answer. It's either yes or no, like, don't like you just do this for attention, and I'm starting to get so fucking tired of it. Like, this is why when you send me your little stream links, I don't want to go on, because you sit there and you go on and make everybody break down shit to a piece of like nothingness. Like, I'm just so fucking tired of it. Like, why do you need this attention? I know you had like childhood traumas. I know you have issues and all these things, but getting this negative attention on you, I know it makes you feel good in the moment because you're getting attention, but in reality, it's not doing anything for you for later on in life. This is why you like being a slave. This is why you like being dominated and taken over, because you physically need negative attention in your
Sarah,
life.
the queen.
Dude,
Jesus
so
fucking
fucking
Christ.
true.
Hey, Sarah.
I'm so sorry, Alex.
Dude,
I'm just so fucking irritated.
No,
I've been sitting here
you're
listening to
100%
this.
correct. Dude, in yesterday's stream, or maybe it was 2 days before, he was literally in the private chat saying, Alex, I need the attention on me. Come on. So, yeah, totally makes sense now.
Yeah, I'm so fucking
Wait,
tired
so
of it.
hold on. So let me understand. So you
Oh,
think
hold on. We got to break down the entire sentence.
But what is the
into,
definition
like, the
of
letters, and
attention?
then we have to break the letters down into the strokes of the letters. Then we have to break those little lines down into dots. Like, it is what it is, Mr. Slave. If you just kind of like own up that you enjoy negative attention, or attention at that, and like maybe seek out the reason why you need that kind of attention, I'll bet you can actually live a normal life if you figure out why you need all
And
of
not
this
have
attention.
people leave your stream mid-debate because it's not a debate, but it's just a Mr. Slave fucking listen to me show.
Right. And all you do is just drag it on and on and on. Like, you
Because
make me wanna,
you
like,
need the
throw my head
attention.
into the wall. You need
You're
the
literally like a
attention.
12-year-old fucking. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to use that analogy. You're like a fucking blonde, dumb 18-year-old chick who needs attention.
You really
18-year-old
are.
in
Like,
1
like
second.
my daughter doesn't even act like this, and she's 13, and she knows.
Hey,
better.
we all like attention here, right?
Okay,
we
so
all love
Not to this
attention,
extent, my
but
man.
not
you, Ryan.
negative, not negative attention. He
Okay, so let me-
thrives. This
okay.
is why. Hold on, Mr. Slade, because you always fucking talk and you never stop. So I'm. This is what I told Alex. When you're ready to kick me off, please do it, okay? Because
No, I'm enjoying
like
this.
you straight up, like, you just want to argue for the sake of arguing. This is why you come on and you choose the totally opposite side of logic, right? Like, if we all come on and we're like, oh yeah, dude, like, totally 1 + 1 is 2, and you'll specifically come on just to say, guys, really, like, 1 + 1 doesn't really equal 2. Like you only do this just because you want everybody to look at you and be like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. What the fuck? Oh my God, Mr. Slave's hilarious. Oh, Mr. Slave's on. I wonder what dumb shit he's going to say today. Like, but it's actually getting really old because you bring nothing to the table.
And you
bring
burn bridges.
nothing.
You're burning bridges.
You burn bridges. You just are starting to become annoying, like straight up annoying. Learn your fucking place, bro. Like, learn when to shut up and maybe try a positive attitude, or just
Be a
try
true slave, bitch.
Try to actually agree for once, you know, and not just take the other side just because you want somebody to battle with you. Like, nobody gives a fuck, Mr. Slave. In 10 years, your name will be non-existent in YouTube. Nobody's going to give a fuck, and you're still going to be at the mercy of some woman's foot in your face. Like, grow the fuck up, figure your life out, find some positivity, and stop begging for negative attention all over the internet. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm done.
That was an epic fucking speech.
Dude, that was some cheers.
I
bro.
second every single word that came out of Sarah's mouth.
Clapping.
I'm
That
sorry,
was-
guys. I normally don't do this, but
Two
you know,
snaps.
I'm so tired of it.
No, that was fucking hot. That was epic, and that was very on point.
I have a WAP, a wet ass pussy right now.
Wait,
That was-
Sarah.
Oh, God.
Sarah, did that speech turn you on?
No,
Jesus
honestly, like, my
fucking
blood pressure is
Christ.
going through the roof at how much you stress me out right now. Like, it's just fucking annoying to watch you at this point.
Wait,
Like,
but are you
it's
getting
almost
wet
like,
talking to me like this?
no, I am not. I'm not. I am so
Oh
turned
no,
off
Sarah
at
is
the idea
definitely
that I
not
have
into
to
this.
chide you. I have to chide you like my children when they do something stupid for the 20th time. You know, it's just fucking
Sarah,
annoying.
you're
Like,
giving him a boner.
Yeah,
oh,
he
gross.
probably does have a boner. Although I will
Ah.
say, Mr. Slave, you are very good at burning bridges. I am literally the last bridge you probably have left. And that's just because I'm extremely tolerant in the people I have on. But you are fairly close to building.
Look at me being here.
That bridge too. Yeah, so I would say that.
Wait, how am I burning the bridge with you, Alex?
Because you argue to the point of stupidity.
Because you're a fucking piece of shit. That's why.
You are the
Look,
ultimate,
let's not mince
you are
words.
the ultimate.
No, he
It's 'cause you're a
argues.
fucking piece of
No,
shit.
it's
Wait,
okay.
Andrew, let's not.
No,
let's not make it personal.
Alex.
There's no
Alex
TOS
likes,
there. Why? What do you mean
Alex
not make
to
it
answer,
personal?
though, Alex
No,
likes
not
to
because,
actually,
not because of
Alex
TOS.
likes to
Just- I
actually
don't think
host.
that's the right takeaway. I mean, you
No,
can
it's
say
not.
that.
How is it
Alex
not the
likes
right
to actually
takeaway?
host
I
a
mean, look,
panel
if you
people.
want to make your point, go ahead. If you want to make it personal, go ahead.
I'm not
think
making
that's-
it personal. I'm making a factual
No,
true statement.
it's not
He's a
factual,
fucking
Andrew.
piece
Alex,
of shit.
Alex. Well,
That's why.
okay, yeah, that's a lot of people's take, but Alex doesn't take that take, and that's what
Yeah,
makes
there's a lot of pieces
Yeah,
of
well,
shit.
we're
who
getting
come
him
up-
there. We're getting him there.
There's a lot of pieces.
No,
of
we're
shit.
getting at Mr. Slave abusing his friendship privileges, basically. We're getting at the fact that he's like shitting where he sleeps. And you don't do that.
Like Alex.
Oh, that's the problem.
Alex will generally.
Oh, the problem
Alex,
is he's not being very nice, or he's shitting where he sleeps in the panel. Not that he couldn't answer whether or not he's a pedophile. Not that he's hijacking everything. Not that he has a dummy mommy who he
But
pays
that's the
incredible amounts
point.
of money
That's
to
the
abuse
point,
him.
That's the point.
None of
That's
this
what
is him being a
makes
piece of
Alex
shit.
amazing. Alex
No,
is
the issue is the
like-
hijacking. That is a big part of the issue. Is that
Yeah.
he's so thirsty for attention. He's so deprived of attention that he's literally willing to say the dumbest shit ever. Like, "Hey, pull up the definition." Or, "Wait, what does that word
Someone
mean?"
who's been good
He
to him.
literally cannot answer whether he's a pedo for half an hour after giving multiple definitions because he's so thirsty for
Because
attention.
he's a piece of shit.
Because if he answers that question, then maybe the conversation move on and won't be all about him, which is
Right,
like
and we'll
ultra,
stop talking
ultra
about him.
annoying. And like, yeah, it's just like
Yeah,
super.
but also last night he went on to kind of make claims about Alex having it out for him and shit.
Oh yeah, well, there's also the fact that he's like an insane ingrate who says that he loves me and hates me within 24 hours and says that I have it out for him. I'm trying to sabotage him when I'm literally the only content creator that gives him a platform, and every single thing that he has on
Yeah, you
YouTube.
should stop doing that.
I probably should. Every single thing he has on YouTube is because of me, but I still have it out for him. So yeah, there's the fact that he's a massive ingrate. The fact that he's so thirsty for attention, he literally just disregards everyone else's autonomy and, you know, just argues for the sake of arguing. And the fact that he literally can't answer whether he's a pedo or not, which is highly, highly disturbing.
Well, I've had this with him too because he's come on my panel and he and I are such good friends, YouTube quote unquote friends, you know. But like we're collaborators, I guess is a better way to put it. We're collaborators. And he's come on my panel and he's flat out completely destroyed streams that I've had. Like the one that you had after, and I'm not trying to
Well,
bring
now
it
you're making me
up,
think
but-
he's based again, though. So
No. Oh, shut up.
No, Andrew.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Andrew. I know you want to think that. I know you want to look for something.
I
like
know,
that, but
I know.
it's not like that.
But like after you had the Minka debate, like you completely mogged and destroyed her, and then he showed up in my panel, and it was me and Natty and Sarah and Michelle, and we were trying to have a good time. And he's like, "Oh, but Minka was right. Minka was right." Like after you literally obliterated her in all of her claims. So that's what I'm saying. It's like stuff like that you're like, no, I can't even take you serious, bro.
Well,
like
Alex,
you're
I gotta get out of here. Can I like do a
Oh,
closing
yeah, go
statement?
ahead.
And then
Yeah,
shout
go
out?
ahead. I want to wrap up too. So yeah, go ahead.
Talk to you
No, but
later, Andrew.
hold on, wait. You just spoke about me.
Oh, we have to talk about Mr. Slave some
stop.
more. Oh no.
Andrew,
Don't worry, guys.
has
I'm
to go.
streaming. We can hang
Let
out
him
here.
make his closing statements.
Yeah,
and then you can
I
respond.
don't care about any of this fucking prattle. So let me just go through this real quick. So the dude Nayar Velvet Cakes or whatever, he was probably one of the most base people here because he didn't say much. He just kind of laughed at the stupidity.
I mean,
of
I
the
thought we
shit.
were talking about manosphere content, and then this thing went 180 to like
Yeah, that
studies
happens.
to like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say it, but you know, Mr.
Yeah,
Slave stuff, and then it went pretty. Yeah.
So the other guy I like talking to though, for what's his name, 4L or whatever, or Looks for Life or whatever. Yeah, that guy seemed like he's smart. And I see that Black Silver's in chat, and I like a lot of the videos that he makes, especially about a certain rhymes with Manthony, right? I like those videos especially. And then let me just, on my way out the door, say, Radical Coder, you suck. I hate you in every way. You're an idiot. And then to
You're like a
all the
father to
women
me.
on the panel, you all sucked, and you always suck, and I'm getting out of here. Have a great night.
Andrew,
Take care of yourselves.
Actually, Andrew, I had a good time with you the last time we debated. Some of his
What the hell did I do to him? I didn't do anything to him.
Some of his viewers.
He's
no,
such a
he's just
dick
saying.
sometimes. That
Some
guy
of his
can be
viewers
such a
actually
fucking
reached
dick.
out to me and subbed to my channel and like invited me to church the other day. Remember, Sarah? I told
Dude,
you that?
he's totally different privately. Like privately, he's actually a very nice, like reasonable person. But I feel like he puts on this like facade online where he has to be like the cool guy.
Oh, so he's like
I don't
Mr.
know.
Slave, just in the opposite direction.
No,
I've
not
talked to him,
nearly,
like-
not nearly.
Well,
as bad.
actually, yeah.
I've talked to
Because
him in a
I
private
did say
Discord
that
for
Putting on a
hours.
facade. That's what
You're
Mr.
right.
Slave
Yeah.
does. He
I
puts on
did
this
say that they
facade.
would be a good match. Yeah, you're right, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Which
was
is
like
funny
match.
because like the way he behaves is like the most unchristian shit ever. Like just being like a fucking
Mhm.
dick to everybody and just like
Go get Jesus, baby. Go get Jesus.
So Alex, let me just say, I mean, the people who are closest to you, sometimes, you have the most emotions towards, and sometimes you love them so much, and sometimes you hate them so much. But that's just, that's out of closeness. I mean, the last thing you want is for me to be apathetic to you. Is that a word? Apathetic?
It is a
But
word.
the
Mr.
same
Slade,
thing is like sometimes the people that you're most apathetic to and that you hate the most, it's actually because they fucking suck.
No. Me and Alex are very close, and sometimes Alex.
Wait, that's not true. You're not one of the people that's most closest to me. You're like a loose friend, maybe acquaintance or something like that, but you're not one of my close friends. Like, sorry, I don't mean to be an asshole, but that's like
he probably only brings you on for pure entertainment and hosting purposes. Like,
I mean,
it's not like y'all are BFFs.
Yeah,
of,
we're
of all
definitely.
the people that I interact in the universe, I interact with Alex more than anyone else in the universe.
Well, he didn't send
But-
you a Hitachi vibrator, so
Right. Seriously, bro. I got one. Did you?
No, I got it on my own because he advised me to.
Oh.
Anyway, so the point, Alex, is that I love you sometimes. Like right now, I love you. You're terrific. Other times, like the other day that you were calling me a pedophile, I felt terrible and I couldn't sleep for a couple of days out of so much.
okay.
distress
Again,
and-
no, he never called you a pedo.
I've never
He
called
did
you a
not
pedophile,
say
man.
that.
Yes, okay. He
literally
insinuated.
said, I
Right,
wouldn't
right.
trust my kids to be
Yes.
babysat by you.
Yes.
And I
but-
said the same thing, and you
Yes.
didn't call me out.
Okay.
That's
The point-
sexist.
Okay. The point, I'm sorry. The point is that sometimes he gets me really upset. Like after our first interaction ever, I couldn't function for a couple of days out of anger because he, the little bitch. Yeah. Alex, you
You're thinking
think
that seriously.
Alex, you think I'm made out of bricks, but I'm not. If you poke
No,
me,
I know you're an ultra sensitive, ultra insecure man. I get all that, and I try to be conscious of that. But that has nothing to do with
Alex.
the point. It's that you purposely put on this weird act because you want attention on yourself, and also the secondary point is that you're kind of an ingrate. You're literally the epitome of like someone who bites the hand that feeds. Like you're like, oh, Alex has it out to me. He's trying to like fucking take me down every channel. Dude, if I want to take you down, if I had it out for you, I would not be platforming you left and right, my
The
man.
fact that you're here right now, the fact that I'm here right now, the fact that any of us are here right now shows that Alex literally is one of the
okay,
most
listen.
unbiased.
I was trying to figure out why you would call me, insinuate that I'm a pedophile. I was trying to figure out why would you do that to me.
Maybe it's because when asked if you're a pedo, you refuse to answer the question.
Yes, I refuse to answer the question because we can have a discussion why I think it's important
dead.
to refuse to answer the question.
No, I feel like if you're not a pedophile, you're gonna say fuck no.
That's like asking. That's like a witch hunt, right? A witch. If she answered she's not a witch, then she's a witch, because obviously only a witch would deny being a
Oh
witch.
no, Mr. Slave,
It's a
stop
witch.
that. This is not a
Okay.
witch hunt.
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
not like the
100.
Salem hunts of any sort.
It
Like
is.
either the fact that you don't answer the question makes it even more sus.
Makes
It's,
it
it's a
Fine.
yes.
so much
It's
more
a
sus.
I'll
yes or
take it.
no. It's a
No,
yes or no
I
question.
will not answer. I will not see. I will not be
No,
terrorized.
no,
I will
Mr.
not
Slave.
be. Hold on,
To
Ashley.
be
One
to
second.
be honest,
Ashley,
Mr. Slave is
Ashley.
talking about something that hasn't actually happened. So, like, what we are talking about is in the manosphere specifically. And yes, the comments Mr. Slave made in and of itself, were they specifically pedo? They were pedo-esque. I will grant him that, or grant us that, however you want to word it. But he's defending someone who has literally gone on stream and said, I want to bury my face in a 14-year-old's punani and sniff and enjoy and do all these things to. And that is the thing that he's arguing. And here in America, that is underage. I understand that maybe in Germany it is not. And then we got into the moral debate of whether or not that's ethical, which I still say that like any 45-year-old man that has to digress to the point of like, oh, I'm going to take a 14-year-old bride because I'm obviously a really weird LARPer incel that can't get a 45-year-old wife or somewhere within at least a 10-year radius is a cope. And
Yeah.
that's what I
It is.
have an issue with Mr. Slave with. But he's trying to make it this whole like, oh, this legal fine line of like, well, if we say it's 18 or if we say it's 14 or if we say it's what? No, like fuck off, fuck the fuck off. Like, no, it's weird. It's not right. It's abnormal. You can argue legal ethics all day long, Mr. Slave, but you are literally arguing a moot point because we are all deaf ears. Okay, this is not okay. It's not. I don't think anyone in this space thinks that a 45-year-old man, and I mean it doesn't help that Hormax are so fucking cringe, but a 45-year-old man wanting to sniff a 14-year-old nanny is normal. We're not going to ever agree with you.
No, I said many times I never heard the original statement that he made. I wanted to just analyze.
I made a
Yeah,
video
but
on it.
we
I
tell
sent
you this shit
you
all the time.
link. I
Like
sent
Mr. Slave,
you the link.
anytime we tell you, like we argue with you about stuff, like we tell you exactly what we're arguing and we explain it to you. We send you, I say
make
we, I mean
fucking videos
Ashley or
about it.
Michelle. Like there's no reason for you not to know at this point of what Mr. Slave has and has not said.
That's why I say you're coping. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're just making excuses. Just again, you're going back to arguing the other side just for purposes of doing it because you like the attention it brings you when you argue the other side, and you like it when the attention is on you, and you know that everybody's going to sit here and argue with you right now, and it's going to get you even more attention. The more stupid you keep playing, the more the attention is going to be on you.
And the problem is that when you burn these bridges, you're not going to have a platform to fucking vocalize your stupid bullshit on.
Because nobody's going to want to like sit here and bang their head against the wall trying to get you to answer one question of, are you a pedo or not? Like, do you consider yourself a pedo or not? Well, what's the, like, no. Like, I'm not banging my head against the wall for the, I don't know how Alex even had that patience to go through with you. And
I don't know how
bring
Alex
the
has the
definition on
patience with
stream.
me half the time, to be honest.
This is why I'm losing. This is why I'm losing hair, guys.
Because you're so fucking tolerant and patient. Of
No,
people.
because of
But-
all the
But
fucking
Ashley,
nonsense I deal with.
Ashley, you answer questions directly, right? You don't sit there and draw them out and draw attention to yourself, like, and you're happy sitting in the background sometimes, and you're okay with not.
Wait,
just,
can I interject? 'Cause
Oh
you
dear
are,
Lord,
at the end of
please
the
go
day,
ahead.
you are
I'll let you
making-
get the closing thought, and then I want to wrap up. I want to wrap up
Okay.
before
All right.
I-
Look, all I wanted to say, I mean, this obviously, the topic of why I refuse to answer the question, am I or am I not a pedophile? I think it is very important, of course, to not answer that question, unless you will convince me otherwise. But I think we should have a separate discussion about this whole topic. I think it is a witch hunt. I think it is tearing humanity apart. Certainly, this very small group is being torn apart by this topic, and there's no reason. I mean, I think we should, at the end of the day, I think we should be friends, whether we disagree or agree with each other about any topic. Fine, we can always, at the end of the day, talk. And I think it's very. I think this topic is taboo, and I think it's not good that there are taboo topics. I think we should all talk about everything. We should stop self-censoring. Anyway, I think we should have a separate discussion about this.
All right.
I know you want to have a
Mr.
separate
Slave,
discussion
I agree with
because
you
all
on that, but
because all
like
the
I will
attention.
say that like literally you are going about it the wrong way. I get what you're saying, and I'm not, even if I don't agree with the point behind your actions, okay, I can still respect the point behind your actions. But the way you are going about it is by fucking your friends over, burning bridges, and being a fucking dickhead and just really screwing everybody over. And that's not the right way to go about it. Like you've literally got to. Well, I hate using
Ashley,
words.
my
Wait,
idea.
stop. I want to wrap up before the 4-hour mark. Let me just 30-second closing thoughts.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, I think that it is the pinnacle of insanity not to be able to answer a question about are you a pedophile? It's nothing to do with self-censoring. It's a very, very straightforward question. And of course, you want to have a separate debate about this because then the attention will be on you again. I think you need to find healthier ways to deal with your lack of attention rather than like literally refusing, like literally fucking dodging a question about are you a pedophile. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. This was a fucking shit show of a debate, but I enjoyed it greatly. Hopefully you guys did too. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we're going to be back tomorrow night with another dope stream. Thank you guys.
Alex, real quick, you did a badass job of modding tonight, by the way. Like your modding skills are really improving. Like this was really great. Thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed tonight's entire discussion. It was
like
phenomenal.
honestly, like all around, and the
Yeah.
chat agreed. Like, thank you.
Thank you kindly. All right, guys. Till next time.